A desolate scene unfolded. The ground was barren and bare, not a single tree in sight. In the midst of that wasteland, a gecko lay on a rock, its eyes gazing into the distance. The immortal world, black town, raw desert of shattered stone. The gecko's eyes suddenly went alert. It turned its head, as if sensing someone about to break the silence. Sure enough, someone was running toward them, accompanied by chaotic shouting, "Run!" A pack of terrifying creatures was chasing them. They had black and white fur, eyes glowing red in the dark, and razor teeth bared to bite their prey. Desert demon wolves, common level 3 HP 80, attack 20, defense 3 skill, bite. The three in front ran for their lives, while the demon wolves behind them pursued crazily. "Help, somebody save us." A blonde girl with pigtails sprinted and shouted, "Bad luck, we were supposed to hunt level 1 sand scorpions but ran into level 3 demon wolves." "Level 3 mage," she yelled. "Level 3 priest. Captain, what do we do?" The level 3 warrior asked in a panic. A blue-haired girl with glasses, apparently the captain, nimbly pointed ahead, a little farther. "There are some desert locust trees up ahead. Demon wolves can't climb trees. If we can get up, we still have a chance." Even after giving the plan, she bit her lip anxiously. Damn it, demon wolves are vicious. Once they lock onto prey, they never let go. The three weren't sure they'd get away, but they ran desperately, hopping for a sliver of survival. "Still wounded from the last fight. Our last 2 black iron gear just broke. Could today be the day we die here?" Just then, the pink-haired girl running at the back tripped and fell. The demon wolves closed in. The 2 in front turned back and shouted anxiously, "Little Black." A demon wolf leapt forward to finish her. The 2 could only shout, "Little Black, watch out." She turned her head to look at what was about to attack, her eyes flashing with despair. But at that very moment, an extraordinary force descended from nowhere and cleaved into the demon. It collapsed on the spot. A blade plunged through its head, leaving it only able to whimper weak. A mysterious person landed beside the demon wolf's corpse. Everything happened so suddenly that Little Black just stood there stunned. The figure wore a brown cloak that covered them from head to toe, facing away from her. She muttered in surprise, "He saved me." A green frame popped up, displaying the level of the newcomer, level 1. Little Black's eyes widened in astonishment. The mysterious person lowered their hood, revealing a handsome face. With striking red eyes, Lam Yuan. Lam Yuan's gaze was icy as he looked at the pack of demons, showing no fear. A level 3 monster's strength was about that. The vicious demon wolves charged, baring their sharp teeth. Lam Yuan tightened his grip on the blade that had just killed the demon, pointed it straight at them, and lunged into a decisive fight. The demons leapt all at once. Lam Yuan's sword strokes sliced through their bodies, leaving sharp streaks of blue light. One by one, they fell in agonizing pain, blood spraying everywhere. He swung the blade powerfully, his eyes full of killing intent. The 3 girls behind him didn't dare intervene. They just gaped in amazement. When the battle ended, Lam Yuan stood majestically under the sun, holding a large sword stained with blood. The blue-haired girl stared at him and couldn't help exclaiming, "Just a rusty blade for a newbie, and he killed 4 desert demon wolves." Little Black suddenly pointed and shouted, "Everyone look." Another pack of demon wolves appeared, twice as many as before. They slowly advanced, their presence oppressive. The 2 girls at the back stepped back in panic. Why are there so many? Did they smell the blood of their kin? Lam Yuan remained standing. The blue-haired girl glanced back while running and yelled, "Go, that's an entire pack of desert demon wolves. They're enough to slaughter a whole new village. I'm not kidding. You'll get ripped to pieces." Lam Yuan turned his head and curled his lips into a smile. His red eyes gleamed menacingly. "Is that so?" He reached out. A wave of power enveloped him. Cards gradually appeared before his eyes like a choice to be made. "Player Lin Yuan, are you sure you want to summon the Drybone Warrior?" His gaze was resolute. He threw the cards decisively, pinning them to the ground to form a massive matrix circle, the strange sigils glowing. From below, a withered skeletal hand thrust up as if reborn. One after another, armored skeletal warriors emerged. Their eyes shone a blue light like small lamps. Drybone Warrior level 3 HP, 180k/def. 35-5 skill, slaughter. Seeing this, the lead demon wolf howled as a signal to attack. The ones behind immediately obeyed and surged forward fiercely. Lin Yuan's eyes shifted from red to green, and he smiled mysteriously as if certain of victory. "Then let's see who gets torn to pieces first." The Drybone warriors charged in unison, mouths agape in a terrifying threat. Lin Yuan plunged into battle alongside the Drybone warriors. Each of his blades strikes decisive, taking down the savage demon wolves one by one. After roughly 15 minutes, the last desert demon wolf was slain by him, lying motionless on the ground, its mouth still open in pain from the blade driven through its head. Lin Yuan firmly set his foot on its body, and with one strong hand pulled the blade free. He stood among the drybone warriors after the glorious victory, having successfully eliminated 16 desert demon wolves. System notice: congratulations, you received 160 experience points, 16 desert demon wolf fangs, 16 desert demon wolf pelts. The remaining demon wolves lay on the ground, moaning. Lin Yuan raised his hand, and the drybone warriors immediately transformed into streams of blue light, spiraling and converging into his palm. The three girls hiding behind the tree witnessed the battle in astonishment. Captain, am I dreaming? He single-handedly wiped out 12 desert demon wolves. Ziohai stepped forward timidly and asked, "Excuse me, you're a mage, right? The magic you used looked like a summoning spell, didn't it? I'm a mage too, but I've never seen a skill like yours." Lin Yuan glanced coldly back and replied, "Who said I'm a mage?" The girl looked at him, bewildered. Facing their doubtful stares, Lin Yuan merely smiled with smug satisfaction. He raised his sharp sword and introduced himself. "Ultimately, I possess a forbidden profession with an SSS tier aptitude player Lin Yuan, level 2. Profession, Forbidden Death Spirit Hunter. Aptitude, Dark Summoning Art. System display: Bright Realm Gate 020, Strength 5, Constitution 10, Agility 25, Spirit 30, Experience 159 237. In the flashback, Lin Yuan recounted, "My name is Lin Yuan, I come from Lamxing, and I am a progenitor born. 3 years ago, a scientist discovered a gigantic mysterious celestial body called the Demon Star suddenly appearing near Lamxing. At the same time, a group of shadowy people of unknown origin and advanced machines also appeared. 3 months later, a mysterious company launched the virtual reality game Immortal World, technology far beyond Lamxing's, shocking the entire world. Images of warriors fighting countless bizarre monsters flashed by. From then on, thanks to the VR system's development, people were divided into many professions, constantly leveling up to gain power sufficient to face the game's monster. A girl in the group emitted a strange purple power from her hands, astonishing the surrounding crowd. Even she was surprised by her own ability. At first, everyone thought it was just a game, until some people in the real world began receiving powers like those in the game. Those people were called Chosen. A mysterious cloaked figure exploited this power to seize control. Since then, a group calling themselves the Void Faith Heretics stepped out of the game into the real world, carrying out ruthless massacres, destroying countless cities, taking lives, and spreading terror among humanity. Lin Yuan and his parents were among the victims of this catastrophe. When his parents were murdered, he could only stand in despair and watch. My parents were gone from the very early days of that disaster. The strongest forces united and concentrated all their strength on a single target, but were driven back. Humanity gathered all the Chosen worldwide to counterattack, yet they repeatedly failed and were forced to retreat. In that final battle, Lin Yuan was mortally wounded and could not hold on. He perished in that decisive fight. When he opened his eyes again, he found he had come back to life, reborn at the moment he first set foot in the immortal world. Looking at the new power in his hands, he was shocked and stunned. Moreover, this time the system assigned him a forbidden profession with an SSS tier aptitude. Congratulations, you have received the sole forbidden profession, Death Spirit Hunter. Your aptitude is Dark Summoning Art at SSS level, Bright Realm Gate at SSS level. Knowing he possessed extraordinary power, Lin Yuan resolved to change the past and rapidly level up his strength to protect his family and Lamxing. Back in the present, he planted the tip of his blade into the ground and knelt on one knee beside the demon wolf. He brought his hand close to its corpse, a wondrous greenish-blue light radiating from his palm. At the same time, that energy also appeared over the bodies of the other demon wolves. "Do you want to use dark summoning on the desert demon wolf corpse?" Lin Yuan confirmed immediately. Instantly, a demon wolf was resurrected. Its eyes turned green yet remained ferocious. It slowly approached the one who had revived it. The greatest feature of this profession is that it grants the physique of a warrior, and it can use dark summoning to turn monster corpses into undead that fight for you. These undead monsters not only retain their level and skills from life, but also gain new abilities. Undead Demon Wolf level 3, HP 80, Attack 20, Defense 3. Skills: Tear Flesh, Death Spirit Corpse. Tear Flesh deals 200% attack damage to the target. Death Spirit Corpse grants immunity to fear, strong poison, blindness, agony, and bleeding. Lin Yuan raised his hand. A ring of strange runes appeared along with the new skill Death Spirit Corpse, granting immunity to many negative combat effects. The ground ahead immediately cracked, the fissure spreading rapidly. As for my other aptitude, Bright Realm Gate, this aptitude allows me to store the monsters resurrected by dark summoning, and storage capacity increases with my level. As he finished speaking, a dark door shaped like a terrifying skull, bound by countless chains, manifested before them. The door slowly opened, revealing an interior filled with that eerie green light. The demon wolves standing before the door seemed to sense that it would be their new home. All had become Lin Yuan's weapons. He stood among the resurrected wolves without fear, even feeling strengthened. Once my level is high enough, I will command an unrivaled legion of death spirits. The blue-haired girl watched what was happening, barely able to believe her eyes. This is resurrecting the dead into undead. Who on earth are you? Lin Yuan said nothing, just turned away and warned, there's not much time left if we're timing this. All four of them looked up at the blood-red sky. Warning lines gradually appeared. World boss, colossal deathwolf, about to spawn at the shattered stone desert. Lin Yuan's face was cold, but the corner of his mouth curled up with eager anticipation. It's time to fight the boss. The red sky suddenly flashed white streaks of lightning, as if tearing the fabric of space. A blood-like red blotch spread above, sending distant fighters into panic. Someone shouted, "The colossal deathwolf is here." Those people immediately ran for their lives. Staying even a moment could mean instant death. Someone screamed in terror. I remember the official page saying its attack range reaches 50 meters. Run, get as far away as you can. Panic shouts rang out one after another. Keeping the greatest possible distance was the only hope of survival. Suddenly a few people were struck, hurled away, blood spraying. Screams of pain echoed across the desert. Two survivors hid behind a rocky outcrop, trembling as they peered out. A giant wolf clamped the victim's arm in its jaws, baring razor-sharp teeth. Its fur mixed red and brown, eyes flashing a bloodthirsty hunger to tear humans apart. It howled, emitting a murderous aura and suffocating power. Colossal Deathwolf, Lord level 6 HP, 2400 attack, 360 defense, 48 skills, Dire Wolf Roar, Colossal Beast Heart, Death Claw. The two soldiers clutched their friend, faces ashen. No, are you crazy? A single player absolutely cannot kill the Colossal Deathwolf. Going up there is a suicide mission. Under the fiery sunset, the giant wolf held a struggling man in its grip, growling a threat. Behind the rock, the two hiding people panted, eyes wide. Is this the world boss Colossal Deathwolf? Can anyone kill that thing? Suddenly, their eyes widened as they saw. From afar, a ragged figure approached, sword in hand, face hidden in shadow. The silhouette grew clearer, the tattered coat flapping in the wind. Lin Yuan opened his blazing red, razor-sharp eyes. The long-haired man observing said immediately, "Look at that sword, is he a newbie?" The man wearing the headband replied, "Yes. The Colossal Deathwolf is a level 6 Lord boss. Without help, even if all of us joined forces, we couldn't close its jaw." The beast snarled, its eyes blazing. In the immortal world, monsters are ranked from weak to strong. Normal, elite, captain, lord, king, overlord, divine. A lord-tier monster is a low-level boss, but for a newcomer, it remains an absolute catastrophe. Lin Yuan planted his feet firmly on the sand, facing the wolf in the sunset light. The headbanded man shouted, "Hey, are you insane? Get back, going up there is certain death." He sat cross-legged and replied calmly, "Looking back now, that's all there is to it." The wolf's eyes rolled red, its blood-stained jaws bared. System alert. World boss activated skill, Dire Wolf Roar. Lin Yuan dropped his stance to dodge the attack. The wolf lunged instantly, mouth wide, activating skill, Death Claws. Lin Yuan's gaze sharpened. I remember from my previous life. This level 6 Death Wolf, under the boss's enraged buff state, actually has 3,400 HP and 510 attack. A blast of power spewed from its mouth. Its tail smashed down and sent the two people flying. At that time, the explorers in the shattered stone desert were only level 3, only coordinated group combat offered any hope. Corpses lay strewn everywhere, wounded in countless ways. Lin Yuan from my previous life nearly died in that battle, but this version of me, after innumerable blood-soaked fights, I trained in real combat. I'm no longer who I used to be. A massive claw slammed down where Lin Yuan stood. The ground cracked open and rock fragments exploded outward. He quickly slipped aside to evade the blow. The headbanded man blurted, "Speed, too fast." The monster roared violently. The world boss entered a state of rage. Lin Yuan curled his lips in a smile. He slammed his hand hard into the ground. From his position, a mysterious light spun outward in a widening circle. Right in the center of the ground, an object half-door, half-sword slowly rose up. The red wolf froze, startled as a giant door appeared before it. The door swung open. Lin Yuan smirked and coldly ordered, "Go, my legion of death spirits." From beyond the door, a horde of silvery gray wolves poured out like a flood. The headbanded man stammered, "So, what is that strange door?" The man with slanted eyes guessed, "Are those undead monsters? They look like desert demon wolves." The long-haired man couldn't believe it. What? Desert demon wolves? How could that kid alone turn so many level 3 desert demon wolves into undead? Lin Yuan merged with the pack and charged forward. On the way here I cleared monsters and conveniently reached level 3. At the same time, the Bright Realm Gate's storage limit increased to 30. Although that made me a little late, the result wasn't bad. The small wolves quickly leapt at the red wolf from multiple directions on Lin Yuan's command. Under Immortal World's hatred mechanic, if the summoner is stronger than the summoned, when both appear, the monster's first attack target will be the summoner. The monster only changes targets if the summoned actively attacks the summoner. The boss spun around, flinging several wolves to the ground. A desert demon wolf opened its jaws wide and howled. The red wolf, enraged, leaped with its claws to strike the demon wolf. Lin Yuan widened his eyes and said, "Now's the time." He lightly kicked off, springing into the air to exploit the hatred mechanic. When the boss is about to attack the summoned, draw its attention to prevent the summons from suffering too many casualties. Lin Yuan moved like lightning, charging at it, unleashing a flurry of strikes, then landing light. The monster howled in fury, then turned and chased after Lin Yuan. The small wolves continued to rush forward to block its path. When the boss is focused on the summoner, command the summons to attack back to swap hate again. Lin Yuan dropped to one knee, bracing his sword with one hand, tensing to calculate. Many ants can kill an elephant. Although each undead demon wolf only deals 15 damage per hit against the colossal deathwolf's 3,400 HP. Having the pack attack wouldn't hold out for long. The headbanded man marveled, so strong. The tied-hair man agreed. Yes, this is truly a Lord-tier world boss. A few players behind them exchanged sinister laughs. A few minutes later, Lin Yuan lunged forward with his sword. The boss's HP was down to 500. He gripped the sword tightly, thrusting down hard and delivering a critical strike. The boss's HP dropped to 500, 300, 200. The beast threw its head back and spat a column of blood nearly 4 meters high. Then its face slammed hard into the ground. Lin Yuan landed lightly, his clothes billowing. The boss's HP was down to 10, entering a dying state. Lin Yuan's gaze was cold as he tilted his head up slightly. At that moment, heavy footsteps thundered. 3 hooded men rushed in. The one in the middle shouted, "Now's our chance. Kill him and the world boss treasure will be ours." The man on the right chimed in, "That kid's undead army has been completely wiped out." The man on the left also yelled, "Kill him." Lin Yuan merely turned his head slightly backward. The headbanded man hurriedly shouted a warning. "Hey, young man, be careful." Lin Yuan glanced back, and with a single sword stroke, sent all 3 flying. Under the sunset, drops of blood clung to the blade and plinked onto the ground. Lin Yuan said arrogantly, "On the corpse of one of them, he misjudged his strength." The young-haired man asked, "What just happened?" The head-banded man exclaimed, "Instant kill." The tied-hair man marveled. He really took down those 3 level 3 bandits with a single move. At that moment, the red wolf slowly rose to its feet in front of Lin Yuan. He swung his sword again, cutting through the air, striking the wolf's belly and making it roar violently. Critical hit. World boss Colossal Deathwolf has been defeated. You have successfully slain the boss and received 480 experience points and a soul gem shard. Lin Yuan stood before the unconscious wolf, wondering what reward the game's first world boss would grant. Suddenly, a mysterious chest appeared. Beside it, a cup filled with sharp shards of soul gem. Lin Yuan took the reward, a soul gem shard, a gem that contains soul power. Collect enough and you can go to the Eternal Council to exchange for legendary grade gear. He thought that after reaching level 60, players must go to the Eternal Council, the home of the spirit folk, to continue leveling, still a long way off. However, soul gem shards are the simplest path to obtaining legendary gear. In Immortal World, 4 swords of different shapes appear. Equipment tiers run from lowest to highest. White common, black iron, bronze, silver, gold, adamant, epic, legendary, mythic. New players usually only have common white gear. Black iron items are extremely rare. Lin Yuan recalled what happened 2 hours earlier. Thanks to knowledge from his previous life, he had used 2 fighters to lure the elite black sand lizard away and looted the bronze chest they guarded. Inside was a Blackstone Mage Cloak, a bronze tier item, plus 30 defense, plus 10 spirit, plus 10 agility. You are the first to defeat the world boss and have earned the Hunter title. The Hunter title grants plus 10% attack, plus 10% critical rate, and plus 10% magic damage when equipped. Lin Yuan calculated that in Immortal World, different titles grant players different special attributes or states. This Hunter title indeed provides strong boosts. System Reward Notice. You are the first to kill the world boss. You receive 1 silver treasure chest. Lin Yuan reached out and touched the silver chest. The system listed 5 different weapons. Silver Moon Sword, a silver weapon that adds plus 100 attack and plus 10 agility, imbued with moonlight energy. Death's Bronze, a silver accessory that adds plus 40 spirit and has the skill Corrosive Beam level 1, dealing magic damage equal to 200% of corrosion damage to a target. A healing potion that instantly restores 20% HP and MP. A skill scroll level 1 that increases skill mastery by 100 points when used. monster essence, dropped only by strong monsters, used to craft potions or consumed directly to raise strength, constitution, agility, and spirit by 10 points each. Lin Yuan thought it was a big haul. The game's first world boss rewarded very generously. 8 slots in his backpack opened up, filled with the items he had just received. The system also announced that experience had been calculated and the player data fully updated. He looked at his palm and thought, not bad, nearly filled level 4 from level 3. Each level up grants 5 free attribute points. This time I put 3 into spirit and 2 into strength. The system chimed again. Player Lin Yuan, level 4, profession, Forbidden Death Spirit Hunter. New attributes: Talent, Dark Summoning, Bright Realm Gate 040, Strength 10, Constitution 10, Agility 25, Spirit 35, Experience 52,719. Lin Yuan smiled with satisfaction. After this level up, his stats were the highest among players in the Shattered Stone Desert. The system displayed Bright Realm Gate 040. Lin Yuan looked at the system panel, thinking, besides, although all my undead demon wolves died in this battle, the Bright Realm Gate can now hold up to 40 undead creatures. Mysterious blue smoke rose from the slain boss's body. The system asked, use Dark Summoning on the corpse of the colossal death wolf. Suddenly a sound rang out. The colossal wolf opened its eyes wide and stomped one paw heavily into the ground. The beast snarled and circled to size up Lin Yuan. Colossal Deathwolf, level 6, HP 2400, attack 360, defense 48, skills, Savage Howl, Colossal Heart, Death Claws, Death Spirit Body, Rage of the Immortal. Savage Howl deals damage equal to 400% of attack to surrounding enemies and stuns targets for 5 seconds. Colossal Heart, owner gains an additional 1000 HP. Death Claws, owner gains an additional 150 attack. Rage of the Immortal, grants allied units plus 10% attack and plus 20% critical rate. Lin Yuan tightened his grip on the sword hilt, staring at the colossal deathwolf before him, thinking, no wonder it's a world boss, area damage skills, and powerful crowd control. After turning into an undead, it even gains a new skill, Rage of the Immortal. It stood before the great gate. From inside, a mystical blue light glowed. With the help of this undead colossal deathwolf, I can quickly replenish undead for the Bright Realm Gate. The colossal deathwolf slowly stepped through the gate. The crowd buzzed. How terrifying. He can turn a world boss into an undead, and that strange gate, those undead wolves came from inside it. This guy is scarier than the world boss. Lin Yuan pressed his lips together and shot a cold glance over his shoulder. From between the twin rocks, a shadow flashed past, leaving only an afterimage. He helplessly watched the trembling figure behind the rocks, so they were still alive. Lin Yuan lowered his head and looked at the sword stuck in the ground beside him. The 3 bandits he'd killed had dropped a black iron sword. It's a decent weapon for low-level players, but I already have the Silver Moon Cleaver. Lin Yuan stepped forward and gripped the hilt tightly. The group hiding behind the twin rocks trembled even more when they saw him approach. He's coming with a sword. Does he intend to kill us and take our stuff? Can we still run? Lin Yuan stopped in front of a boy with spiky banana-green hair. You were the one who called everyone together just now, right? The boy shook in fear, sweat pouring down his face. Well. Lin Yuan held out the sword for him to take, causing the boy to stare in astonishment. Then he turned and walked away, waving to them. Thanks, you might find this useful. The surrounding group leapt out in shock. No way. He came just to give the sword away. That blade is black iron tier, worth tens of thousands of RMB. Lin Yuan pulled the sword from the ground and left. 10 minutes later, suddenly an electric current ran through him, freezing him in place. This feeling. Lin Yuan put a hand to his electronic helmet. Sure enough, the battery was dead and it forced him back. He sighed, closed his tired eyes, removed the helmet, and told himself he needed to earn money fast to buy a new storage unit. He set the helmet aside and stared at the TV screen. Immortal World. He thought to himself, Immortal World. This hyperreal panoramic game is divided into multiple login regions by country, and each region contains in-game nations for players to choose from. Take the Elpad region where I am as an example. There are 4 nations. An ancient sun-drenched nation, Zima Ancient State, a city frozen in ice, Nangui Empire, towering mountains crisscrossed with snow, Beiming Empire, and a colossal city in the ocean, the Trice Archipelago. Lin Yuan straightened in front of the monitor and read the prompt. Please choose your birthplace. A. Zima Ancient State, B. Nangui Empire, C. Beiming Empire. He squinted and thought, reborn again, I'll choose the exact same as before. Lin Yuan raised his hand and tapped his selection on the screen, Zima Ancient State, because before I died I discovered a secret. Suddenly a giant blood-red eye appeared in the sky, tentacles burst up from the earth, and they smashed through the city. Help, save me, please. At that moment Lin Yuan's face was half mangled, both arms severed, buried under rubble. he croaked for help. Then a dark cloak appeared, making him stare up in stunned disbelief. From the sky, the huge eye glared down as three mysterious figures in black cloaks descended. Lin Yuan noticed the leader's cloak clasp set with a yellow gemstone, the guild emblem of Zima ancient state. The strange eye symbol caught his attention even more. The first believer of the Void Heresy was the man in the black cloak standing on the high dais, arms outstretched toward the Crimson Gate. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes, folded his arms, and brushed his lip. I remember the first cultist was the key figure who summoned the heresy to Lamb Star. His face went pale, gaze hard. There are 3 years left until the heresy's arrival. If we can kill him within that time, maybe the tragedy won't repeat. The strange eye symbol kept surfacing in his mind. The only clue was that bat. Lin Yuan pressed his lips and mused. Only the guild in Zima capital wears yellow gemstones. To reach the capital, you need to be level 10. If I want to uncover that old rat's identity, I have to level up fast. He suddenly remembered something and knitted his brows. Right. He raised his hand, and an electronic card appeared. A massive surge of mana poured from the card, and it actually summoned a bone soldier. Lin Yuan clenched his fist and crushed the card to pieces. Some players in Immortal World can bring in-game power into the real world as soon as they log in. Those people are called Chosen Ones. Faint figures formed in his mind. A girl with a greatsword, a horned iron helm man, a red-haired witch with a tall hat, an armored knight, and a nun. Chosen Ones, also called Destinyborn, each possess powerful hidden classes, extremely high luck, and serve as the main fighting force against the heresy in the final stage. In my last life, I only gained a character's power when Lamb Star's disaster spilled into the real world, but this time it's happening much earlier. He frowned, bit his lip, thinking, this forbidden death spirit hunter class really isn't simple. It's just unclear how it compares to a Chosen One's hidden class. Lin Yuan quietly glanced toward the room's door, standing motionless before the wooden door, right now at this time. Old Lin anxiously rubbed the back of his neck. Yun Yun, is that you? He wore a pink apron and set a plate of roasted chicken on the dining table. All done, time to eat. The blonde woman next to him slapped his shoulder excitedly. Old Lin, don't you recognize it? It's rare Yun Yun's thoughtfulness. Why don't you hurry and eat? He stammered awkwardly. Okay. Lin Yuan pressed his lips into a soft smile, looking at the couple at the table with affectionate eyes. A common trait of people is that they only realize something's value after it's gone, and then try to make up for it. In my last life, I was foolish and ignored those peaceful days. I used to drown in my own world, lazily skipping meals and making Mr. and Mrs. Lin worry. If this kid keeps obsessing over games, he'll ruin himself. Can you speak less? Yun Yun will get upset again. Lin Yuan froze, standing motionless before his parents' bodies burned by the flames. Only when the disaster took everything did I painfully realize my past ignorance. His face went numb, and his dead eyes burst into tears. Lin Yuan picked up a piece of meat. It's Sunday today. Didn't Tiro Dan come home for dinner? His mother smiled with narrowed eyes and lifted a piece of meat to her mouth. Dan said she needs to prepare for mock exams and brought lunch to school to study. That's right, when you're free, bring lunch to school for her, okay? Packed meals are never as good as freshly cooked ones. She bit into the meat and sighed happily. I didn't expect Yun Yun to know how to cook. This wing is delicious. Old Lin, don't you dare fight me for it. The man, being called out, indulgently looked at her. All right, it's all for you. A chicken wing being placed into a bowl caught his attention. Lin Yuan squinted at him. I'll learn another dish later. Mr. and Mrs. Lin both looked at him blankly, then answered together gently. Lin Yuan diligently trained his fitness, running up the park steps and gritting his teeth to do sit-ups. He put on boxing gloves and struck the heavy bag hard. To better control the game-derived power in the real world, he needed a solid physical foundation. After the long run, Lin Yuan wearily wiped the sweat from his chin and exhaled. Glancing at the watch readout, 50 meters, 6.5 seconds. Not bad, but there's much room for improvement. The glossy black watch with its intricate dial. Lin Yuan's face flushed, sweat streaming down both cheeks, thinking, it's time to go home. A digital grid spread out, bathed in cold blue, rows of binary code flickering like transmissions from a mysterious world. The atmosphere thickened, as if an invisible gate was about to open and shove reality into another dimension. Data light flared brighter, grid lines and numbers shifting as if conducting a high-level transfer. Silence remained, but beneath it rose unease, like a giant creature stirring in the system's depths. A plume of smoke swirled violently. Blue luminous streams came alive in the night, pulling everything into a storm of arcane energy. Lin Yuan stepped out of that smoke, his face expressionless. He walked forward, eyes blazing red, and the system banner appeared. You have entered the shattered stone desert. Beneath his feet, thick red sand lay spread out. the sun beating down and revealing large shadows moving with agile speed. Dark shapes hurtled down like meteors, leaving black trails that tore the sky, powerful and solemn like a god's descent. The ground trembled in waves, as if about to collapse under the impact of a being carrying a burning wrath that consumed all. Suddenly Lin Yuan looked up, his eyes cold as blades, his body shrouded in chaotic black chi that warped the surrounding space with pressure. Vicious raptor birds charged, their powerful wings beating the air as if to tear space itself. Their sharp, glowing eyes lunged straight at him. Lin Yuan stood firm, without a hint of fear. A massive bird flew in, gaping its mouth to reveal rows of sharp teeth. System alert, vicious harrow bird normal, level 2, HP 40, attack 20, defense 2, skill, tearing strike. Lin Yuan slowly leapt up and in the blink of an eye swung his sword once. The harrow bird's corpse lay motionless on the ground. For defeating 3 harrow birds, he received 15 experience points. Turning back, his bloodshot eyes darkened, only 15 experience points. He fell silent, slightly furrowing his brow, his gaze drifting into the distance. Across the desert, large birds swooped in, surrounded by a halo of blue light. A huge, powerful foot stepped forward, tearing the ground with every stride. Red eyes glowed in the dark as they slowly closed in. They were wolves, their gleaming eyes fixed on him with fury. Lin Yuan stood behind the rock, head bowed, his face darkening as he said in a steady voice, "No wonder, it's one of the favored prey of the desert demon wolves. It immediately drew such a large pack." He took a small vial from his shirt, snapped the cap open, and without hesitation, drank it dry right in front of the pack of monsters that could pounce on him at any moment. System alert, monster essence used, all attributes +10. Immediately after, he gripped his sword tightly and lunged at the beasts, eyes sharp and resolute as if seeing through everything. The wolves bared their sharp fangs and sprang forward with nimble speed, their eyes hungrily intent on seizing their prey. Time to warm up some more. After the words, Lin Yuan charged with a speed that left no opening in his blade for anyone to see. Swift as lightning, the wolves' heads fell before they even realized what had happened. His deep red eyes flashed. System notice, you have successfully killed 4 desert demon wolves. A large wolf leaped at him, eyes raging as if seeking revenge, claws slashing with deadly precision. Lin Yuan froze, slightly frowning. But seconds later, he calmly swung his sword. Blue light enveloped it, and the decisive strikes cut the wolf down. You have successfully killed 10 desert demon wolves. He landed, feet planted firmly. Although he'd slain many wolves, he was still surrounded by numerous others. They stared at him with rage. Standing amid the ring, Lin Yuan was slightly exhausted, holding his sword out in front. Around him were wolves several times his size, their cloaks fluttering in the wind. He gripped his sword tight, drew a deep breath, and looked up, his eyes blazing red as if they meant to tear his foes apart. He smiled softly, perfect timing. His swift, precise slashes struck each desert demon wolf. Before they could register what was happening, the cuts came like lightning. You have successfully killed 20 desert demon wolves. You have successfully killed 30 desert demon wolves. You have successfully killed 40 desert demon wolves. Congratulations, you have reached level 5. Before the demon wolves, the death gate slowly opened, a brilliant blue light spiraling into the void as if intent on swallowing the whole world. Lin Yuan stood on the cliff, thinking. After these 2 battles, the number of souls in the spirit realm gate has been fully replenished. He stood on the cliff looking down, eyes contemplative, face expressionless. System alert, player Lin Yuan, level 5, Forbidden Death Spirit Hunter class, innate talent. Shadow Summoning Magic, Spirit Realm Gate 50-50, Strength 22, Constitution 20, Agility 45, Spirit 48, Experience 38, 1252. He looked down, thoughtful. With the monster essence consumed, his 4 main attributes all rose significantly. Now my combat power can solo same-level elite monsters. He gazed at the ruined building ahead, wind whipping sand and dust everywhere. Lin Yuan pulled his cloak up and called out, "Then it's time to go find that person next." In Hai Chi Town, people bustled through the walkways, and the streets were crowded. Lin Yuan walked down the street, his expression gloomy, each step heavy and uncomfortable. He stopped in front of a house, frowned as he looked at the door, then gently pushed it open and stepped inside. The walls were old and on the verge of collapse. The room was plain with no decorations. An elderly man sat on a simple wooden chair, holding a jar of wine, smiling kindly. "Who's there?" His name was QC, the mage instructor in Black Sand Town. Lin Yuan stepped forward slowly, his tone and expression softer. "Master Quincy, I'm here to learn skill." He thought to himself, in immortality, skills are usually obtained from skill books dropped by monsters and treasure chests. But each class has a corresponding novice instructor responsible for teaching skill. This was my instructor in my previous life. When I was a mage, QC was my teacher. He happily reached out, his nose a little red from light drink, and said with obvious joy, "That means I have money for wine for half a month." Hearing that, he thought, "In my past life I was a mage, and the Death Spirit Hunter is a forbidden class. It's a pity I know very little about this class. However, judging by combat style, it can still be considered a magic-type class." Before obtaining the Death Spirit Hunter's unique skills, he could certainly learn common mage skills. With that in mind, Lin Yuan pulled a large pouch of coins from his pocket. Serious-faced, eyes intent as if piercing the instructor, he said firmly, "I want to learn soul fire magic, healing art, and the stealth technique." The pouch of coins moved from his hand to the man's in an instant. The instructor examined it with satisfaction. Money makes things easier to discuss. He opened the pouch. The coins, carefully wrapped in a felt bag, spilled out and glittered. Suddenly his face turned unusually serious, his eyes stern and sharp. He reached out, and a swirl of blue power gathered into a sphere in his palm, lighting up the whole room. "Young man, do your best. The glory of a mage will shine brightly on your path." The blue light grew stronger as he focused it. Lin Yuan's body seemed to receive and absorb the entire power. The system chimed. "Congratulations, player has learned 3 mage profession skills. Soul Fire Magic Dark Iron LV. 1 effect. Deals magic damage equal to 100% of damage to the target. Costs 10 mana. Cooldown 10s. Proficiency. Healing Art Dark Iron LV. 1 effect. Restores 10% HP to target. Costs 10 mana. Cooldown 3 min. Proficiency. Stealth Technique Dark Iron LV. 1 effect. Enter stealth state for 5s, costs 10 mana, cooldown 3 min, proficiency 0-1. He propped his chin and stared at the system panel, thinking, "Soul Fire Magic guarantees ranged offensive power, healing art helps heal myself and teammates. But these are only the most basic moves. To learn higher tier skills, I'll need to find more resources." Lin Yuan scratched his neck lightly, his face serious and eyes dark red, then set off again to grind level. At Haiga Mountain, east of Haiga Town, the mountain was extremely desolate with no signs of life around. There was only one entrance. He went deeper in, surrounded by sharp thorn bushes. System notice. "Congratulations, player has discovered the Doghead Mine Cave." He thought to himself, dogheads are roughly level 5 monsters that live in nearby caves and tunnels. They have keen noses that can detect enemies in the dark, favor ambush tactics, and are very cunning. Their populations can number in the hundreds. Lin Yuan's eyes were bloodshot, his gaze resolute. Whether by number or level, the dogheads were the ideal targets now for me to use my undead legion to level up. He took a potion from his body, scanned the dark around him, and without much thought drank it in 1 second. It was a potion bought from an NPC merchant half an hour earlier. Night Vision grants a 3-meter radius sight in darkness for 30 minutes. He stepped out from the rear entrance accompanied by several fierce demon wolves. They gaped, baring sharp teeth. Besides leveling up, he could also use these dogheads to max proficiency in stealth technique and soul fire magic and open a few treasure chests. He held a torch that cast brilliant light across the cave. His voice rang out as he ordered the demon wolves to go ahead and light the way. Common torch, grants 5-meter radius vision. Inside the cave, the bloodthirsty demon wolves led the way, alert and watching for any danger. 15 minutes later, he and the pack of demon wolves had pushed deeper into the mountain, and still there was no sign of activity around. Suddenly a sound made him freeze. The torchlight threw half his face into relief, highlighting his unease and his wary gaze. At the sound, Lin Yuan and the demon wolves stopped. Before them lay a somewhat uneven expanse of ground. He decisively hurled the torch forward, his eyes blazing red as the flame flew out. Cutting through the darkness, the flickering light revealing a massive bat and a glaring, hostile eye fixed on the flame. Monsters emerged from the shadows with bloodshot eyes, lunging forward to tear into a few demon wolves. Some leapt at Lin Yuan, jaws full of sharp teeth and ravenous. Doghead Miner, common, level 5, HP 120, attack 30, defense 6, skills, mining, smash. Seeing them, he thought, "They're here, the Doghead Miner." The torch fell, sparks flaring and lighting up the area. The demon wolves with milky eyes charged, surrounded by a greenish-blue glow, following his lead. Lin Yuan surged toward the Doghead Miners, his eyes glowing red and brimming with killing intent. He shouted his command, "Kill them all, leave none alive." The Doghead Miners attacked, some wielding axes, some hammers, some extended razor claws, teeth bared as they lunged at. The demon wolves bit into shoulders and arms, ripping limbs away as blood flowed freely. Lin Yuan sliced with each stroke, his blade flashing as he felled miner after miner, having killed 2 Doghead Miners. The axe-wielding miners retaliated against the wolves with nimble, sharp strikes, activating their smash skill. Lin Yuan charged in, his sword piercing each one and striking weak points, dropping them before they could react. He had slain 8 Doghead Miners. He cut them down and thought, they're not very strong. The key is to avoid their axes. The miners surged forward, axes raised, leaping at him. Lin Yuan hesitated as the ground trembled beneath his feet, raising a cloud of dust. He let out a faint smile, eyes full of contempt, his voice low and mocking. Stealth, activating the stealth skill. Startled, the monsters stomped the ground hard, eyes wide as the earth broke apart. Lin Yuan reappeared behind them, frowning, eyes razor-sharp. His voice was icy. Fool, I'm right here. The miner jolted, its eyes snapping back in panic. Lin Yuan plunged through them, making them howl in pain. Some didn't even have time to react before decapitated. Killed, 20 doghead miners. He leapt onto a rock amid a swirl of greenish-blue light, sword clenched in his hand, miner corpses strewn across the ground below. A green energy enveloped him as the system announced. Stealth technique, Dark Iron LV1 effect. Enter stealth for 5 seconds, costs 10 mana, cooldown 3 minutes. Proficiency, 5-1. Hearing this, he smirked, eyes alight with pleasure. Stealth proficiency has been refreshed. He stood still, staring down with a thoughtful expression. Before him, the surrounding doghead miners all emitted a greenish-blue energy. Their gazes were blank as they looked at him. The stats of these common dogheads were too weak. Using them to level up was already slow. After being defeated, they became Undead Doghead Miner, common level 5 HP 120, attack 30 skills. Mining, Smash, Undead Body, attacks deal no more than 5% of the target's HP. Lin Yuan raised his sword forward and shouted, then you replace the demon wolves. Go, find the boss here quickly. At his command, the axe-wielding undead surged ahead. Lin Yuan followed behind as the undead army pushed deeper into the cave. At a fork, he halted. Before him lay 2 paths. He hesitated slightly. Which way? Suddenly something above caught his attention. He glanced up, his keen eyes taking it in. There were crude markings on the cliff face, their meaning unclear, and no other drawings nearby. His face darkened, his eyes glowing red in the dark. A pulse of greenish-blue energy gathered in his hand. He curled a lip, found you. He hurled that power forward, producing a massive blast that tossed the mud slimes on the ground aside. Slime Mud defeated X2 plus 4 EXP. Behind him, a pair of crimson eyes watched. Hidden in the dark, only the pupils glowed. A wave of killing intent from the rear made Lin Yuan and the undead shiver, their spines chilling. From the shadows, a dog-headed monster stepped out holding a barbed whip. The whip was lined with sharp spikes. It slammed the ground, cracking the earth and flinging rock fragments. The undead miners flinched, but Lin Yuan remained calm. Doghead Overseer, Elite LV6, HP 350, ATK 100, Def 10 skills. Mining, Whip Strike. Since ancient times, the strong have prevailed and the weak have fallen. Predators can become prey. Behind the wolf, a green snake appeared, its eyes ravenous. It flicked its tongue, waiting for the chance to swallow the wolf when it let down its guard. Danger always lurks in the dark. The doghead overseer slammed the ground, sending dust and sand into a blinding cloud. Its eyes were blood-red with rage. Chaos and dust filled the scene. In that moment, Lin Yuan watched with detached amusement as the snake was beaten by another beast. But sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted if he relaxes for even a second. His gaze turned icy, a flash of resolve crossing his eyes. Right then, Lin Yuan precisely snatched the overseer's weapon. He gripped the barbed whip tightly and said in a low voice, "Got you." By momentum, the monster was flung into the air when he yanked hard. Lin Yuan then pulled it toward him, dragging its massive body across the ground as rock and dirt flew. Not letting him dominate for long, it quickly regained its footing and growled in fury. But before it could react, a shadow streaked by. Lin Yuan lunged with blinding speed, a spear piercing through the creature. Killed, Doghead Overseer. The system alert finished its chime as the monster collapsed, blood gushing like watermelon juice. Lin Yuan kept walking without looking back. Even as the creature breathed its last, its growls still echoed. Suddenly, something made him turn his head. And then he froze in horror. Countless monsters poured out of the caverns, charging toward him. In their hands were all kinds of sharp, dangerous weapons. The system immediately warned. 100 Overseers activated skill. Whip out. The entire site entered bloodthirsty state. Bloodthirsty, plus 40% attack speed, plus 25% movement speed. Duration, 60 seconds. The site did not panic Lin Yuan. Instead, it excited him. 40 no, more than 50. Quite a number, but our formation isn't weak either. A greenish-blue light filled the space as he commanded. Appear. Immediately, countless undead pets were summoned, ready to rush into battle. Lin Yuan curled a satisfied smile. The pet beside him revealed a deep teal pupil, as if awaiting order. Not to disappoint them, Lin Yuan reached toward the horde of monsters and declared, "Officially begin." At that signal, the monsters lunged forward, letting out a few powerful, domineering roars. The underlings, seeing their boss give the signal, did not hesitate, and immediately charged into battle with the monsters before them. The strength gap between the two sides was total. A single howl could finish off a monster. Finding slaying them one by one boring, Lin Yuan's main pet suddenly let out a long howl, and the system instantly announced, "Dire Wolf Howl." Continuous shockwaves poured out, pushing several monsters back. It turned out the howl had another effect, leaving enemies dazed, and their HP dropping rapidly. Lin Yuan's eyes burned red. He seized the moment and ordered his wolves, kill. Receiving their master's command, they charged forward full of vigor, and massive amounts of experience flowed into his account. You have successfully killed Overseer Doghead X5. You have successfully killed Overseer Doghead X20. You have successfully killed Overseer Doghead X10. You have successfully killed Overseer Doghead X40. Congratulations, you have reached level 6. A familiar green aura surrounded Lin Yuan's body as he casually looked over the pile of corpses before him, his heart utterly calm. Just when he thought it was over, a status panel popped up. Zombie Overseer Doghead, Elite Level 6, HP 350, Attack 100, Defense 10, Skills, Burrow, Lash of the Undead Body. They didn't rush to attack as expected. Instead, they tried to flee along with the few surviving dogheads. As if that would be allowed, Lin Yuan immediately gave chase, trying to run. He made a few stylish sword slashes and cleaned them up, not forgetting to say, "Ask my sword first." Suddenly, an attack came from the front that caught Lin Yuan a bit off guard. He immediately jumped back to dodge, and the system chimed. The boss has activated the heavy strike skill. A status panel displayed. Doghead Leader Level 7, HP 1000, Attack 150, Defense 80, Skills, Burrow, Heavy Strike. Finally, the boss had revealed himself, making Lin Yuan excited. "I've been waiting for you." True to his title, the leader swung a massive hammer that sent rock and dirt flying, but even that wasn't enough. Lin Yuan easily leaned aside to avoid the blow. Because he used so much force, his hammer became stuck in the wall, and he fumbled, unable to pull it free. Seizing the opportunity, Lin Yuan lunged. Now's the time. With no wasted motion, he slashed straight into the leader's chest. The sword struck iron armor with a screeching sound, but the monster was unfazed. Lin Yuan stepped back, muttering, "No wonder it's leader tier defense, it can't be pierced." The creature went berserk, ripping the hammer free from the wall, its eyes flashing with fury. Seeing it raging like that, Lin Yuan couldn't help but be taken aback. Refusing to be outdone, the leader charged and swung the hammer with even greater force. It roared, losing all reason. Lin Yuan stepped back and dodged another hammer blow, but the shock from the strike impaired his movement, forcing him to drop to one knee to regain balance. Once calm, Lin Yuan analyzed. As predicted, the leader's attack patterns are far less predictable than elite monsters. Its overall strength is at least 2 to 3 times greater. A blue flame began to appear in his hand as he thought. First stretch the distance, ensure continuous offense. No sooner had he issued the order than the system displayed. Lash, pound, wolves hold and roar. The leader prepared to strike again as a dangerous aura wreathed his weapon. System notice. Boss is launching a heavy blow, critical damage double. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate. He swung his hand toward the monster and ordered, "Go." The wolves immediately locked onto the target and pounced, tearing at the leader before he could react. The alpha wolf activated its group skill, Wrath of the Immortal, plus 10% attack, plus 20% crit rate. Then Lang Wang quickly leapt forward and snapped at the leader. Continuous arcs of electricity assaulted it, forcing it to howl in pain. The electric current grew stronger and stronger. The leader could only snarl in agony. As it staggered, the wolves kept leaping in to bite and rend. A blue orb formed in Lin Yuan's palm as he activated the Soul Flame skill. He nimbly hurled successive orbs at the monster. The leader was held fast by the wolves, unable to move, and kept taking heavy hits. Lin Yuan searched his memory. If he recalled correctly, dog-headed leaders have very low magic resistance. As predicted, the monster's HP kept dropping, -20, -30, then -30 again. Despite taking so much damage, it still hadn't fallen. The dog-headed leader still had the strength to howl at Lin Yuan, swinging its hammer forward to exact revenge. As it closed in, Lin Yuan showed no fear. Instead, he curled a mocking smile and activated his stealth skill. Before he knew it, he had slipped around to the monster's back. "If it came to my door, I won't be polite." He aimed precisely at the unarmored patch on the leader's back, then decisively plunged his sword into the back of the dog-head leader's neck. Red juice spurted out, and seeing it still not fall, Lin Yuan drove the blade in deep. The move took effect. The leader let out a pained roar that seemed to tear the air. It swung the hammer at Lin Yuan, but he easily dodged. Lin Yuan gripped his sword tightly to signal. Lang Wang immediately caught the hint and leapt up to receive his master. Lin Yuan clung to Lang Wang, and the two landed safe. Right after, he ordered the wolf pack to surge at the dog-head leader. The wolves lunged without hesitation, shattering the leader's defenses. Lin Yuan thought the armor's breached. He had numerous orbs ready in his hand, poised to deliver the finishing blow. He shouted, "Kill it!" The leader's HP plummeted, -30, -40, -40. The monster could only howl in despair as it took those blows. Other monsters began swarming in en masse, but Lin Yuan remained calm, watching them thrash about before dying. The system displayed, "You have successfully killed Miner Doghead X15. You have successfully killed Foreman Doghead X10. You have successfully killed Miner Doghead X20. You have successfully killed Miner Doghead X35. Behind him, another monster had appeared before he realized it. Lin Yuan's face didn't change at all as he slowly withdrew his sword. Trying to run, leave your life first. In a flash, a powerful sword stroke was unleashed, cutting through the massive body of the monster, and in an instant, its head was severed from its neck. The system immediately showed, "You have successfully killed Doghead Captain, EXP plus 50. You have successfully killed Doghead Captain, EXP plus 50. He began interacting with the info panel before him. "Congratulations, you have leveled up to level 7. Glancing at the notification panel, Lin Yuan silently calculated, "Level 7, very good. Player Lin Yuan, profession, Forbidden Necrohunter, current level 7. Talent, Dark Summoning Magic. Mingate 2070. Strength 27, Constitution 23, Agility 45, Spirit 50, EXP 1682745. One step closer to level 10 and reaching West Mako City. As for Stealth and Soul Flame Magic, their proficiency also rose to level 2, doubling their effectiveness. Soul Flame Magic, Black Iron Tier 2, deals magic damage to the target X2, MP cost 10, cooldown 10 seconds, proficiency 2200. Stealth, Black Iron Tier 2. Enter Stealth for 10 seconds, MP cost 10, cooldown 3 minutes, proficiency 10-200. At that moment, something caught Lin Yuan's attention. A box appeared by the corpse of the monster from earlier, Yang Qingtong. He stepped closer and reached out to touch the newly spawned item. Immediately, it emitted a special golden light. Obtained Dogskin Pouch, Eternal Candle, Obsessed Gauntlet Set. Opened Dogskin Pouch, received 20 gold coins. Unexpectedly, a pouch overflowing with gold appeared in his hand. I recall that soon major global banks will open channels to exchange in-game currency for real money. 20 gold coins converted to cash equals 200,000, not bad. The system info panel displayed. Eternal Candle provides a 3-meter vision radius for the player in darkness, unlimited duration. Bonehead Mask, bronze, weapon type. Reduces physical damage taken by 5%, Constitution plus 10, Strength plus 10. Obsessed Gauntlet Set, white-silver, weapon type. Comparable to the body strength of a Doghead Captain, defense plus 30, attack plus 30. Lin Yuan quickly equipped the Obsessed Gauntlet Set. Luck was on his side. Opening Yang Qingtong's chest yielded a white-silver tier weapon. The gauntlet set strong enough to rival a Doghead Captain's gear, truly making one eager to test it. The scene shifted to another area near the Doghead Den. A man had appeared amid the pile of monster corpses. Guild Master of Blood Fox, Huang Fei Long, profession, Warrior, level 8. He spoke, "Seems our recent training has paid off. 30 desert demon wolves killed in just 1 minute. A teammate replied, "As long as we cooperate, nothing's impossible." That man was Blood Fox's Vice Guild Master, Paihu, profession, Rogue, level 5. Few others in the distance also watched in awe. No wonder the Guild Master and Vice Guild Master are formidable. Clearing so many demon wolves at once shows real power. A blonde guy looked annoyed. If it weren't for that recent appearance of some Lin Yuan, we would have already claimed the World Boss Strategy Book. No guild would dare challenge us. At that moment, a system announcement appeared. World Boss Death Sand Wolf has been slain by player Lin Yuan. Everyone present gaped in shock. What? Members of Blood Fox began to chatter. Who knows what luck that guy has? If I meet him, I'll teach him a lesson. Paihu, how many times must I tell you, don't act rashly? Huang Fei Long said, Lin Yuan's strength isn't trivial. Rather than fight him, it's better to recruit him as an ally. He moved forward. I recall there's a Doghead dungeon nearby. I'll go confirm its location first. Everyone hold position and recover your stamina. Yes, sir. The blonde behind secretly thought. The boss scolded me 3 times because of that stray mutt. I'm so pissed. He shouted, Lin Yuan, just you wait. One day I'll pull out all your dog teeth in front of the boss. Chop off your dog head so the boss can see who's truly powerful. Someone nearby pointed toward the distance with a strange expression. Vice Guild Master, don't get angry over that worthless thing. What's that over there? He too looked over curiously. What is it? A figure gradually came into view. It was a well-proportioned girl carrying a staff, walking toward them. Immediately, the others' expressions turned sly as they burst into loud, sinister laughter. The scene cut elsewhere. At that moment, Lin Yuan was slowly stepping out of the dungeon he'd just been in. The system detail panel gradually appeared. Undead Doghead Leader, Level 7, HP 1000, Attack 150, Defense 80, Skills, Burrow Undead Physique, Heavy Strike. Heavy Strike, when it lands, deals 200% attack as damage to the target's HP and has a 10% critical chance. He calculated quietly. Another undead leader added with considerable combat power. The number of undead beasts in the Ming realm has reached 70. Keep up this pace. Suddenly, a cry rang out from afar and drew his attention. The girl who had just appeared was backing away, her face full of terror, her body covered in wounds. Don't come any closer, or I won't be polite. The men from the guild who'd surrounded the area all showed eager grins. They hadn't expected to find such a pretty girl today. Don't worry, we'll just have a little fun with you. Better to enjoy it than to suffer. Right, make our Vice Guild master happy and rewards won't be lacked. The girl could only struggle helplessly. Get closer and I won't be polite. But with lightning speed, the blonde threw a kick forward, then grabbed her by the hair without hesitation. A useless mage thinking she can hurt us. They both toppled to the ground. He sneered, don't be naive, if you won't give up, try me. His expression turned terrifying. Keep resisting. The more you struggle, the more I enjoy it. He ripped the girl's clothes decisively, leaving her to scream in helpless despair. At that moment, a hand suddenly appeared and punched the man square in the face. The ornate gauntlet flashed in the sunlight. The powerful blow sent him flying several meters, gouging a deep furrow in the ground, shattering rock and kicking up a cloud of dust. With a single strike, he was taken down. The man was none other than our protagonist. The punch sent him flying several meters, leaving a deep groove in the earth. Rock shattered and dust hung in the air. With one blow, he was defeated. The man was none other than our protagonist. Lin Yuan said, not bad, smoother than I expected. One henchman, seeing this, immediately fled, thinking to himself, this isn't good. I have to warn the guild master. The others demanded, who are you to offend the Blood Fox Guild? You're dead meat. Lin Yuan remained calm, staring straight ahead. In his head he calculated, Blood Fox Guild in early immortal phase is the top guild among newcomers in Zhenheji. Most guild members are red-named players who do evil. One wore a knight's helm and carried a scythe, looking dangerous. Another wore a black cloak with countless skulls on his back, making him even more menacing. Another wore full plate and carried a large shield. Red-named players, those who have committed crimes like malicious attacks, theft, or robbery, are marked by the system as dangerous once their crime score reaches 10 or higher. Although the spirit beast hasn't invaded yet, a defeated player won't die in real life, but losing gear and levels is still a heavy loss. Only then did Lin Yuan speak. Are you members of the Blood Fox Guild? He thought, these guys caused me a lot of trouble in my past life. The two opponents looked at each other in confusion. Then the short-haired one confirmed, yes, we're the #1 guild famous across Zhenheji. You offended our Vice Guild master, scared now. He flexed his wrist, too late. If you don't want to die a miserable death, you'd better break both your arms and kneel like a dog, calling out, grandfather, a few times. Suddenly, Lin Yuan appeared behind them, his hands stained with fresh blood. Before anyone realized it, their hands had been severed, blood spraying everywhere. They could only scream helplessly in pain. He said coldly, I've already collected your hands for you. Save your barking for the trip down to the underworld. The girl beside him slowly rose to her feet, whispering in admiration, so strong. After a short while, the Vice Guild master of the Blood Fox Guild began to come to. A system message sounded. You used a health potion, recovering 20% HP and MP. He ground his teeth in anger. You brat. You must die. From the rear, two voices shouted. I want to see who's got the guts for this. Boss is up front. Lin Yuan turned instinctively. Those behind pointed forward and shouted, it's this kid. He almost killed our Vice Guild master. The man beside him suddenly went pale, thinking to himself, wait a moment. His gaze was calm, cold, and imposing, like condensed moonlight, glinting with a chill sharp enough to cut through anything. The man before them looked terrifying. His eyes glowed red like a demon's, and an aura of authority radiated from him that made everyone nearby feel stifled and breathless. A henchman shouted loudly, Boss, teach this brat a lesson. That eyeless dog dares to rile us. Are you ready to die? Prepare to meet your end. The so-called boss gritted his teeth, visibly frightened despite himself. Damn it, with that bearing and the sword in his hand, he could very well be a boss-level monster drop. There's a good chance that's Lin Yuan. He stood there hesitating as his men urged him on. These fools picked a fight with him and only brought disaster on themselves. Opposite him, Lin Yuan began to speak. Are you the leader of the Blood Fox Guild? Hearing this, the other side calculated quietly. They couldn't lose face, and today's battle looked unavoidable. His eyes slowly hardened as he stared straight ahead. Just then, someone suddenly lunged from behind at lightning speed. The mage who had been rescued shouted a warning, "Watch your back." The man immediately surged with killing intent, thrusting his sword forward as he shouted, "Die for me, die." A good opportunity. The captain over there also began to act. Kid, opposing the Blood Fox Guild is the stupidest decision of your life. Facing attacks from both sides, Lin Yuan stood motionless, showing no fear. Suddenly, the boss seemed to witness something astonishing and froze in place. From somewhere, the hulking form of a monster appeared, wielding a gigantic hammer. He gave a cold, vicious smile. Immediately, that massive weapon was swung out. The blonde-haired man only had time to grit his teeth before being flung away. On this side, moving at his speed, Lin Yuan had already appeared in front of the opposing captain. His eyes lethal, he pointed his sword straight ahead, ready to strike. The opponent stood stunned and speechless, his face ashen. Immediately after, a razor-sharp stroke was unleashed, cutting cleanly through that burly body. The opponent lost the ability to fight instantly, his eyes rolled back lifelessly. Lin Yuan said coldly, "First guild of the world, you don't even have the right for me to take you seriously." Suddenly the system sounded an alert. "Detected you have killed a human player. Crime score +2. He calculated silently. If he committed no further crimes for a week, this point would automatically disappear. The others dared not resist and fled on all fours. The sorceress from before spoke up. "This is bad, they're running. Should we chase?" But Lin Yuan remained composed. "They're just lowly fish, no need." Over there, the corpse of the blonde man who had just been defeated slowly vanished, and his items dropped immediately. Violent government, a silver-grade weapon that causes a massive explosion on hit, dealing area damage, +40 attack, +30 strength. Dragon Fang Cross Ring, a silver-grade weapon that ignites flames on the target on hit, dealing continuous burn damage, +30 speed, +40 attack. Dust Spine Hide, a bronze-grade armor, effective equipment, +15 attack, +20 speed. Lin Yuan rubbed his chin, thinking to himself, "The stats are all pretty decent. If I don't use them, I can still sell them for a good price." Suddenly, footsteps approached from behind. The sorceress from before, her face flushed and shy, spoke softly, "Great hero, thank you for saving me today. I still don't know your name." Her large body pressed close, making Lin Yuan a little embarrassed and stepped back. Then he spun on his heel, replying with a smug look, "One day you'll see my name on the global top 10 combat rank." The girl didn't fully grasp the meaning of his words. She shouted as she sprinted after him, "Who cares about that ragged board? Great hero, let me follow you." At that moment in the AI How Desert, a scorpion suddenly attacked from behind Lin Yuan. It was an AI How Scorpion, level 6, HP 400, attack 110, defense 20, with the Thunderstun strike skill. Lin Yuan drew his weapon, and with a single blow, sent the scorpion flying into the air. System notice, a total of 60 AI How Scorpions have been slain in this area. Level increased to 8. Seeing the messages, Lin Yuan felt a bit pleased. He reached level 8. Though gathering was a bit tedious, the haul wasn't bad. Cut to 2 days earlier, AO slowly stepped forward and made an offer. "Brave one, I've finally been able to wait for you." The system appeared, detected a commission quest from Blacksmith AI Mo. "Do you want to accept the quest?" AI Mo's request was to collect 100 Thunderleaf herbs in the AI How Desert and deliver them within 1 day. Quest difficulty, Obsidian Iron. Thunderleaf is an electro-attribute herb that grows in the desert. Lin Yuan calculated quietly that later a special dungeon would open in the capital. It's all lightning-type monsters. To clear the trial, you need extremely high lightning resistance. Therefore, potent anti-electric potions will be very scarce, worth tens of thousands of gold. In a previous life, some people made a huge profit from that. Completing this Thunderleaf gathering quest will grant the formula to brew a highly effective anti-electric potion. Today is AO's first day in Hexatown. After handing out this quest, he will retire into seclusion forever. In other words, this is the only chance for players to obtain that special formula. Knowing it's the only opportunity, Lin Yuan immediately accepted the system quest and headed straight to the AI How Scorpion area. Level 6 Thunder Beasts guard the Thunderleaf. With my current strength, they're not a threat yet. After smoothly claiming the quest, Lin Yuan took the chance to practice the gathering skill he had just learned until proficient. Gathering technique Obsidian Iron level 12. Increases gathering speed, 5% chance to obtain rare quality herbs, consumes 1 spirit point, 3-second cooldown, proficiency 100-200. After finishing the gathering, Lin Yuan decided to push deeper inside to check things out. As he stepped forward, he suddenly sensed danger and immediately froze in place. A scorpion stinger unexpectedly shot up from the ground, its armored tail lunging straight at Lin Yuan, but he managed to dodge in time. Lin Yuan's reflexes were razor-sharp. He leapt back defensively, his eyes fixed on the pointed tail. It was a mutated fiend. The scout scorpion had just appeared. System red alert, extreme danger. Info display, Scout Scorpion level 10, HP 2800, attack 400, defense 55, skills, Thunderstun Strike, Penetrating Venom, Earthcleave Pincher, Thunder Rage Crystal. Lin Yuan assessed silently. He hadn't expected to encounter a mutated beast here. He smiled slightly, although it's a bit tough to deal with. Today, I'll use you to train the Silver Knight Slash. With that, he launched an immediate attack, but his silver blade still couldn't pierce its thick armor. System warning, boss is casting skill Thunderstun Strike. Lin Yuan kept trying to strike the armor, but couldn't make a dent. The boss then used Penetrating Venom, striking with its massive tail at the spot he had just attacked, forcing Lin Yuan to step back. Reevaluating the opponent's strength, he realized this boss was stronger than expected, and that its power must be split up first. At that moment, the boss lunged quickly toward Lin Yuan, sand from the desert flying up in a haze behind him. He focused his strength and summoned his dog-headed ally to assist in the fight. The Scout Scorpion lost 200 HP from that single hit. He thought to himself, the dual critical hasn't triggered yet. Seizing the opportunity, Lin Yuan activated a skill. System notice, boss casts Quake-Tide Restraint. The sandy ground trembled and a large sinkhole opened, swallowing the Scout Scorpion, which screamed in panic. Lin Yuan didn't miss his chance, unleashing successive upgraded fire spells, causing the boss's HP to drop rapidly. Then the dog-headed leader, brandishing a huge hammer, dove down from above, triggered a dual critical strike, smashing the Scout Scorpion with a thunderous blow that reduced its HP by another 200 points each time. Despite being heavily struck and restrained, the Scout Scorpion still thrashed fiercely, trying to sever its bonds to escape. It succeeded in breaking free, causing the ground to split with multiple cracks. Lin Yuan still hadn't found a weakness, so he changed tactics, quickly equipping the Obsession Gauntlets and activating the Slayer Hunter title effect, granting plus 10% attack, plus 10% critical rate, and plus 10% magic damage. Ready, Lin Yuan clenched his fist. Fine, I'll smash your whole body to bits and turn you into a pile of carcass. Below, the Scout Scorpion roared in fury. Not willing to let it rampage, he dashed toward it, launching a flurry of powerful strikes. The boss countered by opening its maw and unleashing power. But in the end, only its tail remained planted in the sand, as dust billowed into the air. System notice, you have successfully slain the mutated Scout Scorpion. Gain 560 experience. Scout Scorpion Corpse Attributes, Level 10, HP 2800, Attack 400, Defense 55, Skills, Thunderstun Strike, Penetrating Venom, Earthcleave Pincher, Thunder Rage Crystal, Undead Corpse. Thunderstun Strike, Lightning Attack that causes a 1-second stun. Penetrating Venom, Tail Strike deals an additional 10 poison damage. Earthcleave Pincher, deals damage equal to 250% of attack to the target's HP. Thunder Rage Crystal, fires crystals in a 360-degree radius, dealing 100% attack damage to targets. Immediately after, AI House Scorpions swarmed in again. Lin Yuan was surprised to see the Scout Scorpion revive as an undead under his control, ready to confront the horde of AI House Scorpions. He showed no concern and even said, "Perfect timing. I'll use the pet I just tamed to test you." According to the system info, he used the Thunder Rage Crystal skill on the undead Scout Scorpion, letting it fight its kin. Because it had been tamed by Lin Yuan, it attacked without distinguishing friend from foe, and bolts of lightning relentlessly struck the AI House Scorpion swarm. In seconds, amid cries of pain, the system messages popped up. -50, -50, -60, -60. Watching from the sidelines, Lin Yuan felt a bit bored and lifted his sword to resume fighting. Not wanting to waste too much energy, he focused on the AI House Scorpion's weak spots. The system kept confirming, hit weak point, hit weak point, hit weak point. With a single stroke, Lin Yuan killed an AI House Scorpion. Each slash felled another, and his movement speed was extremely agile. His attacks mainly targeted the Scorpion's backs. After defeating the last one, the system immediately announced, "Level up, level up. Congratulations, you have reached level 10. Lin Yuan paused to survey the AI House Scorpion corpses scattered around. Shortly after, the system updated his current status. Player Lin Yuan, level 10, profession. Undead Hunter talents. Taboo, Summon Darkness, Light Realm Gate 2100, Strength 32, Constitution 28, Agility 47, Spirit 53, Experience 152,5159. Realizing he'd jumped 2 levels, Lin Yuan merely smiled. Leveling up 2 levels at once doesn't feel bad. Additionally, the system announced he received silver-grade weapons, Electric Halberd, Guardian's Tread, Paralysis Ring, and Wailing Bow. At that moment, a thought occurred to Lin Yuan. The spoils from Yang are all silver-grade weapons. Selling a few could significantly improve his parents' life. He didn't hurry to leave and lingered, thinking it over for a moment. Just then, the system continued. All fiends in this area have been annihilated. Congratulations, you have received a gold-tier skill book exclusive to your profession. Lin Yuan watched his hand glow with golden light and muttered. And as he thought it, a book appeared in his hand. System display, Dark Origins Word, Gold Skill, Learning Conditions, restricted to the Undead Hunter profession. Lin Yuan lightly touched the book's cover and thought to himself, not a bad stroke of luck. He opened the book, and the system automatically recorded the skill into the player's memory. Congratulations, you have acquired the Undead Hunter's exclusive skill. Dark Origins Word Level 1 deals 20% damage to the target's HP or restores 20% HP to an undead, costs 100 mana, 10-second cooldown. Seeing his hand emitting blue flames, Lin Yuan wondered, restore 20% HP to an undead. Thinking that, he glanced back and saw the undead scout Scorpion lying on the sand with its HP at 60%. He tried channeling the new power into it and said, let's see. The sudden surge of energy made the undead scout Scorpion growl in discomfort, and its HP quickly recovered to 80%. Seeing that, Lin Yuan nodded in satisfaction and bowed his head to think. After a moment, he made up his mind. The event is over. It's time to head to the capital, ride the sandstorm, and find that first believer. With that, he set off quickly. After only a few steps, a thought occurred to him. Wait, there might be something urgent. So Lin Yuan logged out of the game immediately. As he took off his headset, Mrs. Lin called out loudly, "Oh no, Yuan, your dad's back just went out. Come help me quick." He hurriedly helped Mr. Lin to the living room, warning, "Dad, take it slow." Mrs. Lin massaged him while grumbling, "You're old, stop overdoing it. Why not call a repairman to fix the AC? Now look, your back's gone again." Mr. Lin only gave a wry smile. "If we can save money, we should. Last week the washer broke and I fixed it myself. This little injury will be fine after a nap. Tomorrow I still have to pick Xiaodin up from school." Hearing that, Lin Yuan just stood there quietly, not daring to say more. The next morning, while Mr. Lin was still sound asleep, Mrs. Lin was awakened by a strange noise. She pulled him outside and called loudly, Yuan, what's all the commotion so early?" No one answered. Instead, people arrived carrying a new TV. Xiao Li stepped forward, took Mr. Lin's hand cheerfully and said, "Are you Mr. and Mrs. Lin? This is the new TV Mr. Lin Yuan ordered. We're here to install it. Please confirm." The couple cried out in surprise, and before they could ask anything, the installer began work. Seeing that, Mrs. Lin asked Mr. Lin, "Old Lin, am I dreaming? What's going on?" He could only stare blankly at the technician. At the gym, Lin Yuan was diligently doing sit-ups, then moved to the treadmill. At that moment, a gym attendant came over and asked, "Would you like to sign up for our VIP package? We require a 1-year deposit up front." Lin Yuan did not hesitate and quickly handed over his bank card. "This is my card." He also thought that after selling some unused gear and renovating the house, he'd get a family gym membership card too. Have both his parents and Xiaodin start training early so they'll adapt more easily when they enter immortality later on. Meanwhile, the gym attendant was secretly amazed when she saw the Supreme VIP card, reserved for accounts with over 5 million yuan. On top of that, she overheard Lin Yuan's call to his parents. "Hello, yes, that's the bonus from my last gaming competition. Yes, you two rest at home today. I'll take care of Xiaodin." As Lin Yuan finished speaking, the gym attendant was briefly stunned and thought to herself, "This customer is so young yet remarkably capable." At Tushui No 1 school, where Xiaodan attends, dismissal had just begun and students chattered excitedly. "School's out, let's go hit the internet cafe and squad up for a match. Hey, include me too." Xiaodan finally left the classroom. She was a rather reserved girl and rarely socialized with classmates. Walking toward the gate, she accidentally overheard Chen and Gok and Duo Mai talking behind her. Chen and Gok invited, "Come to my place today. I'm having a birthday. My brother bought me my favorite strawberry cake." Duong Mai jealous. "What a great brother, I'm so jealous. I wish I had a brother too." Mentioning brothers made Dan feel a twinge of sadness. In her mind rose the image of Lin Yuan burying himself in games every day, rarely paying attention to. Thinking that, she quietly told herself, "I don't need a brother." After taking a few more steps, Dan was blocked by a group of boys. Oh, the school's beauty is so arrogant. How many times have we asked her out and she still won't go? Cao Qiang spoke up, with Liu Tun egging him on. We personally came to invite her and she shows no respect. Not showing any fear, Xiao Dan asked bluntly, what do you want? Chen and Gok ran over. Class president, who are they? Duong Mai glared angrily at the group and snorted. Liu Tun was ruder. He stepped forward to grab Xiao Dan and made a lewd remark. Your skin's so soft. Let me see if I can squeeze water out of it. The moment his hand reached out, Xiao Dan shoved it away forcefully and shouted, don't touch me, get lost. She pointed straight at him and warned firmly, if you follow me again, I'll call the police. Liu Tun flew into a rage and slapped her, cursing, damn it, such an ungrateful brat. Xiao Dan cried out in pain and fell to the ground. Chen and Gok shouted worriedly, Class President, Thua Thang is charging in. The man wouldn't relent. He kept laying hands on her and shouted, touching you is me showing respect, yet you act so high and mighty. Xiao Dan could only sit on the ground, covering her face with both hands, weakly resisting. Just as Liu Tun's fist was about to land, someone suddenly appeared and stopped it. Seeing that person, Xiao Dan rubbed her eyes in surprise to double-check. It was none other than Lin Yuan. He asked coldly, who allowed you to bully my sister? Lin Dan couldn't believe it and called his name in shock. Upon hearing his sister, Lin Yuan softened and looked at her gently. Lin Dan still couldn't believe it and called his brother's name in astonishment. Lin Yuan, hearing his sister, looked at her gently. Taking advantage of his momentary inattention, Liu Tun tried to throw a punch and sneered. Where did this mad dog come from? The whole group surged forward at once, determined to take Lin Yuan down, break his arms first. But as a result, the group was quickly beaten to a pulp by him. Some were kicked into the air like balls. Others went down writhing from a single punch. The worst off was Liu Tun, who Lin Yuan stomped squarely in the face, leaving a print in the ground as dust billowed everywhere. After a while, they could only scream and lie scattered, unable to get up. Lin Yuan stepped on Wang Hong and then leaned down to whisper to Lin Dan, let's go. Meanwhile, she, Chen and Gok, and Duong Mai stood with mouths agape and eyes wide, unable to believe what had just happened. On the way home, Lin Dan asked tentatively, why did you come here today? She still suspected him. This guy is always glued to games, so why suddenly come to pick me up at school? Lin Yuan answered honestly, Dad has a bad back, and Mom is at home taking care of it. Hearing that, she worried, a bad back, is it serious? He reassured her it's not that serious. The two siblings fell silent again, not knowing what else to say. After a moment, Lam Dan thought to herself that it had been a long time since they'd talked like this. It felt strange and awkward. Luckily, Chen and Gok and Duong Mai reappeared, breaking the quiet. Class President, Class President. Chen and Gok leaned toward Lam Dan and whispered, your brother's so great. He personally came to pick you up, not like my brother, who's hopelessly lazy. Duong Mai chimed in, right, how come we've never heard about such a handsome, talented brother? In Xiao Dan's eyes, her brother had never been handsome, but hearing the praise made her wonder, is he really that good look? Classmates buzzed, wow, who is he? He's so handsome. Yeah, he looks like an alumnus come back, much more mature than most boys here. The compliments left her puzzled. His popularity seems pretty high. At that moment, a girl named Jiao Jiao stepped forward to introduce herself. Hi, Lam Yuan replied politely hello. Standing side by side, Lam Dan silently compared and thought, oh, he's actually tall. Figuring he'd trained for a long time since his muscles were so defined. She hadn't expected him to be so strong right after a fight. The image of Lam Yuan burying himself in games popped into her head again, making her more conflicted. How could the same person feel so different now? As the group waved goodbye, see you tomorrow, she answered, see you. She barely turned when she saw Lam Yuan kneel and say, get on. The nearby girls all gasped, whoa. Embarrassed, Lam Dan shook her head, no, I can walk myself. She blushed, thinking, what the heck? I don't want to be carried in front of all these people. Before she could protest, Lam Yuan had hoisted her onto his back amid everyone's staring eyes. Lam Dan froze, hey bro. But Lam Yuan said softly, the classmates have left. If you really can't walk, don't force it. You twisted something when you fell just now, didn't you? Lam Dan flushed, wondering when he had noticed, but she ultimately obediently let him carry her all the way to the door. We're home, he called as they entered. The house felt a bit quiet. The parents exchanged heavy looks before Mr. Lam murmured, it's good you're back after you eat. Lam Yuan volunteered to wash the dishes. Seeing that, his mother turned to Lam Dan and whispered, see, your brother's been different lately, hasn't he? Mr. Lam nodded, yeah, he started cooking and doing dishes, and even changed some electrical fixtures in the house. Lam Dan only smiled faintly and listened quietly. Her mother continued, and the two of you are like when you were little, actually closer than before. Lam Dan coughed awkwardly, ahem. Is that so? Inside, her image of her brother had truly shifted. Could he really be different now? Just then Lam Yuan said, "I'm done cleaning. I'm going to my room first." He took off his apron and quietly headed to his room. Lam Dan remained lost in thought about her brother, uncertain what she was hopping for. In her head, the thought reappeared. He's still just a useless game addict. Suddenly, a hand appeared and surprised her. It was Lam Yuan, who handed her a bottle of medicine. "Use this after you shower. It heals injuries well. I'm going to play games now. If you need anything, don't come into my room." Lam Dan gripped the bottle tightly, her face flushing as she replied softly, "I know who would want to go into your room anyway." Saying that, she walked away. But inside, she felt oddly happy, a smile unconsciously forming at the corner of her mouth. Her mother stepped closer, curious. "See, I told you, the two of you are getting along better. Anything happen at school today?" Lam Dan hurriedly replied, "Nothing, Mom. I'm going to shower." Meanwhile, in his room, Lam Yuan sighed, looked up at the ceiling and thought to himself, family matters seem to be settling down late. He glanced to the side, put his cap back on. Time to get back to the game. Cut to the game, the main city zone, Feng Shui Zia. Lam Yuan excited. "Let's go catch that rat." System notice, you have entered Feng Shui Zia. At that moment, someone was knocked down by a guard and trampled. "Oh Lord, your grace, I swear to heaven, this is all a misunderstanding." The guard coldly replied, "Shut up. Take your lies to the dungeon and repent." From a distance, Lam Yuan watched the whole scene. The guard glanced his way, slightly suspicious, then continued escorting the prisoner. Lam Yuan thought to himself that the patrol guards here were very sensitive to criminal. To reset your crime value to 0, you'd have to lay low for at least 3 days. It's time to go get it. Long time no see, old friend. On the Grand Avenue, Father Lauren was conducting a baptismal rite. "In the name of God, I wash away the fog of your past. From now on your soul shall be as pure as fresh snow." Just then Lam Yuan stepped in and interrupted loudly, "I'm from the House of Charity. I've heard there's a seriously ill person here. I'm here to treat them." Lauren was stunned, but eventually agreed to let him see the patient. So Lam Yuan was taken to Darkway's bedside. Looking at him, he muttered, "Darkway was once a member of the Scorpion-tailed Lion Knights, one of the strongest warriors of the ancient West Deer Kingdom. In my last life, when I hit level 15, it was thanks to him that I obtained the golden rank weapon of the Scorpion-tailed Lion Knights." Lam Yuan said seriously to Darkway, "Master Dark, I specifically came to treat the toxin in your body." Darkway opened his eyes, checked his level, then sneered, "You expect to rely on a level 10 mage like you? The patrol guards are even stronger than you." But as soon as he finished speaking, he coughed up black blood. Lam Yuan immediately warned, "The toxin has already eroded your organs. If you don't treat it now, you won't survive a month." Darkway thought for a moment, then replied urgently, "To detoxify you need 1000 G of rotten mantle fish oil. If you're not afraid to die, go to the Gobi mudflats and fetch it." The system immediately notified, "You have activated Dark's quest request. Accept. Quest name Dark's request. Quest rank Golden. Objective: collect 1000 G of rotten mantle fish oil to treat the toxin in Dark's body." Reading the notice, Lam Yuan confidently nodded to accept. Of course, Bully Gobi is the habitat of the rotten mantle fish, a vast region surrounded by treacherous submerged rock ridges. According to system data, the rotten mantle fish here are elite type, level 15, HP 3500, attack 500, defense 45. Skills include wave thrust tail and echoing ear. Moments later, someone dared to attack, prompting the school of rotten mantle fish to launch a fierce counterattack while the infiltration team screamed in panic. Their leader, Robert, had to shout to reassure his teammates, "Hold steady, don't let them bite you." But someone still screamed in pain, "My waist." The rotten mantle fish grew increasingly ferocious, repeatedly charging anyone who dared invade its territory. Robert showed clear terror as he watched teammates get attacked by the rotten mantle fish and scream nonstop. Besides that, 2 people were surrounded by the school of fish, crying out for help in desperation. Just then one fish activated its wave thrust tail skill, roared and lunged toward Robert. He quickly sidestepped and searched for cover, but the rotten mantle fish wouldn't relent, gaping wide as it tried to crush its target. Robert was so scared he thought this time he surely wouldn't survive. At that moment, Lam Yuan appeared, quickly grabbing Robert and pulling him out of danger, and shouted loudly, "Don't get in the way." The rotten mantle fish was too surprised to react as he charged straight at it, delivering a critical strike to the fish's head that made it howl. Afterward, Lam Yuan escorted Robert to safety, while Robert still couldn't quite grasp what had happened. Robert clutched his neck, panting, "Was I saved?" Elena from afar also screamed in alarm when she saw Lam Yuan fighting the rotten mantle fish. "That's the great deity from earlier." Immediately, he formed a sphere of energy, and began hurling them at the rotten mantle fish continuously. Their health bars kept dropping by 50, 50, then 60. The more the rotten mantle fish were injured, the more violently they howled. Then they all charged toward Lam Yuan. Robert hurriedly warned, "Great deity, be careful." The rotten mantle fish began, using the echoing ear resonance skill. But Lam Yuan remained calm. "Is that all you've got?" He stepped back slightly, observing while preparing his weapon. A bunch of common fish grouped together are still just common fish. With determined will, he kept felling each one with a single blow. Even the mother fish surfaced amid the fight. Robert couldn't help but exclaim, "Damn, where did this old man come from? The 8 of us almost got wiped out a moment ago, yet he alone has already cut down 5. But fighting one-on-one like this still makes it hard to eliminate all the rotten mantle fish. What really takes them out is their swarm attack skill." Sure enough, right after that, a school of rotten mantle fish all obeyed the mother fish and launched the swarm attack skill, forming a dense lime-green cloud that blocked Lam Yuan's front. He let out a surprised sound when many toxic clouds surrounded him. The system announced, "Rotten mantle fish activated the group Echo Ear Resonance skill. Enemies in range will be afflicted with bone toxin, plus negative statuses like chaos, hallucination, and auditory distortion." Lam Yuan drew a magic circle and said calmly, "Not falling for that trick in this world." Undead dire wolf, rise. A large wolf appeared beside him, snarled, activated the hungry wolf's howl skill, unleashing a massive force straight at the rotten mantle fish, putting them all into a comatose state. Immediately after, he commanded the system to activate the Clarity Mask, a one-use antitoxin item. With the mask on, Lam Yuan began to move swiftly, leaving the wolf to provide cover, while he charged straight into the school of rotten mantle fish, loudly shouting, "Get down, die now." With a single precise strike to the weak point, the system kept confirming, "Hit the weak point." Each rotten mantle fish screamed and fell beneath his hand. After the battle, before him lay a mountain of rotten mantle fish, with only one scrambling to escape, roaring as it fled. Lam Yuan coldly threw his weapon. "Too slow. If you like being a rotten grub in the mud, then rot and die there." The sword plunged into the last rotten mantle fish, accompanied by a pained roar. Outside, Robert was still stunned by the massacre, unable not to praise. "Amazing," Henry also warned. "Don't let your guard down, more fish are coming." At that moment, the Storm Seed Undead that Lam Yuan had summoned received his command, "Go, Storm Seed Undead." The Storm Seed activated the Glass Storm Strike skill, unleashing a rain of glass that poured down on the rotten mantle fish, while Lam Yuan casually said, "Earth-shatter barrage." Now shards of glass were flying at extreme speed, each piece striking the bodies of the rotten mantle fish, creating a dramatically violent scene. Still, Stephen clutched his head and shouted in panic, "No, the level and numbers gap is too big. We can't wipe out the whole school in one go." Hearing that, Lam Yuan immediately moved, stepped in front of the school, and loudly retorted, "Who said we can't kill them all?" As he finished speaking, Lam Yuan adjusted the mask on his face. At that moment, Robert hesitated before he could finish, and Eric cut in, "Look, that scorpion keeps aiming for the bellies of the female fish." Right then, the group was all shocked to witness the male rotten mantle fish begin to swallow the female rotten mantle fish whole. Seeing the chaotic scene, Lam Yuan suddenly recognized the school's pattern. When a female's gill pouch dies or spawns, it releases a musk, which attracts the males into a frenzied state to protect the egg, and immediately triggers a berserk charge that ignores targets. He immediately exploited this trait to make the school kill itself off. Focused on the front, Lam Yuan didn't notice a rotten mantle fish quietly approaching from behind. As it leapt up, someone yelled, "Great deity, watch out." Even so, he remained calm as the fish drew near. At that moment, Henry also noticed something odd. "What, this one is a female too? How is it almost as big as the male?" Before anyone could explain, Lam Yuan cheerfully said, "Perfect timing." He ordered the undead hellhounds to attack. The pack eagerly leapt in to tear the prey apart. Seeing them work enthusiastically, he approved. No wonder they're elite level 15 creatures. Even so, the rotten mantle fish still snarled and fought back, which displeased him. 6 hellhounds and you still aren't down. But just stand still and you'll be fine." Lam Yuan decided to take matters into his own hands and activated a skill and destroyed the elite gill mantle fish, finishing the stroke as he said casually, "That should do it." After the strike, he quickly collected the elites. He also noticed that both the head and body of the rotten mantle fish contained valuable crystal. Robert asked in astonishment, "Great deity, what are you doing?" A few seconds later, Lam Yuan ordered the undead hellhound, carrying the fish head to the central rock. Following his direction, the undead hellhound moved to the spot, and Lam Yuan called out, "Right there." With a growl, the undead hellhound dropped the fish head, letting the elites roll out while he casually signaled, lead them here. As predicted, the other rotten mantle fish quickly swam over. Then, under the influence of the elite crystal, the surviving rotten mantle fish gradually became disoriented, smashing into surrounding rocks. Seeing this, everyone murmured, "The fish are stunned." Stephen confirmed, "I remember fish eggs have a special attraction for males. This is deliberately creating pheromones to throw the school into chaos, right?" Before he finished, Lam Yuan cast a spell and cut in confidently. Not nearly enough. He immediately summoned the Jiangxi overseer with a dog head to the field, saying at the same time, "The task most suited to you has arrived." As the school was being wiped out, Lam Yuan ordered the dog-head Jiangxi overseer to use its hammer to dismember the rotten mantle fish. Seeing that, Stephen exclaimed in surprise, "That's the green toxin sac inside the male fish." He nodded. Yes, the green toxin sac grows inside the male like a seed cluster. The gas and odor it emits warn the whole school. Once they pick up that signal, the rotten mantle fish scat. Just as he said, the school panicked and retreated, no longer fighting back. Robert jumped for joy. They're gone. The school has really been wiped out. All he had left was to happily collect the spoil. Eric couldn't believe it, pointing at the scene. One person clearing this whole place, unbelievable. Robert admired him and joked he wanted one of Lam Yuan's thigh charms. While everyone chatted, Lam Yuan kept dismembering rotten mantle fish and gathering loot. When finished, he calmly said, "Done." He then went over to Robert. The system announced he received 12,000 experience points and leveled up to 11. Lam Yuan thought to himself that in his past life he had to grind hundreds of runs here, but this time he progressed much faster. The mask had paid off. Even though it cost 5 gold for one use, it was worth it. He removed the mask and took the item that collected the rotten mantle fish heads. System notice: 1000 G of rotten mantle fish head produced from the oil glands in the gobi mud are a precious ingredient for advanced medicinal alchemy, miraculous for wounds caused by rotting toxin, able to regenerate dead tissue into healthy flesh. At that moment, Lam Yuan suddenly remembered something important and said, "Oh, almost forgot this." He quickly pulled out a red sphere, which was the naysayer's nose. According to the system, this is a silver tier tool crafted from rotten mantle fish skin, shaped like an elastic-covered nose. When squeezed, it makes a cluck sound, can vibrate and glow, and emits rotten mantle fish pheromones that terrify small to medium aquatic creatures. Lam Yuan held the sphere, thought for a few seconds, then suddenly imagined himself as a clown with a flashing red nose. He wondered whether this was a high-tier quest reward or just some bizarre prank from the game developer. Unexpectedly, Robert stepped up and whispered into Lam Yuan's ear, visibly excited. "So cool, it even lights up." His face flushed, eyes full of delight. "God, it even moves." Seeing that, Lam Yuan asked directly, "You like this note?" Robert immediately shouted, "It's so stylish. Great deity, can you sell it to me? Price is up to you." Stephen patted Robert on the shoulder and awkwardly said to Lam Yuan, "Sorry about him, he's always like that." But Lam Yuan simply tossed the nose to Robert and said, "It's a gift for you." Robert caught it and hurriedly replied, "Wait, at least let me pay for it." Before he finished, Lam Yuan refused. "No need." A moment later, his angelic wings suddenly appeared, prompting Robert to choke up with tears. "Great deity, you're truly an angel." Stephen also stared in disbelief and wondered, what the heck, would anyone actually pay money for this? After that, Lam Yuan returned to the cathedral to fulfill his promise to heal. He took all the rotten mantle fish heads he had collected and poured them over Darkway's wound. He hadn't believed Lam Yuan could do it, so when he saw the effect he screamed in astonishment. Darkway sat bolt upright and said earnestly, "I never expected you could actually gather these." The system announced the golden quest was complete, and Lam Yuan received the golden weapon reward, King Hun Mark. Pleased, he thought, "Finally I possess the King Hun Mark, the first golden tier weapon I had in my previous life." The system also displayed details. Golden weapon, plus 150 attack, plus 150 magic damage, plus 100 spirit. Attached skill, King Hun Seal, can strike targets within 150 meters, dealing spirit damage times 150% with no cooldown. He realized the baseline effects weren't that extraordinary, but the attached skill was extremely useful. Each use would accumulate King Hun Chi in the enemy, and after 3 hits would deal additional spirit damage times 250%. It was the King Hun Mark that helped him cleanse Zima, gradually making him the #1 mage in Zima. To feel the spiritual force emanating from the weapon, Lam Yuan gently touched the blade, emotion swelling in his chest. The system also awarded reputation, plus 1000 city reputation, plus 500 Scorpion Lion Knights reputation. Although his reputation was only neutral, it was enough for him to operate freely in the capital. Suddenly, the system sent another notification. and Lam Yuan thought to himself that this reward seemed better than in his previous life. NPC Darkway's favorability increased by 10 points. Seeing him joyful at being cured, Lam Yuan couldn't help feeling the storyline had changed this time. Darkway thanked him sincerely. "I really thank you, little brother. Without you, I'd have died in bed next month." Lam Yuan replied gently, "No need for formalities." He then reminded him seriously, "There's something I must tell you. If you meet a man named Quincy, stay far away from him." Lam Yuan asked seriously, "Quincy is my mentor. How could that be?" Darkway was stunned. "What? He's your mentor? Although you've hidden your class, you're actually a death spirit hunter, right?" Having said that, he rose from the bed. Lam Yuan immediately became alert. "How did you know I'm a death spirit hunter?" He thought, clearly I'd hidden the info. Even the system couldn't look it up, yet he discovered. Darkway explained, "I'm a member of the Scorpion Knights under the king, responsible for confidential tasks, including hunting death spirit hunters. So I learned a special skill called Shadow Sense." Lam Yuan, still puzzled, asked, "Shadow Sense?" Then he recalled what he knew. Shadow Sense is a unique skill of the Scorpion Knights. When a death spirit hunter appears, the user can detect them. The closer, the clearer. "So you had already realized my identity." He nodded. "At first I was poisoned and my perception was dulled, so I didn't notice. Now the toxin is cleared, and you carry a special aura of the Dark Lord. Of course I couldn't miss it." Lam Yuan asked again, "What is the Dark Lord?" He replied, "That's a long story, and it must be told from a very long time ago. In the most common legends among immortals, this world once had 5 gods in total. The god of light, the Moonshadow sovereign, the goddess of nature, the Tide Lord, and the Soul King, but in fact, right from the beginning there was a 6th deity. The Dark Lord, also called the King of the Undying, was the most powerful existence among those 6 deities. Because he was so powerful, the Dark Lord relied on his might to act as he pleased, fearing nothing. He granted his most loyal followers extraordinary dark power, causing them to change their vocation into death spirit hunters to carry out the will of the deity for him. Under the Dark Lord's brutal rule, the death spirit hunters spread plagues and killed tens of millions of people, and turned countless spirits into Jiangshi, bringing disaster everywhere. Therefore, the major nations of the world united to resist the Dark Lord. Temples that once worshipped him were destroyed. All records related to him were burned to ashes. If a death spirit hunter was discovered, they were executed on the spot. From then on, this vocation was listed as taboo, hated, and hunted by all. Back then, it was during a battle that I was poisoned by a death spirit hunter and suffered illness for 10 years. At first, I thought I would just wait to die, until you appeared." Hearing that, Lam Yuan fell silent to think, telling himself, "In my previous life I was only a mage. I never imagined such a great secret was hidden behind those legends." He recalled his status. Player Lam Yuan, level 11, Forbidden Vocation Death Spirit Hunter, Talent Shadow Summon, Bright Realm Gate 35-100, Strength 32, Constitution 28, Agility 49, Spirit 156, Experience 527-8726. He couldn't help muttering that it's no wonder death spirit hunters are considered taboo. Luckily, he always remained hidden. "This is getting complicated. I thought after clearing my crime points, I could quietly investigate clues about the metal in the capital. But it seems that unless I find a way to conceal the Dark Lord's aura, my identity will be exposed immediately." With that in mind, Lam Yuan asked frankly, "Dark, is there any way to avoid being detected by the Scorpion Knight's aura sense?" Darkway looked tense and replied, "Unless Quincy agrees to help you, but if he learns your true identity, Quincy would definitely kill you. Long ago, a death spirit hunter killed the wife he loved most. That's why I'm advising you to stay far away from him." Those words made Lam Yuan think very carefully. Then he went to the Wasteland Obsidian Stone. System notice: you have returned to Wasteland Obsidian Stone. About 10 minutes earlier, Darkway learned of Lam Yuan's plan and tried to stop him. "Are you crazy? You really want to find Quincy? He wishes he could tear every death spirit hunter to pieces." Lam Yuan replied calmly, "I have no other choice." Now at Wasteland Obsidian Stone, he still pondered the danger ahead. Carrying this Dark Lord aura, not to mention the capital, even visiting other maps would cause major trouble. He had to resolve it completely. While he was brooding, suddenly a person appeared and walked straight toward Lam Yuan. He glanced and let out a small, puzzled hut. The person moved extremely fast and accidentally bumped into Lam Yuan, knocking him down. He asked irritably, "What the?" As he regained his balance, Lam Yuan immediately went on alert, because a vigorous troop was charging toward them. Leading them was Huang Feilong. He and his men had been prowling this area for days and finally caught Lam Yuan. Nearby, Huang Feihu sneered with glee, recalling old grudge. "Last time you tricked me, this time I brought over 30 brothers. Let's see how you die." He even threatened confidently, "When your head falls to the ground later, remember to scream a little louder. I like to hear it. Lam Yuan was surrounded, and a dragonfly immediately appeared. Its two eyes actually cameras broadcasting live. The narrator was Huang Feihu Ting, announcing that the Blood Crow Guild was livestreaming. The audience got to watch the scene, eagerly awaiting the performance of dismembering a person piece by piece. The system displayed viewer counts, currently online 88, then 123, 212 viewers. In the office, many people gathered curiously to watch. Zhu Yue gasped, "What? The Blood Crow Guild is live-streaming torture again." Outside, Xiao Wu exclaimed, "Over 30 against 1. What unlucky fool pissed off this crew?" Zhu Yue told a colleague, "He looks familiar, right?" Yang Le added, "He's kind of handsome. Too bad he's about to be done for." After a moment, Lam Yuan sneered, "Relying on just two mangy dogs, you couldn't even get warmed up before offering yourselves up. I guess I'll collect one more." The viewers chimed in excitedly. "So badass, this guy's got nerve." A Blood Crow Guild member snapped back, "Say that again." Someone else joked, "I kind of think he's cool." The audience settled in with sunflower seeds and drinks, waiting for the slaughter. Humiliated into rage, Fei Long barked orders, "Take them all down." At the command, everyone charged forward. Lin Yuan immediately activated Thunderstrike. Tai Hai drew his bow, aiming straight at him, shouting, "Die." He was also surprised that they decided to attack from above. And at the same time, the system warned, "Hostile encirclement attack detected. Counterattack window, 15 minutes. During this period, kills of the encircling attackers will not count as crime." Lin Yuan was intrigued by the notification. 15 minutes was more than enough to take down 3 of them. He decided at once, "Zombie squad, go out for a stroll." So the minor dog-headed undead, the foreman zombie dog-headed corpse, the dog-headed leader undead, and the scorpion assassin zombie all surged forward, roaring across the battle. The opponents hurriedly struck the zombie squad with lightning, while the zombies howled and fought back fiercely. While they fought zealously, Lin Yuan stood calmly to the side and said, "Is that little spark you call lightning?" The scorpion assassin zombies were poisoned by the ring and kept inflicting injuries on the Fei Long side. Seeing this, he immediately ordered, "Attention everyone, warriors retreat, form shield lines to protect the mages." Rogues and archers harassed them. No sooner had the order been given than everyone quickly took their positions. The mages simultaneously drew magic circles at their feet and shouted aloud, "Empower." The magic circles flared brighter and were amplified. The mages focused their power and yelled in unison, immediately unleashing a thunder strike upon the zombie ranks. Seizing the opportunity, the archers quickly loosed their arrow. The minor dog-headed undead regiment was hit by arrows, their life bars dropping by 15, 20 points repeatedly. The foreman dog-headed corpse was also struck again and again, its health steadily falling. Viewers watching the livestream fell from 212 to 168. Online, Jiangku Man commented, "These summoned beasts facing a level 78 elite team are nothing but easy prey. Dismiss them, it's just an empty barrel making noise. Place your bets, see how many minutes that kid can hold out." Fei Long sneered and mocked, "So what if he summons zombies? Even if he called them last time, under our sustained assault they'd just turn into a bloody heap." Fei Hu confidently chimed in, "He's a goner today." Lin Yuan smiled calmly and replied, "Oh, is that so?" He grew angry when he saw Lin Yuan could still grin. And the system suddenly reported an error, leaving viewers puzzled. Someone commented, "WTF, what's going on?" Right after, Lin Yuan casually drew a circle in the sand with his foot. Suddenly the sand rippled violently, and several mages screamed in terror. As they were dragged down by a whirl of sand, a few cried out loudly for help, but their comrades could only stand by helplessly. With the enemy distracted, the dog-headed leader undead immediately hoisted its hammer and charged at the mages. One mage panicked and screamed when attacked. Fei Long saw this and panicked, "Wait, retreat now." But the dog-headed leader undead continued its frenzied assault, and Fei Long's forces kept dwindling. Shouts for mercy rang out everywhere. Fei Long and Fei Hu saw the scene before them, their faces drained, and they shouted in unison, "What?" The Blood O Guild was being routed, which inadvertently sent viewer count soaring from 168 to 302. Netizens flocked to comment, "Damn, an ambush from underground. Zombies coordinating attacks. Tell those chickens to come get their beating. Now the place is full of parts." The situation was growing increasingly dire, so Kayet urgently ordered the mages to combine their powers and cast a healing spell. "Be careful, the wounds are poisoned. They must be purified before treatment." However, several mages were suddenly blasted into the air, screaming in pain. The one responsible was none other than Lin Yuan. Behind him there was a strange stir, but no one appeared. He gently flicked his sword in that direction, without turning his head. The assassin materialized on the spot, his chest pierced by Lam Iron's sword, spitting blood and gasping, "How did you know?" He glanced at the footprints in the sand and scoffed, At least I'm not stupid enough to hide in the middle of a desert. Not far from where Lam Ayan stood, the battle between the Blood Owl Guild and his corpse soldier group raged on. Shouts filled the air, too strong. The front line's dead, everyone run. Fi Ho gripped his blade so hard, the veins popped on his face. He ground his teeth angrily. Damn it, a bunch of useless trash. He then leapt high and swung his blade straight at Lam Ayan. I'll deal with you personally. Lam Ayan frowned slightly, beginning to consider how to respond. He smiled. A whirl of wind circled the sword. Pale glows and creepy skulls peeked out. With a taunting tone, then let's see. The move he unleashed was the soul-cleansing curse. The bluish skulls hovered and swarmed around Fi Ho, leaving him dazed. Realizing the danger, Fi Ho panicked frantically. Fighting without focus will only get you killed. Lam Ayan swept by, deathly aura flooding the air. A single slash pinning Fi Ho to the spot. After the finishing strike, the two stood back to back. Lam Ayan quietly counted down. By two, Fi Ho trembled, pain spreading through his body. Before he could collect himself, Lam Ayan continued counting, a thunderous boom and Fi Ho's shriek exploding loudly. Having dealt with the deputy guild leader, Lam Ayan smiled slightly. Indeed, it's easier with an old buddy. At that moment, online viewers jumped from 302 to 558, comments flying. Oh damn, those special effects must have cost a lot, right? Someone mocked, old man setting off fireworks. Others chimed in, anyone want to follow the old man? I'm great at compliments. Shortly after, the system reported player Hein Fi Ho left the livestream room. At the scene, screams, body parts flying and cries for help hit Fi Long like a punch to the gut. He froze as if petrified, bewildered, wondering if he was hallucinating. Seeing Lam Ayan slaughter guild members nonstop, fear rose from his core. Just a few days apart, and that guy now standing still, was enough to make Fi Long feel like he was facing a hellish demon. After finishing off the lackeys, Lam Ayan turned to stare at Guildmaster Fi Long. By then he could barely stand, limbs trembling, lips stammering plays. Don't kill me. Without many words, Lam Ayan drew his sword from the back of an unfortunate man, then stepped toward Fi Long, his gaze ice cold. He murmured, now no one gets a warning anymore. In a flash, he thrust the sword straight into the man's forehead, letting him taste despair. Fi Long fell back, blood gushing, his soul leaving his body. Lam Ayan calmly announced, it's over. Just then, the whir of wings sounded, and he glanced toward the noise. A B-shaped hidden camera was live-streaming the entire battle. Without hesitation, Lam Ayan coolly reached out. Almost forgot, boom. A puff of blue smoke rose with a crisp bang as the camera was destroyed. His silhouette flickering through the lingering smoke. Now that's done right. In a luxury apartment in Lam Tin, online chatter never stopped. Oh my god, why did the old man blow up the whole live stream? In the opulent room, a mysterious young man sipped wine, scrolling comments thoughtfully. Someone asked, does anyone know who the old man is? Another replied, I know, he's the one who once killed the death mastiff. I saw it with my own eyes. Someone else wondered, where is he now? I want to meet him in person. A guess, maybe in the shattered stone wastes. New info. The Mercenary Guild has issued an S-rank invitation. Meanwhile, in Black Sand Town of the Immortals, Reach, Quincy slept drunk clutching a keg. Lin Yuan casually pushed the door open and walked in as if this were his home. Seeing someone inside, the old man opened his eyes. Oh, it's you again. Before he could speak, Quincy waved him off. Not teaching today, not teaching. Enough money for liquor, I'm feeling lazy. Lin Yuan offered no counsel, merely saying lightly, I want to talk with you. While they spoke, he deliberately turned off his hidden profession status. Lin Yuan's character info immediately showed to Quincy. Level 11, Zuling Hunter, Forbidden Talent. Dark Summoner, Hellgate 35-100, Strength 32, Constitution 28, Agility 49, Spirit 156, Experience 527-8726. The keg in Quincy's hands slipped and shattered on the floor. He snapped awake, eyes bloodshot and disbelief in his voice. You're a Zuling Hunter. After confirming Lin Yuan's profession, Quincy grew serious. Gritting his teeth, how many years has it been? Zuling Hunters dare show their faces before me again. He immediately activated his power, and all the wooden barrels around exploded, turning into razor-sharp projectiles that rained toward Lin Yuan. Even so, Lin Yuan dodged nimbly without a scratch. Seeing this, Quincy couldn't help but panic, silently tracking each of his steps, then regretting his rash move. Lin Yuan had already leveled the tip of his sword at the old man's face. Feeling the chill from the blade, Quincy froze, speechless. Lin Yuan calmly asked, can we talk properly now? Quincy hurriedly asked, what exactly do you want? At that moment, Duong Chuang spoke up. Fine, if you insist on leaving, consider this clue my repayment. He began to recount the past. Under the shadow of the Lord of Night, the immortal world sank into endless despair. To uphold justice, Quincy and his wife once waged war against the Lord of Night's close Zuling Hunt. After the bloody battle, the Zuling hunter was destroyed, but his wife, having saved others, was struck by a death curse. Her soul was corroded by dark forces, turned into a creature stripped of memory, forever unable to pass on. At the time, Quincy could only watch his wife scream in despair. To break the curse and save her, the only method was to personally destroy the corrupted soul. But after the battle, Quincy was so grievously wounded, he could hardly hold a sword. Everyone thought he would drown himself in drink, until one day he announced a mysterious quest. This quest could save his wife, and the righteous would receive his lifetime treasure. As for Zuling hunters, they would receive the method to dispel the dark perception, the secret relic Quincy, retrieved from the corpse of a dead Zuling hunter. Quincy intended to use that spoils as bait, save his wife to break the curse, while making any surviving Zuling hunters pay with blood. But of the 158 people who accepted the quest, not a single one remains alive today. Not a single one remains alive today. After hearing that, Lin Yuan turned to Quincy and asked, "So what exactly is your mission?" Quincy answered frankly, "Fine, you came snooping to my door again. I've been worried. It's been so long since anyone kept company with my beloved wife." Even after asking, Lin Yuan checked himself and the system notified. Quest entrusted by Quincy detected, accept. Quest name, wife's sole objective. Help Quincy's wife find release so she can rest in peace. Duration, 10 days. Quest rank, silver. Without hesitation, Lin Yuan pressed accept, then turned and left. Quincy stood behind him and offered a blessing. Then good luck. Maybe you'll actually complete my quest. But a second later, his expression soured into something sinister. Of course, on the condition you return with your body intact. Lin Yuan arrived at the memorial sanctum, to the dead north of Black Sand Town. In the darkness, only his footsteps echoed. To move through the night, he used night vision potions. A while later, he summoned a scorpion elite undead and 2 doghead minor undead. As he walked, Lin Yuan thought, this memorial sanctum has 5 floors in total. NPCs who died in Black Sand Town are all buried. After some distance, a wailing spirit monster began to roar and charge. As it closed in, the scorpion elite undead pierced it through with its tail. It screamed in pain. Seeing that, Lin Yuan thought to himself, occasionally you get jiangshi, skeletal husks, and wailing spirits here. From his knowledge, spirit levels rise with each floor. Floor 1, jiangshi level 1-3. Floor 2, skeletal husks level 4-6. Floor 3, wailing spirits level 7-9. Floor 4, corpse-eating demons level 10. After walking a bit further, a spatial gate appeared, so he breezed through those 4 floors in one go. Lin Yuan reached the 4th floor easily, and casually made a round. Finally, he arrived at the 4th floor funeral hall. He didn't rush in, he stood outside to observe. At that moment, countless pairs of eyes from the darkness stared at him, accompanied by strange sounds. It sounds like something. Very quickly, the corpse-eating demons all activated their wall-walking skill, hanging upside down to tear. The system immediately displayed info. Corpse-eating demon, elite, level 10 HP 2000, attack 400, defense 40 skills. Poisonous bite and tear, wall-walking, hanging upside down bite and tear. No sooner had he read it than they all surged forward. The scorpion elite undead roared and used its quake grip skill, pushing back quite a few corpse-eating demons. The more it fought, the more ferocious it became. Its tail became its main weapon. Lin Yuan drew his sword as well and barked softly. Slash. With one stroke, he swept through the whole pack. Then he moved at extreme speed, gliding past them. Screams rang out as one by one they fell. One of them still tried to thrash beneath his feet. Causing it to thrash under his feet, he barked, "Almost missed you there." In the end, none of them survived. System notice, congratulations, you've reached level 12. Lin Yuan thought to himself with satisfaction, faster than I expected. It's a pity the Dark Corpse mastery spell has no effect on these undead fiends. Just then, a dense aura of resentment rose up behind. Puzzled and alarmed, he turned around. The vengeful energy kept surging in, barreling straight at him. The impact shoved Lin Yuan backward. What is this? He tried to resist, but it was useless. I'm screwed. The resentment swept him away. It carried him to another cavern. Only after the force subsided did he regain his footing. The moment his foot touched down, his gaze snapped to a chained coffin suspended in midair. Switched to another area, Inside the coffin was a woman. After a moment, she laughed loudly. Finally, I've been waiting for you. As she finished speaking, she broke the coffin herself and stepped out. Uttering a threat, the smell of fresh flesh is delicious. Before she could finish, Lin Yuan scanned her with his system. Resentful Soul Warlord level 18 HP 6000, attack 800 defense 200 skills. Bloom of the Dead, Enchantress's Fury, Violent Corpse Art. Is this the 5th floor? The resentful soul gave him no time to think. She lunged forward, screaming, "I'll tear you apart." He blocked the first strike. On the second attack, she activated Bloom of the Dead. A barrage of spiny tentacles erupted from her body, striking in succession and forcing him to leap up to avoid them. He backed away, but the tentacles kept pursuing. Lin Yuan continued to fight, wondering inwardly, does this toxin also have corrosive properties? He even shouted taunts. This level of offense is useless against me. While saying that, Lin Yuan had already sliced off several of the resentful soul's spiny tentacles, causing her to scream in pain. He swung his sword repeatedly, cutting each tentacle clean off. Finally, only one tentacle remained. The resentful soul, her body battered, staggered back a few steps, groaning in pain. Not finished, she screamed again. The boss then activated the skill Enchantress's Wail. Lin Yuan was affected, feeling a sharp throbbing in his head. Thinking to himself, is this an AoE skill? No, I seem to be getting teleported. At that moment, the surrounding doors resounded with loud bangs, as if someone were knocking from outside. Lin Yuan was drawn to the sound. A few seconds later, a skeletal hand smashed through a door and reached inside. He wondered, could these be Black Sand townsfolk buried here? Right then the door in front of him was broken down, and Lin Yuan suddenly realized the truth. Not only the original townspeople, but also those who had failed the quest were buried. While Lin Yuan was processing this, the resentful soul began a ritual, trying to revive the skeletal fiends. He watched and muttered angrily, "Damn it, is she really going to resurrect them?" As he predicted, she succeeded. The screams of the skeletal fiends echoed everywhere. Lam Yuan had to height his guard, warning, the number behind this door is definitely more than just one. He thought to himself, I didn't expect this boss could even resurrect a horde of skeletal fiends. I surely can't handle it alone. So he immediately summoned a Jiangshi foreman with a dog head, a scorpion elite undead, and the dog head leader undead, ordering them all to deploy at once. All out. Hold the door. As they followed his command, he calculated silently. First, let the Jiangshi army act as shields to soak up damage and block those monsters. The Scorpion Elite Undead successfully held one entrance and then surged forward. Lam Yuan pointed ahead and ordered the Jiangshi foreman Doghead to enter a bloodthirsty state. Immediately they howled and charged into battle. System notice, Jiangshi foreman Doghead has entered bloodthirsty state. The Doghead leader Undead, wearing a ferocious expression, also fixed its gaze on the enemy. At that moment, Lam Yuan decisively activated a special skill, commanding the Scorpion Elite leader to charge with its iron spear. It obeyed at once and rushed forward. Meanwhile, the Scorpion Elite Undead activated its Quake Grip skill, followed by a heavy strike, causing the ground to collapse and the shockwave to reach the resentful soul. She dodged the Scorpion Elite Undead's attack, but its tail accidentally smashed through a stone wall. Seeing that power, the resentful soul couldn't help but be astonished. Not stopping there, the Scorpion Elite Undead kept attacking, sending rock and soil flying in all directions. However, the resentful soul timely activated Bloom of the Dead and escaped its encirclement. Lam Yuan grew worried because she remained unscathed. He recalled the boss's attributes and muttered, the resentful soul is an Yuling-type monster, can phase through walls, immune to half-physical damage, but takes double magic damage. Having found a weakness, he decided to change tactics and shouted, then used the soul-cleaving seal to deal damage. She showed no fear and confidently took his strike. The resentful soul moved at extreme speed, surprising him. Why did her speed suddenly increase like that? Meanwhile, the NPCs in the tomb could break the Jiangshi defensive line at any time. He knew he had to finish this quick. Lam Yuan quickly made a new plan, deciding to limit her actions. He invoked a skill. A ring flew from his hand and vanished instantly. The system promptly reported, equipped paralysis ring. This is a white-silver ring, jewelry that boosts HP, mana, agility, and spirit, and grants a paralytic toxin skill. The paralytic toxin has a 5% chance to paralyze the enemy for 3 seconds on hit. Receiving the info, Lam Yuan immediately lunged at the resentful soul and activated the paralytic toxin skill. The resentful soul was unexpectedly struck by his attack. System notice, paralytic toxin activated. Not missing the moment, he closed in, attacking while saying, "Not done yet." Despite being wounded, she still tried to fight back. But Lam Yuan sliced off several of her spiny tentacles, sending her tumbling back. Riding the momentum, he swung his sword and sent earth and stone flying toward the resentful soul. Luckily, she quickly dodged the attack. Seeing this, Lam Yuan praised, not bad luck. He had another thought. Indeed, after being hit by the soul-cleaving seal, her speed did slow down. Thinking that, Lam Yuan decided to use the ultimate move, Savage Wolf's Howl. On his command, the wolf immediately let out a bellow. System notice, activated skill Savage Wolf's Howl. The fierce roar transforms into a weapon that strikes the resentful soul. She tried to cast magic in response, but her body couldn't steady. System confirms the target is stunned. Receiving that notice, Lam Yuan grew more confident. Though the stun only lasts 5 seconds, that's enough. He sneered, "How many of my blows can you take?" Seizing the moment, Lam Yuan chopped relentlessly at the resentful soul, leaving countless wounds. The system kept reporting HP loss, -50, -50, -60, -60. Despite the pain, the resentful soul could only grit her teeth and endure. Her HP continued to drop, -50, -50, -60, -60. As her body drained, she decided to use her final skill and let out a sharp cry. Ka. Before Lam Yuan could figure out what the skill was, the system immediately announced, "Boss activated violent corpse art." In an instant, a massive explosion occurred. The blast radiated from her position across his area, causing heavy casualties among Lam Yuan's Jiangxi brigade. Thick dust and smoke billowed up, and only because his Jiangxi corps shielded him did he remain safe. Breaking free from their encirclement, Lam Yuan drove his sword into the ground, thinking, "It's violent corpse art." She detonated the NPC Jiangxi, wiping out half my force. Only 3 remained, a severe loss. A few seconds later, he straightened, staring at the resentful soul, then decided solemnly, "This ends now." He used the soul-cleaving seal again, lunged at her and shouted, "Be gone." The instant it connected, the resentful soul screamed pitifully, "No." The system kept announcing, "Boss entering near-death state, HP 300. Boss entering near-death state, HP 200. Boss entering near-death state, HP 100. Boss entering near-death state, HP 30. Her HP depleted, her body began to dissolve before Lam Yuan's eyes. The system congratulated, "Congratulations, you have killed the resentful soul and received 800 experience." Lam Yuan dropped to the ground, looked around and asked hesitantly, "Is it over now?" A moment later, a sound came from behind. By reflex, he turned around. Quincy's wife's spirit appeared and gently said, "Thank you, brave human." Having spoken, that spirit faded away. He immediately captured her with the ring, drawing the spirit inside. System notice, Ring of Devotion, quest item, cannot be discarded, cannot be sold. Note, the engagement ring Quincy gave his wife, a symbol of their love. Lam Yuan frowned again. Is this the only monster drop? Just this ring? At that moment, a spellbook appeared. He looked slightly puzzled. Oh, this is. System notice, Violent Corpse Art Golden. Requirement, corpse binding gauntlets. He was surprised. I never expected the skill the resentful soul used was the exclusive technique of Zai Linglai Shu. Could it be because she used to be the favored of the Dark Lord? The system continued updating. The skillbook has been automatically saved to the player's memory. Information displayed. Violent Corpse Art, Golden Rank 10 effect. Detonates a Jiangxi, dealing fire damage equal to 60% of the user's current HP to surrounding enemies. O cost, 100 mana. O cooldown, 10 seconds. O proficiency, 0-100. Lam Yuan was pleased. Sacrificing a Jiangxi was acceptable. Its power and range were excellent, a welcome surprise. At Black Sand Town, Quincy trembled as he looked at the ring in Lam Yuan's hand. Is this the engagement ring I gave her? He bowed his head, voice shaking as he continued. Sealed spirits lose their memories. Only when freed do they drop what mattered most in life. My wife left without suffering any more, right? Lam Yuan nodded. Yes. The ring still sparkled as it once did. Quincy burst into tears. That's wonderful. He never expected that in the end it would be Zai Linglai Shu, the one I once cursed most, who helped me resolve this regret. I will remember this kindness. To repay him, he took out a box and said, "It's time to fulfill my promise." Item information displayed. Darkness Crown Special Headgear. Effect 1. Conceals criminal record. Effect 2. Masks dark aura. Cannot be sensed. Note. Exclusive equipment of Zai Linglai Shu, indestructible. Lam Yuan took it up in astonishment. It had no bonus stats, but its effects were exactly what he needed to hide his identity. The system asked, "Equip Darkness Crown." Of course he chose accept. A black aura immediately enveloped him. Lam Yuan donned the crown and felt noticeably lighter. Finally, I'm one step closer to the truth. Upon returning to town, the system sent a welcome notification to Feng Shuizha. The streets were crowded, and guilds were loudly recruiting. Lam Yuan assessed silently. Feng Shuizha has countless guilds, but only about 10 with real power. He wondered, which guild will he hide in? Right now, he's just a newcomer. Approaching the major guilds won't be easy. He needed to find an opportunity. He didn't know someone was quietly approaching from behind. Lam Yuan sensed it immediately, but the person turned and walked away. The person's footsteps stopped. Their body froze in shock. The cold blade was already at the stranger's neck. Lam Yuan asked coldly, "Who are you?" The person suddenly trembled. Then their eyes lit up with joy as they rushed forward and hugged him. Master Yuan, it's really you. He coldly leaned aside to avoid them, causing the person to tumble to the ground. Lam Yuan remained indifferent, showing no emotion, and asked, "So it was you?" The other clutched his aching body and forced a wry smile. "Master Yuan, do you still remember me?" Lam Yuan immediately became alert. "You even know my name." The other person began to tell the story. "Back then, when I was scrolling through a live stream of that Blood Guild or whatever, I recognized you. I had to put in a lot of effort, sifting through tens of thousands of comments before I found a trace of Master Yuan. Then I spent another 2 million to upgrade to the corporation's latest facial recognition system to be absolutely sure it was you. Praise me now." Lam Yuan was speechless when he heard such extravagance from the other. 2 million just to find me. The man looked bewildered. "That much? At Han Corporation, we spend millions every time we audit the system." Lam Yuan calculated in his head. Han Corporation, the global high-tech giant, has employees like this. What else does he know? Should I end him right here? Two men eagerly tempted. "Master Yuan, team up with me. Tomorrow there's an S-rank hunt in the Blood Unicorn Cave. I heard someone discovered the molting nest of the Iron Groove serpent." Before he could finish, two men carelessly tripped over a rock and fell flat on his face. Lam Yuan decisively ordered him away. "You go, don't follow me. I don't need to be bothered by an idiot like you." Two men understood and wasn't offended. He only shook his head in admiration. A top-tier player like you could solo clear the Blood Crow Guild's elite squad as easily as slicing a melon. Why bother forming a team? This hunt will also draw 3 of the Autumn Hue guilds to test new players. If you perform well, opportunities could open up. Just then the system announced, 720 guild, 820 guild, 920 guild, 10 Black Tree guild. Two men sighed. "Looks like I'll have to try my luck on my own." Suddenly Lam Yuan's voice rang out. "Specific time." Two men immediately turned back and asked excitedly, "You mean the departure time for the hunt?" "You mean the departure time for the hunt." Two men was so thrilled, he nearly lunged forward to hug. But Lam Yuan deftly pushed him away and reminded him, "Just call me Lam Yuan. We leave at 8 tomorrow morning, right? But we need to prepare a bit before then." Two men looked puzzled at that. At the same time, a large explosion rocked the Vulture Bandits' camp. Lam Yuan was the culprit. He was confident the chieftain was right up ahead. Before acting, Lam Yuan scanned the enemy forces. System report: Vulture Bandit Group, Undead Level 12, HP 1600, Attack 250, Defense 70, Skill, Curved Blade Volley, Undead Body. The vultures closed in step by step. He primed his body for the upcoming fight and commanded, "Move out." Ahead of him was a large band of raiders, the whole group howling and signaling an attack. Lam Yuan unleashed his power, his flying blades sweeping through like a tornado. System announcement: activated skill Curved Blade Volley. Each blade spun wildly, tearing the ground as if it were rent apart. The vulture group froze in place, leaving only the image of Lam Yuan alone amid a battlefield of countless undead. He declared coldly, "Your lives are mine to take." The system continued to display, "You have successfully eliminated the Vulture Bandit undead target." Successive notifications: "You have successfully eliminated the Vulture Bandit group target ×6, ×10. Until the last vulture's head was struck down. Lam Yuan froze briefly and looked around. The place was empty. Suddenly a vulture chieftain appeared in the distance. Chieftain level 19, HP 6200, ATK 820, Def 220, Skill Curved Blade Volley, Undead Body. Lam Yuan promptly activated the backstab skill, then immediately switched to Violent Corpse Art. The minions and the chieftain all rushed in at once, determined to kill him. But in an instant, they were all blown apart. The vulture chieftain was taken by surprise, screamed in panic, and staggered backward. Lam Yuan lunged straight at it, spiritual power gathering into his hand like a thunderbolt. It panicked at his incredible speed, while Lam Yuan regarded it merely as another undead to add to his collection. With a decisive strike, the system reported, "Haunting Fist is now active." He threw the punch and the vulture chieftain immediately went limp, not just out like a turkey, but out like a vulture, sending you to hell. With a thud, the vulture chieftain collapsed, dead on the spot, its body rolling a few times and smashing the surrounding earth and rocks. System notification: "You have defeated the Vulture Bandit chieftain." Lam Yuan landed and calmly ended the battle. Immediately after, a new notification appeared. "Congratulations, you have reached level 13. Skills also leveled up. Dark Lightning, Dark Golden advanced to level 3. Effect deals 20% damage based on the target's HP or restores 20% HP to undead. Costs 60 mana, cooldown 6s, proficiency 2300. Next skill, Violent Corpse Art, Golden level 2. Effect detonates one undead, dealing fire damage equal to 80% of its HP to surrounding enemies. cost 100 mana, cooldown 10s, proficiency 2 100. Amid the cracked, shattered ground, Lam Yuan quietly read the system messages, recalling that he had once used a skill scroll. The system asked, confirm use of skill scroll to upgrade the skill. He replied, confirm. Looking back now, Lam Yuan couldn't help but marvel. Performance was pretty good. Previously, he used a skill scroll to upgrade Dark Curse once. Now it's jumped straight to level 3 and also upgraded Violent Corpse Art. Checking the undead roster, he nodded in satisfaction. As for the Undead Legion, it was sufficient for the time being. From the recent battle, the system reported he had collected 130 beast undead, including a level 15 Vulture Bandit leader, undead with HP 3500, ATK 500, Def 100, skill Chaotic Blade Throw, stealth undead body. Notably, there was also a level 19 Vulture Bandit Chieftain undead with HP 6200, ATK 820, Def 220, skills Chaotic Blade Throw, stealth, backstab, undead body, toxic hand, which deals an additional 20 poison damage. Lam Yuan was surprised to see the note about toxic hand. So the Vulture Bandit Chieftain could gain a new skill after being resurrected as an undead. He recalled the Giant Wolf earlier, whose Howling Beast skill dealt 400% damage to surrounding enemies and stunned them. Beastheart boosted HP by 1000, Deathclaw increased ATK by 150, and Immortal Fury raised allies' crit rate by 20%. When a boss-level monster is resurrected, in addition to its normal skills, it seems to receive extra new skills. Very interesting. While he was pondering, the system announced, the hunting event you are participating in will officially begin in 2 hours. Seeing the notice, Lam Yuan smiled in eager anticipation of a new harvest trip. He turned, strode forward with confidence, and prepared to depart. Before long, Lam Yuan had arrived at the Blood Unicorn Cave, the next hunting location on the schedule. However, when he saw his companion, he was nearly blinded and couldn't keep his eyes open. He reluctantly spoke. I can't look straight at Tu Min, who's wearing a dazzling golden armor. Are you cosplaying a gilded knight statue? Tu Min looked like a walking gold bar, hopping and bragging. Yuan Shen, this is a super tier armor I had a master blacksmith custom make for 50 gold coins. Don't worry, today I definitely won't be a burden to you. No sooner had he finished speaking than the belt made a loud snap, and the golden armored cuisses slid down, revealing colorful shorts underneath. Lam Yuan was speechless, closing his eyes to avoid looking, while Tu Min blushed and couldn't speak. To dispel the awkwardness, Lam Yuan blurted a compliment. It's the first time I've seen segmented armor like this. It's certainly unique. Tu Min hurriedly pulled his pants up and explained sheepishly. The blacksmith said this is the newest model. When you secure the greaves, the helm gets stuck. Suddenly, the faceplate dropped down and jammed, unable to be lifted. Wait, I can't see anything. Yuan Shen, help me. He staggered forward and ultimately tripped over a large foot and bumped into someone's solid chest. The faceplate struck hard and popped back up, restoring his vision. Tu Min looked up, dazed, staring at the person he'd collided with. A large man with a shaved head and a rather intimidating expression, who wore a knowing smile. You okay? The system immediately provided information. Zhao Qi, captain of Team 3 of the Black Tree Guild, profession, warrior, level 15. Tu Min was frightened by Zhao Qi's gaze. Why does his smile make me feel like I've been bitten by a venomous snake? Moments later, his collar was yanked. Lam Yuan warned, hurry and take off that ridiculous gear. Tu Min forced a smile. Okay, I'll take it off right away. Zhao Qi also glanced at Lam Yuan, visibly annoyed that someone dared look him in the eye. How irritating. Just then someone shouted loudly, hey, you two. Who in this expedition group is Han Cheng? They held a roster with a photo of Tu Min in hand. One person checked the photo and pointed at him. Is that you, the one in the gaudy yellow outfit? The whole guild burst out laughing. What kind of taste is that? What are you cosplaying? Tu Min hurriedly greeted. It's me. You're the captains of the Black Tree Guild, right? This is my friend. Before he could finish, someone drew a sword and pointed it at him. All right, we're not interested in rookies. Remember this. We don't let people join because of double registration fees. It's because our captain is especially merciful. Lam Yuan's expression darkened behind them. Zhao Qi beside him acted conciliatory. All right, be a bit friendly to the newcomer. The swordsman shrugged. I was only joking. The captain said, no need for an arrogant attitude. Appreciate this opportunity. Tu Min quickly flattered. Yes, we'll do our best. Another member shouted, everyone, attention, I'll take roll call. Tu Min followed anxiously, hardly believing he could really join an operation with members of a major guild. Lam Yuan quietly walked at the back, observing everyone. He thought to himself, are these the players hunting S-rank? Watching them inspect their gear, could that stuff fail mid-run? Most of them were newcomers, who had just arrived in the main city area. Zhao Qi led the group into the cave, Everyone had gathered and was ready to set out. Everyone felt reassured. When you run into the Black Tree Guild, even death has to get out of the way. Things would be very safe. The whole party responded in unison. The swordsman from earlier suddenly noticed two men behind them and cheerfully called out, "Yuan Shen, catch up, I've heard there are glowing slimes in this cave." He couldn't resist sneering. "Good lord, is this guy here for a picnic?" Lam Yuan calmly stayed at the rear, smiling inwardly with pleasure. What an intoxicating scent. The group pressed deeper into the Blood Unicorn Cave. After a while they reached a fork. "How are we already at a split? We haven't encountered a single iron thrush beast along the way," one member remarked. "This iron thrush beast is active at night. It's likely deep in the cave resting right now." Someone in the team asked for opinions. "Captain Zhao, which branch should we take?" Zhao Qi, as if prepared, replied, "I think it's best if we split up." Everyone objected in alarm. Splitting up is risky. What if we run into a level 16 elite? The other team leader tried to reassure them. Everyone quiet. He continued, "Actually, to ensure safety, the captain sent scouts ahead. When we met you today, we had just finished scouting and were resting to regroup." This surprised many team members. "What? Captain Zhao already scouted ahead?" Zhao Qi confirmed, "Yes, this morning we scouted all three paths. The middle path shows clear signs of iron thrush beast activity. The risk of an ambush is very high, while the other two paths are actually quite safe. But the most dangerous route is also where valuable items are easiest to find. Therefore, the Black Tree Guild will take the middle path, and the remaining groups will take the sides." He smiled meaningfully. "What do you all think?" The group praised him continuously. "Truly a major guild. Every move is calculated. You're captain of Team 3 of the Black Tree Guild, the highest senior among us." At that moment, Lam Yuan decided, "We'll go left." Zhao Qi agreed immediately. "Of course, no problem. Anyone want to join them?" Everyone hesitated, distrustful. One looks odd, the other has a mysterious face. They even hid levels and classes, probably too low level to show their faces, but they do look cool. If you like them, go ahead. Zhao Qi leaned in and said quietly to Lam Yuan, "The two of you have poor luck with connections. Too bad I'm captain. I still can't force anyone." He paid it no mind and just called to two men, "Let's go." Zhao Qi watched the two figures walk away and muttered with a slight smile, "Two fools who know nothing." Inside the cave, countless natural stalactites and stalagmites rose up. The air so damp that water pooled on the ground. Only Lam Yuan and two men remained on that path. Two men trembled. "Yuan Shen, the temperature's dropping fast. This feels strange." It also felt like someone was staring at them, the sensation growing stronger. He only smiled, unafraid. "So you finally noticed. There really is something here." Two men jolted. "What?" But Captain Zhao said he'd scouted ahead. This path is supposed to be safe. Lam Yuan teased, "Do you really trust him? Leading a whole group of rookies into an S-rank hunt. Clearly he wants to use the living as guinea pigs." Two men realized in shock, "Then why didn't you just, earlier?" "I half-guessed the rest of that sentence. I just wanted to see how many they'd hook anyway." Saying that, Lam Yuan grabbed a slime from the wall and tossed it out as a probe. From deep inside the cave came a low, resonant sound, and countless pairs of glowing red eyes turned toward the two of them. Dozens of reptilian monsters surged out, information appearing. Iron-eating lizard, elite, level 16, HP 3300, ATK 440, Def 100 skills. Irontail sweep, wall breaker, non-corrosive. As soon as they appeared, he used his weapon to unleash a great flame like a dragon's breath, incinerating the lizard. On the other side, the guild group was also killing the reptile. The swordsman who'd just slain one shouted, "You idiots, witness my power." He turned and laughed loudly. "Captain, thanks to those decoys drawing attention and sharing the fighting, it's a lot easier now. Do they really believe those scouting reports?" Zhao Qi raised his weapon and said coldly, "Wait until most of them are dead. The remaining two iron-eating lizards will be nearly bloodless. Then we'll strike and take them both." At that moment, three lizards lunged at him. Zhao Qi looked down on them. "Who are these things screaming at? Get up." Instantly, the three were cut down by him in the blink of an eye. He grinned maliciously. "Useless creatures, only fit to lie at the bottom of the food chain." Turning back to Lam Yuan's side, two men panicked. "Yuan Shen, do you see the monsters activating their Iron-tail sweep skill? They swing their metal tails horizontally. Attacks deal 60% damage." But Lam Yuan remained unflinching. He summoned a number of minions and activated curved throwing knives toward the distant target, range up to 10 m, retrievable, dealing 60% damage. Next, he used stealth, shifting into a semi-hidden state to reduce detectability, then activated a backstab, attacking from behind to deal 80% damage to the target. Tu Ming was stunned. Since when did he tame so many undead lizards? They're even stronger than the fight at the desert mud pit before. So badass. Lin Yuan replied lightly, I said I'd prepare a bit more that day. Tu Ming was still in disbelief. How could Yuan Shen have tamed so many powerful monsters in less than a day? A moment later, the system announced, "You have successfully defeated 55 elite iron-eating lizards." Lin Yuan walked past the monster corpses with satisfaction, thinking, not a bad efficiency. Tu Ming hugged his shield, eyes brimming. "I admire you so much, if only I were as strong as Yuan Shen." Suddenly he felt a tremor. Is this an earthquake? He turned to call Lin Yuan, then hesitated. He thought, Yuan Shen's busy. I'll go check it out first. Can't bother him with everything. I should use my own strength a bit. So he nervously moved in another direction. It seems like it's coming from this side. After only a few steps, the tremor suddenly stopped. Tu Ming stood frozen. Maybe it's over. Just as he relaxed, a gigantic tentacle shattered the ground and shot upward. Tu Ming was terrified and couldn't react in time. A long, forked tongue characteristic of reptiles thrust up from beneath the earth, freezing him in place. His face went pale. He could only think silently. What on earth is this? The tongue had no eyes, yet somehow pinpointed Tu Ming's location and lung. It swept across, knocking the armored soldier flat to the ground. The crimson tongue whipped hard again, changing direction to strike. This time it coiled around Tu Ming, constricting until he suffocated, only managing a hoarse syllable. Save. With a raw scream, Tu Ming was dragged down into the earth by the monstrous tongue. Forgetting the sticky drool, the only thought in his head now was, I'm done for. I'm really done for. At that moment, a sickly green blade flashed. Swish. Lin Yuan swept in and sliced off the monster's red tongue. He said coldly, a filthy beast hiding under the mud dares to show off in front of me. Fresh blood spurted from the severed tongue as the creature writhed in pain and slammed down to the ground. Taking advantage of the moment, he grabbed Tu Ming by the collar and pulled him away. The two ran as fast as they could, putting distance between themselves and the ambush site. At the cave mouth, Lin Yuan stopped. Tu Ming coughed several times and drew a deep breath. Yuan Shen, that thing was definitely a giant. While it hasn't chased us yet, we should. Before he could finish, the rock beneath their feet cracked open. Something was racing underground straight toward them. Tu Ming panicked. It's over. There's no time. A giant mutated lizard-like monster, its tongue severed, burst from the ground and roared. The system displayed, Red Iron Manji, Lord level 20 HP, 6300 ATK, 850 def, 280 skills, Iron Tail Rapid Strike, Unyielding Accumulation, Subterranean March, Poison Sand Spit. Seeing the boss info, Tu Ming trembled. The mission notice only said the Blood Unicorn Cavern has an elite Red Iron Manji. How is this one a lord? Despite his fear, he stepped in front of Lin Yuan. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have run into this terrifying monster. I'll stop it. You need to retreat now. Completely the opposite, Lin Yuan smiled. Excitement flashed in his eyes. A terrifying monster. It looks qualified to be my prey. Tu Ming's eyes widened. What? The Red Iron Manji roared and lunged forward. Lin Yuan wore a cold smile. Then let's see, I'll take you down. He charged, leaving Tu Ming stunned. Yuan Shen. Of course, Lin Yuan wasn't fighting alone. He had an entire battalion of undead. This battle was the perfect chance to test the Vulture Undead Squad's strength, the Vulture Captain and the Vulture throwing twin blades. The Vulture Undead immediately hovered in the air, obeying orders. They launched their twin blades at the boss. But the Red Iron Manji remained unfazed. It swung its tail, shattering each blade. System notice, boss activated Skill Iron Tail Rapid Strike. Blades kept raining down, but couldn't penetrate the boss's steel-like thick hide. But that was just a diversion. Lin Yuan deftly jumped around to the monster's rear while it focused on the vultures. He swung his sword and summoned countless sickly green skulls, Soul Blade Seal. Skulls exploded all over the Red Iron Manji, producing a series of thunderous blasts. Smoke cleared, the boss was almost unharmed, only a few small scorch marks on its natural armor. Lin Yuan frowned. That's all you've got. The monster roared in anger, exhaling green smoke from its mouth before opening its jaws wide. Red Iron Manji activated skill, Poison Sand Spit. A jet of sickly green poisonous sand blasted out like cannon fire. System warning, high-pressure poison sand. Victims will be poisoned, losing 310% of maximum HP per second for 5 seconds. The poisoned sand detonated midair, spraying toxic dust everywhere. Shockwaves rolled like they wanted to crush everything. Tu Ming shouted hoarsely, Yuan Shen, careful. The poisoned sand hit the ground with loud explosion. The sickly green toxin boiling up like a cauldron of hellish oil. Tu Ming's face went pale, a highly concentrated corrosive attack. Lin Yuan narrowed his eyes, more troublesome than I expected. No sooner had he finished speaking than the Red Iron Manji quietly used Subterranean March. It dove underground, and suddenly swung its gigantic tail in a sweeping strike that grazed his head. The tree-trunk-sized tail of the Red Iron Manji slammed into the ground, cracking the earth. Thanks to his agility, Lin Yuan leapt high, a faint smile at the corner of his mouth making the fight even more dramatic. In this uneven confrontation, he didn't hesitate to call more undead for support. "Come out, Vulture Lord." Immediately, a vulture undead spread its wings and flew out, its cold gaze fixed on the red iron manji. It gripped twin blades, ready to charge into battle. Moments later, the vulture drove its twin blades down hard into the mutated lizard's tail. The two high-level bosses collided, shockwaves radiating in bursts, flinging rocks and debris. Standing at a safe distance, Tu Ming watched in astonishment. This undead monster, is it one of the new soldiers Yuan Shen just summoned? So ridiculously cool, I can't stand it. On the battlefield, the Vulture Lord used its superior speed, gliding like a shadow to the red iron manji's rear. It raised its twin blades high again, preparing the backstab move. Two sharp blades drove deep into the lizard's tail. The system immediately notified Lin Yuan. Boss activated skill unyielding accumulation. Increases defense by 150% for 10 seconds. The red iron manji showed no hesitation. It even used its massive bulk to counterattack. It swung its pillar-sized tail in a devastating sweep. If the Vulture Lord got hit by that, he'd be seriously injured and Lin Yuan would lose a trump card. He hurriedly warned, "Careful." Despite the warning, the Vulture Lord couldn't avoid it. The tail struck him against the wall, and his twin blades clattered to the ground. Tu Ming watched the boss's moves, his face paling. Its reactions are insanely fast. Does it have eyes in its back or what? That question prompted Lin Yuan to watch more closely. He analyzed silently. Lizard-type deities have simple eye structures, mainly sensing environmental changes in light. They're hard to detect when enemies stand still, but their dynamic vision is excellent. Their hearing and smell are extremely sensitive, and they even have infrared sensing organs to detect opponents' body heat. So they're far more motion sensitive than human. After analyzing, Lin Yuan devised a counter. To handle this boss, lure it to run straight into a trap without realizing it. He put the plan into action, hurling several fireballs directly at the red iron manji. Booming explosions echoed through the cavern, blue flames flickering like specters and lighting up a wide area. Now let's see whether your scales are tougher or my fireballs hotter. Provoked like this, the red iron manji couldn't just stand there and keep its lordly reputation. It opened its jaws and charged madly into the dense rain of fireball. Seeing it move, Lin Yuan continued to fight while retreating. Looking like a candy-peddling boogeyman coaxing a child into a dark corner to snatch them. The red iron manji grew angrier the more the small human fled, relentlessly giving chase. Lin Yuan was pleased to himself. Good, get it to focus all its attention on me. Watching from a distance, Tu Ming's heart pounded as he saw the boss tailing Yuan Shen closely. Yuan Shen, that's too dangerous. He broke into a cold sweat. The red iron manji's defense is insanely strong. Basic fireballs barely scratch it. Yuan Shen is taking too much risk. But then Tu Ming noticed something. Wait, which direction is Yuan Shen running toward? He looked closely. It was exactly the spot where the lizard undead Lin Yuan had previously summoned stood. They were standing at attention on command, like carved statues. At the decisive moment, Lin Yuan smiled with calculation. Now, he spun sharply and executed a spectacular cut. The red iron manji pursued, and when it saw its prey change direction, it tried to mimic the turn, but its massive body skidded, toppled, and swept the lizard undead like a gigantic bowling ball crashing into pins. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate to taunt. "You giant dumb boss, you don't even know how to break." Whether it understood or felt embarrassed, the red iron manji roared even more wild. He spun and ran backward, just as planned. Enjoy this explosive feast. With that, Lin Yuan immediately activated the skill Explosive Necromancy. The lizard undead beside the boss blew up instantly, thunderous detonations rocking the cavern and sending debris flying. At the blast center, the red iron manji took continuous damage, -50, -80, -100 HP. Everything went according to plan, making Lin Yuan smug. Armor broke. Wounded, the red iron manji howled in pain and stamped its two front legs hard into the ground, the earth trembling violently. Lin Yuan didn't stay still either. He leapt high to avoid the shockwave. Immediately after, he raised his hand to summon the Vulture Lord undead to the left, and he landed to the right. At this point, the red iron manji was trapped on both sides, but it paid no mind to the Vulture Lord undead and charged straight at Lin Yuan. Lizard deities have a fatal weakness. Their eyes can't lock onto targets on both the left and right sides at the same time. That gave the Vulture Lord undead an opening to attack. Instead of using twin blades, it switched to a crossbow, loaded 3 razor-sharp bolts, and fired decisively. With a boom, the bolts tore through the air and drove straight into the gaping maw of the red iron manji. At the same time on the right, Lin Yuan vaulted into the air, wind and lightning swirling around him like the arrival of death. The red iron manji's eyes reflected Lin Yuan's sword-wielding figure as if a marauder were rushing in. He brought the blade down hard. The sword flashed blindingly, a vortex forming, as if sending the boss straight to hell. Caught between two sudden strikes from both sides, the red iron manji couldn't react. It roared madly as the system kept notifying, hit the weak point. You have leveled up. Congratulations, you reached level 14. Lin Yuan gently touched down, his cloak billowing in the wind. Before him, the giant corpse of the boss lord lay motionless. 5 minutes later, the system reported that the undead's HP had recovered to 85%. That notification came because Lin Yuan had just used a professional healing skill on his undead legion. Dark Curse Gilded Tear. Effects: deal 20% damage to a target's HP or restore 20% HP to undead. Costs 60 mana, 6-second cooldown, proficiency 200-300. Looking at the proficiency stat, he mused that one more skill scroll would likely raise Dark Curse to level 4. Afterward, Lin Yuan recruited the red iron manji's corpse as a new soldier, noting that although explosive necromancy consumed many undead, taking down this boss was well worth. The red iron manji's eyes now glowed bright blue, officially joining the undead legion. Undead red iron manji, lord rank level 20, HP 6300, attack 850, defense 280. Skills: Iron Tail Rapid Strike, Unyielding Accumulation, Subterranean March, Poison Sand Spit, Corpse Spirit. With abundant HP and sky-high defense, Lin Yuan was pleased. From now on, you'll be my meat shield. When the battle ended, Tu Ming's eyes lit up like headlights, thrilled at the pile of high-tier loot. It's the first time I've seen this much spoils. Should we inventory it now? Lin Yuan calmly looked elsewhere and replied coldly, "What's the rush? There are still a few rats left to clean up." Elsewhere, the battlefield still lay scattered with lizard corpses, strewn across the ground. Not far off, Zhao Qi hefted a spiked mace and snorted arrogantly. "These idiots aren't worth our attention." A soldier on the team laughed and flattered. "It's all thanks to the captain's brilliant command. With you here, even lord-tier monsters bow and endure." The hooded mage added, "Captain, with all that noise earlier, the other fights must be nearly over. We can go over and pick up loot now." Zhao Qi didn't answer. He just kicked a blocking lizard corpse aside, then led the team onward. "Move out, time to collect the bodies." But they hadn't gone far when a violent explosion thundered from above. Rocks and earth rained down, and the three scrambled to dodge, struggling to keep their balance on the treacherous ground. Zhao Qi flew into a rage, smashing boulders with his weapon as he yelled, "Who dares attack the Black Tree Guild from behind?" As the dust cleared, two upright figures emerged, Lin Yuan and Tu Ming. Lin Yuan said coldly, "Weren't you going to collect the bodies? Let me collect them myself." Zhao Qi's team's mage stared in shock, pointing at the two of them. "Impossible. You two were clearly taken by the red iron manji just now." Tu Ming snapped angrily, pointing straight at Zhao Qi's three followers and shouting reproachfully, "How dare you call it wasted effort? I thought the Black Tree Guild acted with honor, but it turns out you use people as bait in instances." A burly soldier confirmed boastfully, "So what if we did? Being the paving stones for the Black Tree Guild is an honor for you shrimp and prawns." Zhao Qi fell silent, his mind racing. He couldn't understand how Lin Yuan and the other man had survived. He found it unbelievable, as if he'd seen a ghost. Hearing that arrogant talk, Tu Ming couldn't stand it and shouted, "You shameless brats." Lin Yuan, however, merely stood quietly observing. The more he looked at him, the more Zhao Qi was irked. He frowned and silently decided, better get rid of him. Zhao Qi stepped forward and declared threateningly, "I don't know what luck let you survive, but it's over now." He swung his spiked maul down hard into the ground. Lin Yuan immediately leaped back, dragging Tu Ming out of the way. He quickly drew his sword and calmly faced Zhao Qi, "Just you alone." The opponent quickly swung the spiked maul to block Lin Yuan's strike. The clashing weapons rang deafeningly. The shockwave swept up rocks and dust around them. Both were driven backward. Each could feel the other's power. Zhao Qi sneered with interest. "What is this? The strength of a milk-fed brat, and it's like this." Without further words, Lin Yuan swung his sword, releasing several spectral skulls that hurled toward Zhao Qi and detonated, forcing him to dodge left and right or risk injury. Thick smoke flooded the area, ghostly figures mingling in the gray haze. When he came to his senses, Zhao Qi saw that Lin Yuan was nowhere to be seen. At that moment, a figure suddenly closed in from behind. Using his enemy's trick against him, he pretended to shout, "Annoying, where did you hide off to?" Sure enough, Lin Yuan lunged out with a powerful slash, but Zhao Qi was quick to raise his shield and block it. "You think I wasn't on guard, idiot." As he blocked Lin Yuan's blade, Zhao Qi lectured, "History proves that those who survive by luck should at least sleep with one eye open." No sooner had he finished than his body suddenly vanished right before Lin Yuan. The mist gradually cleared, but Lin Yuan still couldn't spot his opponent. While he remained alert, Zhao Qiui's hoarse voice unexpectedly sounded from behind. For trash like you. Lin Yuan turned to look back, but it was already too late. He took the full force of Zhao Qiui's spiked maul. The impact thundered. His body was blasted away, smashing into the rock face and sending debris flying. Tu Ming, standing outside, screamed in panic. Yuan Shen, one of Zhao Qiui's soldiers, itching to jump in, called out to Tu Ming, "Hand that rookie over to me." The mage also refused to yield. "You're not warmed up yet. That one is mine." Meanwhile, Zhao Qiui strode up to Lin Yuan, enjoying the sight of him struggling against the cliff. "All right, I don't have much time to play with." This time he was so confident, he dropped his weapon and raised his fist to strike Lin Yuan's face. "Lie still and wait to die." But the instant his fist was about to land, Zhao Qiui's expression suddenly changed to one of utter horror. "Wah, what?" A hand stopped his punch. Lin Yuan opened his eyes and asked calmly, "Captain of the 3rd Squad of the Black Tree Guild, isn't that right?" Zhao Qiui was both astonished and uneasy. The one who blocked his fist was Lin Yuan, the very man who had been slammed into the wall. Black chi swirled around Lin Yuan's body, his red eyes now overtaken by an eerie blue-green spectral flame, deathly aura chilling the air. Lin Yuan looked like a Tula risen from hell. In a low, cold voice he assessed him. "I think I now know the true strength of witch-ranked guilds on the city leader." With one hand he clamped onto Zhao Qiui's fist. The man trembled, unable to pull his hand back or do anything. Suddenly Lin Yuan twisted his arm hard to the side. Zhao Qiui gritted his teeth against the pain. That powerful hand was subdued by Lin Yuan's smaller one. Not stopping there, Lin Yuan spun and used force to throw him over his shoulder. Zhao Qiui's body arced through the air and slammed hard into a large rock in the path. Boom! His soldier and the mage froze, faces drained of color. Zhao Qiui struggled up on his hands, gave a hoarse cough and said, "I really underestimated you." But he still tried to sound fearless and shouted, "Don't just stand there, charge." The soldier yelled, "All right." The one-eyed mage drew his weapon and followed. The three of them charged at Lin Yuan, full of fighting spirit. "Go die." Lin Yuan gave a contemptuous smile. "A bunch of amateurs through and through, not a single proper move among you." Zhao Qiui's spiked maul slammed the ground with a roar, and the mage's spell struck the spot where Lin Yuan had stood, but he had vanished. Suddenly 2 vulture undead dropped down from above, right behind Zhao Qiui's group. They pounced and seized the soldier and the mage. Zhao Qiui was stunned. What? Before he could worry about his teammates, his eyes reflected the greenish spectral flame. Several phantom skulls rushed in, mouths wide, then exploded. Boom, booms, boom. The shockwaves sent Zhao Qiui flying backward, face first. His 2 teammates were held fast by the vulture undead. Lin Yuan walked forward, deliberate. Zhao Qiui panicked and begged for mercy, though he still tried to sound arrogant. "Wait. If you dare kill me, the Black Tree Guild won't let it go. Think carefully." Lin Yuan remained silent, as if truly considering. Then he glanced to the left. Tu Ming ran over from a distance and clung to his leg. "Lord Yuan, I knew it. You never lose. I thought I was going to die just now." The scene was so absurd he couldn't stand it. Lin Yuan immediately kicked Tu Ming aside. "Get out of the way." He raised his sword, voice cold and threatening. "I know the Black Tree Guild is brutal to outsiders and tortures their own members too. If you die, drop levels, or lose guild gear, they will come after you. How do you plan to explain that to them?" For his life, Zhao Qiui immediately changed his tone and bowed his head in surrender. "Fine, consider this my defeat. Tell me, what do you want me to do to spare my life?" A little intimidation got the desired result. Lin Yuan coldly issued his demand. "Give me a list of the managerial-level players in your guild. Include class, rank, and characteristics." The mysterious face hidden under that cloak flashed through his mind. The primary disciple's skill from his past life had never appeared before. He must possess an extremely rare hidden class. Zhao Qiui frowned. "What do you need that list for?" Lin Yuan said nothing. He drove his sword straight into the man's left hand. Zhao Qiui screamed in agony. Lin Yuan sat down in front of Zhao Qiui and asked coldly, "Did you write it or not?" He was sweating from the pain and hurriedly replied, "I wrote it, I'll write it right." A moment later, holding the Black Tree Guild roster in his hand, Lin Yuan murmured, "It seems the guild's top players are all here. Although a few classes are somewhat unusual, none match the signature of the first disciple." Zhao Qiui asked, "Elder, can you let us go now?" Lin Yuan smiled faintly. "I can let you go." Zhao Qiui clutched his wounded hand and, grateful, said, "Thank you, Elder, thank you." Saying he'd spare them, Lin Yuan instead delivered 3 lethal strikes, finishing them all. "You have harmed countless innocent players. It's time to pay." After eliminating the 3 villains, their drops fell. A sword, a maul, and a mage's robe. Fucking Gaiet Demon Maul, white-silver rarity, weapon stats. Attack plus 45, crit plus 30, physical attack plus 30, with the attached skill Shock Force Burst. Shock Force Burst increases attack speed by 20% on the first strike. Bronze Sword Stage Weapon Type, attack plus 30, accuracy plus 20. Azure Light Mage Robe, Bronze Rarity Type, magic damage plus 20, spirit plus 20. After checking the items, Lin Yuan noticed one more thing. Tu Ming held a chest in his hands and excitedly showed it off. Lord Yuan, look, they also got a treasure chest. It hasn't been inventoried yet. Lin Yuan opened the chest and instructed, I'll pick first, the rest are yours. Tu Ming shook his head. No, I can't take advantage of Lord Yuan. Tu Ming laughed. I'll buy it from you, I won't take it for free. Lin Yuan paid it no mind and said lightly, up to you. He opened the chest, then shook his head in disappointment. Nothing suits me, take it all. Tu Ming cheerfully. Okay, Lord Yuan, I'll transfer the payment to you right away. System notice, you received 54 gold coins. By now it was daytime outside the Crimson Unicorn Cave. The two left together. Lin Yuan sighed. Still only white-silver gear. Getting gold-grade gear these days isn't easy. Tu Ming then reminded him, Lord Yuan, there's something I'm not sure I should mention. He asked, what's up? Tu Ming trembled as he told him, I've heard the Black Tree Guild people avenge every slight. If you beat them online, they'll seek revenge in real life. Want me to have my bodyguard follow you? Lin Yuan appreciated Tu Ming's concern but wasn't worried. He waved goodbye. Thanks for telling me. They're just a bunch of pests. I have my own plan. Logging out of the game, he took off his headset. From outside, he heard a call. Yuan Yuan, come get ready for dinner. He stood up, stepped outside, and replied, I'm coming. Click-clack, Lin Yuan turned the doorknob and opened his room's door, and unexpectedly saw a figure wearing an iron helmet standing right in the doorway. He was startled, thinking it was an ambush. On guard, the person took off the helmet. It turned out to be his father, Mr. Lin. He smiled and asked, Yuan Yuan, do you think this is the helmet you need for gaming? Is it broken? He stepped forward to check, tried powering it on, then replied, It's not broken, Dad, it still works. But Dad, why did you suddenly buy a gaming helmet? Mr. Lin answered sincerely, I didn't buy this. Your mother found it while cleaning Xiao Dan's room. Lin Yuan felt a headache as he remembered. Last life, around this time, Lin Dan awakened in hidden class. Mrs. Lin brought the food up from the kitchen. All right, stop standing there, come eat now. In the real world, the afternoon was beautiful, and the city bustled with life. At the dining table, Mrs. Lin exposed him. That father of yours doesn't understand the new stuff. He spends all day trying to find shared topics with you, wasting an entire afternoon just to boot up the machine and still can't figure it out. Mr. Lin protested, blushing. Not true, Yuan Yuan, don't listen to your mother. I was just worried your mother would break Xiao Dan's things while cleaning, so I checked a bit. The meal atmosphere was harmonious. Lin Yuan thought that if his parents were exposed to the immortal world, he could use in-game resources to support them so that if an anomaly occurred, they'd be able to protect themselves. He smiled and said, This game isn't hard. Tomorrow I'll buy 2 more gaming helmets, Mom. You should try it too. Mrs. Lin hurriedly stopped him. Don't spend money on frivolous things. Lin Yuan laughed. It's fine, Mom, don't worry. By the way, hasn't Xiao Dan come home yet? Mrs. Lin replied, The house isn't full yet, we haven't started eating. Let me call her. It's Friday, so she probably went out with friends. He also called his sister, but only heard the automated message. The subscriber you are calling is temporarily unreachable. Ani settled in him because even if Xiao Dan didn't want to pick up, she would normally text back, not go completely silent. Mrs. Lin said, Eat, Yuan Yuan. Xiao Dan's probably eating out. Let's not wait. After eating, Lin Yuan decided to look for his sister. Parents, eat first. I'm going downstairs to buy a few things. If I'm late, the shop might close. Mrs. Lin scolded, then the food will get cold. Mr. Lin encouraged, let Yuan Yuan go. Watching his sons retreating back, Mr. Lin sighed. I remember when Yuan Yuan and Xiao Dan were inseparable. Somehow they've grown distant. Well, let the kids talk more and we'll worry less. Mrs. Lin nodded. That's true. Yuan Yuan just isn't good at expressing himself, but he's still her brother. The stair light clicked on and footsteps sounded. Lin Yuan hurried down, memories of his past life flashing through his mind. That night, Lin Dan came home struggling, covered in scrapes, bruises, and smeared blood. That evening, Lin Yuan was at home cooking instant noodles when the unexpected happened. He stepped closer and, in a soft voice, asked, Xiao Dan, you. But she gave no answer and passed him by coldly. Before closing the door, she warned, It's none of your business. Don't call the police, don't tell Mom and Dad, understand. After saying that, Lin Dan's door slammed shut and was locked from the inside. Her unusual attitude left Lin Yuan stunned for a long time. It took him a while to understand the truth. Back in the present, descending the stairs, he kept thinking. In his previous life, after Lin Dan started playing the immortal world, she soon awakened a hidden class but had to shoulder many burdens that did not belong to her. Everything began when that mysterious organization appeared. It was the Order, a secret group founded by 9 people chosen by heaven. the chosen ones. Only those who were chosen ones could qualify to join. Among them was a prophet who could sense chosen ones in the real world and dispatch people to invite them to join. Gradually, the Order's power within the game grew so strong that no one could resist. Their influence in the real world increased as well. Though their actions were mysterious and unpredictable, the organization did many good things, maintaining social order, so outsiders couldn't discern their true motive. After Lin Dan was invited into the group, she frequently carried out dangerous missions, but never told her family about them. Lin Yuan worried, hoping this time it had nothing to do with. He opened the door, the wood creaked, and his expression darkened. Stepping out onto the street, Lin Yuan thought that even if it was them, this time he would not let Lin Dan get involved in such things again. He wandered the streets, searching for any sign of his sister. At night, the neighborhood was still fairly lively, the streets crowded with people. Suddenly, he spotted a familiar figure inside the two-story tea and coffee shop across the street. He recognized his sister sitting by the window with a few strangers. Immediately, Lin Yuan hid behind a distant wall, careful not to be seen by Lin Dan. From his hiding place, Lin Yuan watched more closely, his face tense. As he expected, Lin Dan had met with them. However, the distance was too great for him to hear the conversation clearly, and it wasn't the time for rash action. To eavesdrop more effectively, he activated his system and used his stealth skill. The sensation felt strange since he hadn't used it in a long time, but with a little focus it worked. Lin Yuan slipped quietly into the cafe, kept a safe distance, and stood near the center in front of the counter. His stealth art was currently at level 3, lasting 5 minutes. Standing not far from Lin Dan's table, he observed. Opposite his sister sat a blonde man named Xiao Fan, who seemed casual. Beside him was a serious-looking brown-haired man named Hai Sen. Hai Sen, sullen and stern, said, "I've already told you everything that needs to be said. Whether you believe it is up to you. Joining us isn't just about the organization, it's about the future, when disaster strikes 3 years from now." He laid out grand ideals, trying to persuade her. "You will be like us, daring to stand up for this world." Lin Dan sat listening, her face utterly bewildered. When he finished speaking, the three fell silent. The air was tense and somewhat stifling. Lin Yuan continued to watch, not daring to relax. Xiao Fan placed a hand on Hai Sen's shoulder teasingly. "Look at you, you scared her, tone it down." Hai Sen frowned. "I'm just speaking seriously, for her own good. The situation now is critical and involves a lot." Mid-sentence, he suddenly stopped, his sharp gaze cutting toward where Lin Yuan stood. Hai Sen's vigilance was indeed keen, leaving Lin Yuan slightly startled, unsure whether he had been detected. Hai Sen silently twirled the ring on his finger, activating a dispel skill. Instantly, an invisible sonic wave spread through the cafe. Lin Yuan's system announced, "Stealth effect dispelled, countdown begun." Confident in his skill, Hai Sen stared toward the area with the anomaly, but saw no one. This left him a bit baffled. To ease the awkwardness, Hai Sen ordered a drink. "Boss, do you have iced tea? Give me a cup to go." The shop owner cheerfully replied, "Right away, just a moment." Taking advantage of the owner leaving the counter, Lin Yuan slipped quickly into the back kitchen and hid behind the door, breathing a sigh of relief though he stayed cautious. Fortunately, the ring's dispel had a 3-second delay, and he dodged in time. After the countdown ended, the system notified him that the stealth effect had been removed. Hai Sen took a sip of iced tea and casually scanned the cafe with his eye. Finally, he took out a business card, placed it on the table, and pushed it toward Lin Dan. "Lin Dan, I hope you'll consider our invitation to join. Those with righteous hearts won't stand idly by in the face of disaster. If you think it over, call this number." She took the card, still flustered, and nodded. "Okay." The two men stood and left the cafe. Xiao Fan smiled and reminded her, "I'll wait for you, make sure you come." As soon as they left, Lin Yuan reactivated his stealth skill, slipped past the kitchen, dashed out of the shop, and the owner never noticed a thing. But as soon as he stepped outside and looked left and right, the two of them were already gone. They vanished very quick. While he was watching, a cup filled with a dark liquid suddenly fell to the ground right at his feet. Lin Yuan almost froze instantly, but he couldn't dodge in time, his foot coming to rest right next to the puddle. Hai Sen immediately stepped forward to inspect, and found a suspicious dry patch of footprints on the pavement amid the spilled liquid. The system announced that Lin Yuan's stealth effect was about to end 3 seconds. Almost immediately, both Hai Sen and Xiao Fan turned their heads toward the spot where Lin Yuan had just been standing. Under the pale yellow streetlight, beside the overturned cup, there was no one at all, only the soft sound of wind passing between the two. Hai Sen bent down to pick up the cup, his face showing a bit of fatigue. "Maybe I've been oversensitive lately, it's nothing." Xiao Fan smiled reassuringly. "Big brother, you're way too tense, relax." By the way, do you think that girl will come join us? He sounded fairly certain. According to Xianzhai, sooner or later she'll come. Zhao Fan nodded. That's true, Xianzhai has never been wrong. But honestly, I'm curious which girl I'll be paired with. Hai Sen had no mood for joking and said coldly, survive the next great catastrophe first, then we'll talk. Zhao Fan remained casual. That's still a long way off. Perched on a thick branch farther away, Lin Yuan quietly watched the two of them leave. They'd only met twice, but he'd become extremely wary. These people were harder to deal with than he'd thought. More contact could easily expose the forbidden vocation he possessed. If exposed, he'd have no standing in the immortal world. Thinking that, he silently reminded himself to be cautious and decided it was time to move. The city at night was still awash in splendid light. In another corner, Lin Dan still held the business card in her hand, hesitating. Her right hand clenched, her face pensive as if weighing something huge. Suddenly a figure approached and she jumped, looking up. Brother, what are you doing here? Lin Yuan stood at the apartment door holding a small bag, saw his sister's flustered expression, and said gently, I just went out to buy a few things. You haven't had dinner yet, have you? Lin Dan lowered her head and whispered, not yet, but it's okay. Lin Yuan raised the bag. It's late, don't make mom worry more. I bought some food, see if there's anything you like. His unusual behavior made Lin Dan curious, because her brother had always been awkward and rarely took the initiative to care for others like this. But she didn't ask. She quietly followed behind him up to their apartment. When the two returned home, Mrs. Lin saw her daughter and asked, where did you go that you lost track of time? Have you eaten? Should I warm your food? Lin Dan shook her head. No need, Mom, I want to rest first. After saying that, she went to her room and closed the door. Mrs. Lin turned to Lin Yuan. You haven't eaten either. I'll make something more for you too. He said nothing, only watched his sister's retreating back vanish behind the door. In her room, Lin Dan sighed and stood dazed for a long moment, her mind in turmoil over what Zhao Fan and Hai Sen had said. She went to the bed, flopped down, put a hand to her forehead and wondered, why have things been so strange lately? She began to recall the events that had happened since joining that immersive role-playing game. Once when facing a very strong mantis monster with her team, the party's mage warned in a panic, Lin Dan, run. Your movement speed is faster than mine. I'll hold the monster's feet. The enemy then was a common long-blade mantis, level 5, HP 300, attack 50, defense 8, skill, long blade chaotic dance. It rapidly swings its twin pincers, dealing double damage. But it wasn't just one. While fleeing, the party's mage tripped. Another mantis lunged in, its sharp pincers raised threateningly, seeing their companion in danger. Lin Dan shouted, you go ahead, I'll hold them back. Judging by the armor, her class was likely a melee warrior. I'm the front line. There's no way the front abandons the rear and runs. I'll handle this. The mage scrambled up in panic and fled. Gritting her teeth, Lin Dan gripped her sword and charged into the mantises. The gap was too great. A mantis only needed to swing its pincer to trigger its skill. Lin Dan could only block and couldn't counterattack. In a lapse, a mantis suddenly attacked from behind, its razor-sharp pincer slicing into her back. She screamed in pain, thinking she was about to die when the system popped up. Congratulations, player, hidden class activated. The blow was so heavy she coughed, bracing her sword on the ground to stay upright. A strange system voice said it was in the process of awakening. Regaining strength, Lin Dan tightened her grip on the sword. Feeling energy surge through her, superior swordsmanship and agile speed turned her into someone else, launching into a frenzied fight. Strangely, every slash was perfectly precise, powerful, and markedly different from when the mantises had been chasing her. Wherever Lin Dan swung, mantises fell. Finally, exhausted, she planted the tip of her sword into the ground. The move had drained her completely, but it was entirely worth it. Around her now lay a scattered pile of mantis corpses. A gust of energy flowed in, sharpening her mind like never before. The system announced the hidden class she'd awakened, Azure Dawn Sword. After the flashback ended, Lin Dan lay still, one hand pressed to her forehead, thoughts racing. The combat felt so real that she noticed clear changes in her body, even in the real world. She suddenly thought of something important. If the catastrophe Hai Sen mentioned really happened, could she protect everyone? Lin Dan held her hand out, feeling the power flowing through her, then clenched her fist, filled with resolve. If even this power couldn't withstand such a disaster, what hope would ordinary people have? Without further thought, Lin Dan sat up and picked up the family photo on her bedside. Whether she joined that organization or not, the four-person Lin family was still her happiest place. Looking at the photo, she resolved to grow stronger quickly and protect her loved ones herself. At the same time, in the next room, Lin Yuan was quietly gazing at the family photo too. His thoughts differed slightly from his sister's. What concerned him now was that moving shouldn't be postponed any longer. All his energy needed to go to the game, and he couldn't always worry about lurking dangers. He wanted his parents and sister to live peaceful days. In the city, at the real estate office for the upscale apartment complex, an attendant greeted him respectfully. "Good evening, sir." The saleswoman warmly welcomed Lin Yuan. "Are you here to view a unit today?" He didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. "Are there any villas with finished interiors? Security must be absolutely top-notch." The saleswoman, momentarily skeptical and wondering if someone so young could afford a place here, worried about wasting time on a false lead, subtly cautioned, "Sir, have you looked into the prices in this area? Here." Lin Yuan recognized her pragmatic thought. He pulled out his bank card. "I haven't checked, but it should be enough." At the sight of the black card, the saleswoman's eyes lit up like floodlight. It was a special VIP card, reserved only for clients with a minimum balance of tens of millions of yuan. She cried out in delight, drawing everyone's attention in the office. "Welcome home, honored owner. Employee number 2345 at your full service." A short while later, Lin Yuan escorted Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin to the new villa. Mrs. Lin held the paperwork in her hands, still in disbelief. Yuan, did I hear wrong? Is this really our new home?" He led his parents around to see each amenity. When they reached the pool, Mrs. Lin couldn't help exclaiming, "A private pool. Just like in the movies, it's spectacular." Mr. Lin inspected the spacious bedroom and remarked, "This bed is enormous." The new home was fully furnished. Both parents couldn't hide their delight as they wandered through and admired everything. After the excitement, Mrs. Lin worriedly asked, "How many years will you have to pay the mortgage for this? Or should we just go back to the old house?" Mr. Lin nodded in agreement. "Your mother is right. I don't want you to be under pressure." He only smiled and reassured them. "There's no mortgage. I used prize money from past matches and income from the game to pay it off. Don't worry, I'll be in the next room. Mainly, I'll just stay home and focus on gaming." Seeing their son independent and successful, his parents accepted the new home with relief. Mr. Lin wrapped his arm around his wife. "I never thought I'd live in a villa in my lifetime." Mrs. Lin smiled happily. "It's thanks to our son's fortune. He grew up in a flash and learned to shoulder responsibility." In the end, the two happily accepted the new house. Lin Yuan watched them with a satisfied smile. That afternoon, while strolling around the neighborhood near their new home, Lin Yuan walked and considered the villa's security, feeling somewhat reassured. In the small alley, he even planned to teach his parents to try the game so they would be prepared in case of trouble with the order organization. Suddenly, his keen instincts put him on guard. He realized someone was approaching. Ahead was a group of men armed with clubs. Their leader laughed loudly. "Finally got you." On closer look, Lin Yuan immediately recognized Zhao Qi, the guild captain of Black Tree in real life, with that unmistakably shiny, slick-back hair. When enemies meet, the one who strikes first holds the advantage. Zhao Qi charged forward. "Weren't you supposed to be good at fighting? Don't fake it in real life. Smash him for me." The thug surged forward. The soldier who always hung at Zhao Qi's side was the first to reach Lin Yuan, swinging his club straight at his head. Lin Yuan leaned aside to dodge, conveniently activating his stealth skill, then taunted, "Too slow." The iron club missed and slammed into the ground with a thunderous clang, startling the entire gang. In an instant, Lin Yuan's figure materialized in front of Zhao Qi, and he delivered a punch that left him dazed, blood spurting from his nose. The rest were quickly dealt with, as he handed out one heavy punch to each of them. Zhao Qi collapsed, coughing up blood, his mind clouded in confusion. Was his opponent human or demon? Before he could collect himself, an iron pipe was already thrust down close to his face. Lin Yuan stepped on his chest and said coldly, "Seems you don't value your life much, do you?" He was annoyed by these leech-like people. In the game you can revive, but in real life, getting impaled by an iron pipe means meeting your ancestor. Only then did Zhao Qi truly feel fear. He whimpered and pleaded, "Wait, I was wrong, please spare me, big brother. I'm still useful, I know of a hidden quest." Hearing the words hidden quest piqued Lin Yuan's interest, so he stopped and ordered coldly, "Speak." Trembling under his feet, Zhao Qi told him, "I know there's a blacksmith in the capital named Hu Kayan. He often issues ore-gathering tasks. When you reach enough favor with him, he'll forge you a piece of golden equipment." Hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately compared it to what he knew from his previous life. Indeed, someone had obtained golden gear thanks to this NPC. It seems Zhao Qi wasn't lying this time, though he remained icy, showing no further emotion. "Is that so?" Lin Yuan replied coldly, then suddenly crushed the iron bar in his hand. The sound of splintering metal screeching through the air. He warned sternly, "I suggest you don't do anything stupid, because I have many ways to deal with you, both in-game and in real life. If you dare touch my family, this will be the consequence." He paused for a beat, then snapped the iron bar in half with one hand to underscore his warning. Zhao Qi went pale, cold sweat soaking his back. He trembled and whimpered, I understand." In the game that evening in the capital Zima, the Moonlit Tavern was packed with players. Every table was bustling. In a corner of the tavern, two people clinked their beer mugs while enjoying three steaming hot dishes. Huakayan set down his beer with a surprised look, his voice a bit loud enough to draw a few glances. You mean you can supply me 100 units of ore? You're not joking, right? You look so clean, doesn't look like a miner at all. If you really can do it, I'll forge you a weapon for free. Opposite Huakayan sat Lin Yuan, who thought with quiet satisfaction, looks like Zhao Qi wasn't lying. The next step is to go mine. As he stood to leave, a commotion erupted across the tavern. A scar-faced man had grabbed a woman's hand and was forcing her. Hey, where are you rushing off to? Have a drink with. The woman, drunk and wearing rather revealing clothes, tried to pull away. Get off me, I don't know you. She shoved his hand away angrily. Don't touch me. The scar-faced man soothed her. Come on, just come with me. I promise I won't do anything. Witnessing this, Lin Yuan hadn't planned to intervene, but when the scar-faced man caused trouble, he didn't hesitate to act. The scar-faced man snarled aggressively. What are you staring at? You think I'll gouge your eyes out? In the next instant, there was a loud impact as the scar-faced man was flung across the room by Lin Yuan. The rescued woman, half sober and slurring, thanked him. Thank you, Lin Yuan. You're so handsome. Thank you, thank you. Let me buy you a drink. Seeing she was still out of it, Lin Yuan declined firmly. No need. The woman staggered after him, babbling as she walked, then nearly fell over. Lin Yuan turned back in time to catch her. One hand on her back, the other holding her wrist, not unlike two people dancing. She blushed from the alcohol, stammered a few words, then collapsed asleep in an utterly compromising position. Lin Yuan was at a loss for words, and reluctantly carried her back to his room, laid her temporarily on the bed, and then slipped out quiet. That night at the poisonous snake mine, the lights shone brightly, illuminating every vein of ore. The sound of mining never ceased. The workers here were the jiangshi he controlled, and he only had to supervise, occasionally holding up a sample of iron ore to inspect. He calculated that at the Min Realm Gate, there were currently 12 jiangshi with dog heads, enough to extract a large amount of ore in a short time. Suddenly, a violent explosion sounded from behind, shaking the flock of jiangshi and disrupting the mining progress. Immediately after, a pack of mole rats burst out of the darkness. The system instantly sent info. Rabid mole rat, common level 10, HP 1200, attack 70, defense 15, skill, rabid mauling, repeated attacks increase damage by 10%. Lin Yuan promptly summoned scorpion jiangshi to deal with them. The little mole rats were nothing against the scorpions. A few tail strikes and they were all swept away. Lin Yuan quickly collected the bodies and converted them into jiangshi, reinforcing his undead army and making his tactics more varied and effective. But it seemed tonight was far from peaceful. A much louder explosion sounded behind him, enough to catch Lin Yuan's attention. In the distance, a gigantic rat was chasing a small silhouette and barreling straight toward the area where he stood. The system flashed a notification. Rabid Mole Rat Warlord, level 16, HP 3800, attack 300, defense 150, skills, Rabid Pursuit, keen sense of smell. Lin Yuan immediately drew his sword into a defensive stance. Is this the mine boss? Someone deliberately led the monster. The person running ahead of the boss suddenly raised a gleaming golden staff. Activated a skill, but the golden effect didn't target the boss. It shot straight at Lin Yuan. Realizing he couldn't dodge, he voluntarily took the hit. The system immediately notified. Old Sun Taeyong has cast holy armor on you, plus 20 defense for 60 seconds. Lin Yuan was surprised. This was a buff skill of a priest. Elsewhere in the mine, a blonde youth clutching a pole watched in bewilderment as the iron ore vanished into thin air. Seeing the priest from the triangular iron supergod breaking off from the group, he took the chance to turn on his recording device to get some fame. Toward Lin Yuan, Taeyong was running and shouting, "Hey, I didn't mean to lead monsters here. You run. If I'm the only one causing trouble, I'll take the blame myself." At that moment, the insect recorder had begun live streaming. Viewers started at just 15, but the first comments appeared, soloing the boss. Is the priest from Jinghua Shuyu's guild really that op? That priest moves like an assassin. The priest is fighting now. Lin Yuan smiled, finding the guy oddly endearing, still full of pride at a time like this and having just spent a fortune on a villa. With the boss coming to his doorstep, what could be more entertaining? His image also popped up on the livestream. Within minutes, viewers spiked from 15 to 70, then 130. Comments poured in. Why does this guy look familiar? Is this the world boss solo legend? Grab a seat, this is going to be good. Why hasn't the legend acted yet? Hurry up. Taeyong was running out of breath, and the boss was savage, slashing wildly with its claws. Just as Taeyong was about to return to the respawn point, Lam Yuan held his sword up in front, blocking and catching the boss's kick. Tai Duong froze in astonishment. You are. At the same time, in a verdant village, Zhao Qi was also watching the livestream. Seeing this scene, he could only sigh. Losing to this kind of monster is nothing to be ashamed of. Nearby, a trio walked past. The leader complained irritably about some great player spamming the whole network, and the swordsman beside him agreed. But when the topic turned to skill, Zhao Qi said confidently, "Honestly, the Berserk God only has guild and class advantages. In raw technique, no one beats the great player." No Yan, provoked, turned to glare. But Zhao Qi remained unbothered and even turned the livestream on for everyone to watch. When pressed, he laughed. "Come on, the Berserk God is just modest. In times without real heroes, new names can rise." No Yan heard that and asked his teammates, "Is that kid still livestreaming?" Someone confirmed, "Yes, right inside the ore mine." So the guy pulled the group to notify the guild. "Everyone online, follow me." Back at the mine, Lam Yuan tossed the rat aside and then hacked at it dozens of times. Tai Duong behind him wanted to help but simply said, "You can go now. The one who has a grudge is me." Sure enough, the boss shifted its attack toward him. With a thunderous crash, the boss stomped the ground hard, cracking the earth. But Lam Yuan nimbly dodged. He launched a green fireball. The orb exploded on the boss, and it roared in fury. The livestream swelled to over 1,200 viewers, comments flooding in. "Insane technique, study it frame by frame. Steady monster aggro, so fast it's hard to track. My god, the great player really fights monsters with a different mindset." The angrier the boss became, the harder it attacked, but every move was within Lam Yuan's plan. Behind him, a pack of corpse wolf ghouls suddenly leapt up and bit into the berserk ground rat boss, causing it to collapse in pain. Lam Yuan stopped in front of it and said coolly, "Getting so mad you forget to watch your back only brings loss. But you don't need to understand that lesson." He nonchalantly drove his sword into the boss's eye. Fresh blood spurted. The berserk ground rat thrashed in pain, flinging the undead off its body. At that moment, the head dog zombie leapt high and swung its war hammer down on the boss's head, blood spraying everywhere. While his minions coordinated the attack, Lam Yuan slipped on gloves and threw a punch that shook the entire mine. The boss's skull split open. Comments on the livestream kept popping up. "Who exactly is the boss? Husband hit me, husband hit me." Someone marveled, "I'm convinced by this great player." The system announced, "Congratulations, you have defeated the Berserk Chain Rat level. Lord leveled up to 15, received equipment, Ambush Dagger and Swift Boots." Lam Yuan quickly checked the stats. Ambush Dagger, White Silver, plus 20 attack, plus 5 attack speed, plus 25 agility. Passive, every 6 attacks the next strike gains 10% extra speed. Swift Boots, White Silver, plus 30 agility, plus 5 movement speed. Skill Fleet Step, out of combat increases movement speed by an additional 10. Tai Duong's eyes lit up, worshipping Lam Yuan. "That moves, you're the great player who single-handedly killed the Death Dire Wolf, right? Great player, add me as a friend. I'll back you up later. Together we'll be invincible." Lam Yuan had no intention of dragging it out. He turned his back coldly and left. "You have the wrong person." Tai Duong still couldn't fully believe it. "No way, I've watched your videos so many times, I'd recognize you even if you turned to ash." As Tai Duong spoke and trailed after him, a blazing fireball suddenly shot straight at Lam Yuan's back. The sword flashed, a perfect arc cleaving the fireball in midair. Lam Yuan spun around, dispersing the sneak attack from behind. Outside the mine entrance, a crowd appeared, blocking every exit. No Yan led them, laughing loudly and taunting. "Let's see if he still recognizes him when he's turned to ash." A few in the group sneered dismissively, making a fuss over some trash. Someone objected. "What are you saying? He's a great player." Another said, "Turn on the live stream so everyone can see what happens when you anger Guild Wrath. And remember the face of our guild leader No Yan, the strongest player in the West." Lam Yuan remained silent, thinking, "Guild Wrath wants to show off to me. Fine, gear delivered to my door, why refuse it?" He activated the system flag for malicious surrounded attack. Counter window 15 minutes. During this time, killing surrounding attackers won't count as a crime. A golden staff flashed before him, causing Lam Yuan some surprise. Tai Duong gripped the staff and declared grandly, "I've waited for this day, shoulder to shoulder in battle, I'll shine in this slaughtering hell. In the name of this bond, I'll protect the important person." Lam Yuan half laughed, half crying, "Who's your core? Stand back and stop getting in the way." On the other side, No Yan arrogantly shouted, "You worthless piece of trash, listen up." Before he could finish, Lam Yuan lunged forward and slapped him hard across the face with an open hand. Everything happened in a flash. No Yan flew back and slammed into the stone wall of the mine. At that moment, there were 5,630 people watching the livestream. Comments exploded. "Already slapped." No Yan took the hit for the great player, speechless. Viewers cheered in awe. The great player just killed a boss and now he's taking on a whole gang. No Yan, furious, clutched his face, sprang up and roared, "Damn it, what guild wouldn't want to beat someone up? Charge, kill him for me." The crowd, not caring about right or wrong, rushed forward on command. A shield-bearing warrior signaled orders, "Follow my command." Warriors up front, mages and priests behind, archers keep moving. I don't believe he can withstand it alone. Lam Yuan quickly analyzed. These guys coordinate well. Deal with the backline first. He immediately activated stealth, his body blurring and then vanishing. The warrior's thrust missed. Annoyed, he cursed. Damn it, he stealthed. Mage, use your purge skill. The female mage behind hadn't yet had time to cast her skill when a cold voice sounded from behind. Too late. In the blink of an eye, Lam Yuan had taken down 2 mages, leaving them stunned before they could return to their respawn point. Behind us. Someone shouted in panic. No Yan swung his sword and yelled, "Don't think you're clever. You just killed a boss. You must be low on HP. We outnumber you, Chard." Comments on the livestream erupted. First time seeing a group bully one person like it's life or death. No Yan tried to save face and dangled a reward. Whoever kills him, come to me to collect rewards based on damage dealt, no limit. The crowd grew more excited and rushed into the fight shouting. Just then, Corpse Childling barreled in, creating a sea of flames to attack Lam Yuan. The narrow terrain kept them from unleashing their full strength, but it still created significant difficulty. Viewers commented, even a top player couldn't survive being besieged like this, but then they gasped. The great player flew out of the sea of flame. The Guild Wrath Bunch gave chase, shouting, "That trash is about to run, Datan, kill him quickly." No Yan shouted loudly, "Chase him down, don't let him escape." While the group pursued, Lam Yuan hid atop the cavern. No Yan still boasted, "Today I'll catch the turtle in the jar." Before he finished speaking, Lam Yuan dove down and delivered a skyfelling kick that sent No Yan flying. He spat blood where he landed. He sprang up clutching his mouth and cursed, "Cowardly, what's so great about ambushing?" Before he could finish, Lam Yuan's blade was at his throat, silencing No Yan so he dared not utter another word. After a moment, No Yan screamed in panic, "Quickly call people over, he's here." Lam Yuan kept a calm expression and leaned close to whisper in his ear, "They won't be able to come back. But I want to know, by leading an entire squad to its death like this, will your berserk god hold you accountable?" Hearing that, No Yan was too frightened to speak and could only plead incoherently. At the same time, at the location of the Phoenix Sui Za Guild group, the Ghoul Legion Lam Yuan had summoned struck. Before anyone could make sense of it, the system confirmed. The corpse rampage skill had been activated. The ghouls immediately surged forward to tear apart the people, standing right before No Yan. Witnessing this, he screamed in horror, "What exactly do you want to do?" Lam Yuan nonchalantly sheathed his sword and replied calmly, "Go ask them yourself." Then as swift as lightning, he ended No Yan with a throat-cutting strike. By then the livestream viewers had exceeded 10,000. Comments exploded. "Oh my god, I knew it. How could the great player make such a stupid mistake? No Yan was like a clown, wrecked the formation. Easier than grinding monsters. Incredible, flawless technique." Right after No Yan fell, a special weapon dropped from his body. Seeing the item, Lam Yuan smiled with satisfaction. "Unexpected loot beyond my plan. Better gather all the gear and leave. This place is about to get uncontrollably crowded." The system displayed, Bloodthirsty Twin Grip, Golden Weapon, plus 50 physical attack, plus 20 attack speed, plus 30 critical, with skill Life Leech. 10% of damage dealt converts to the user's HP. The next morning, Lam Yuan went to Huo Jian, bringing ore as a gift. Huo Jian was moved and praised without reservation. "Oh, I take back what I said before. You really are a capable young man. If possible, please come by often. I still need a lot of ore." The system immediately confirmed the blacksmith's favorability increased by 100, now at friendly. On the way back, Lam Yuan walked while thinking about Huo Jian's task. He only accepts up to 100 iron ore ingots per day. It looks like a long-term assignment, but this mining haul will last a month. The gear looted from Guild Wrath this time was too much. Selling everything to Han Cheng could cause trouble, while selling to individual players is hassle but quick. However, relying solely on leads from the guild would be passive, so he decided to follow the existing traces. Lam Yuan recalled from his past life that the Lieutenant of Cultist No. 1 once had the ability to control snakes. Perhaps the clue lay with the serpent civilization in the sewer. With that in mind, he promptly went to the sewer area to search for information. There he encountered Rat Spirit. Lam Yuan used Flame Wrath to complete the task of killing 30 rat spirits as requested by Chief Constable Sadhu. The quest wasn't too difficult, but the sewers contained a hidden dungeon. The Brood of Serpent Love, which can drop the Blood Flesh Seed, a rare item that permanently boosts attributes. However, the hidden dungeon has a weekly entry limit. If it becomes known, it will be fiercely contested, so the Necro must secure the entrance first. You just need to find the room that contains snakes. That's the right spot. As he pressed deeper, Lam Yuan suddenly felt that something was wrong. Then a loud explosion unexpectedly rang out behind him. He turned around and discovered a gigantic snake crawling toward him. Could the snakes in the serpent nest really grow this large? The system displayed, Radiant Serpent King, level LV60, all stats unknown. Lam Yuan dared not risk a fight and immediately fled, his worry growing. Encountering a level 60 monster here meant if it hit him, he'd almost certainly lose levels and drop gear like nothing. He activated his stealth skill, but the Radiant Serpent King kept on his tail, whipping its tail so water from the sewers splashed everywhere. Seeing the skill had no effect, Lam Yuan grew anxious and kept thinking of how to use the terrain to his advantage. He smartly ran into a narrow corner, observing the Radiant Serpent King. Unable to find him, it flew into a rage and smashed everything, leaving destruction in its wake. "This is bad, we can't stop it." Lam Yuan panted, running while scheming. He quickly summoned Surveillance Scorpion Undead to hold it back. Meanwhile, he thought to grab Thunder Iron to buy time, using magic against magic, believing it could prolong things. The Radiant Serpent King and the squad of Surveillance Scorpions lunged into fierce combat, temporarily restraining the giant snake, but it continued to pursue Lam Yuan. After running a bit farther, he spotted an escape route above, so he kicked the Radiant Serpent King's tail, used the momentum to launch himself up, and escaped the sewer. When he landed safely, Lam Yuan looked back and saw the Radiant Serpent King still watching him through the drain hole, tongue flicking menacingly. He merely glanced at it and then turned away, thinking to himself, a monster like that can't really cause much trouble here. After all, this place. While Lam Yuan was still wondering where he'd ended up, he suddenly recognized a familiar statue, the Western Mahjong Imperial Palace. This was where the National Suppression Taoist was stationed, and any beast or monster that wandered near would be wiped out without exception. On the Radiant Serpent King's side, after confirming the intruder had left, it quietly vanished back into the darkness. Back with Lam Yuan, he began to connect the recent events. The Serpent Civilization and the Western Mahjong State had a deep blood feud. The Western Mahjong's superior strength forced some serpent people underground to seek revenge. Whenever any behemoth or monster came near the Imperial Palace, the National Suppression Taoist would eliminate it without hesitation. No matter how strong the Radiant Serpent King was, it couldn't stand against the National Suppression Taoist. Perhaps the Serpent Brood's den was nearby. Following this trail would surely yield valuable information. With that thought, Lam Yuan came up with a new idea. To avoid another clash with a terrifying monster like the Radiant Serpent King, it would be best to try his luck at the market and buy snake lures to attract low-level serpent beasts. These potions only entice small snakes, so he wouldn't risk summoning the boss by mistake. No sooner said than done. He immediately went into the city and bought 2 bottles of snake lure. The system displayed, snake lure, emits a special scent that attracts low-level serpent beasts. The shopkeeper gratefully thanked him and hoped he'd come again. At that moment, Oljir Taiduong reappeared, grinning broadly. "I've traveled all over Feng Shuiza just to find you, old friend, long time no see." Seeing him, Lam Yuan sighed inwardly in exasperation. Of all people, it was the same name hunted by the mine boss. Kunayan Tai Yang stepped forward excitedly with an invitation. "Friend first, comrade. Finding you on this vast map wasn't easy, but I feel our souls are truly connected." Lam Yuan replied coldly, "What's up?" The system also notified, "Kunayan Tai Yang has sent a friend request." He didn't hide it, of course there's a reason. "Hey, want to team up to clear the Tunjai Valley dungeon? Fighting shoulder to shoulder will definitely be faster." Seeing Lam Yuan coolly decline, he ran to cut him off and kept coaxing. "Wait, comrade, don't you think the Super God Iron Triangle sounds awesome? Join us." And with Leng Yue Tingyan added, the 4 of us form the Super God Quadrilateral, wings for one another, awakening the world together. Hearing that name made Lam Yuan narrow his eyes. Leng Yue, Guildmaster of Jiang Hua Shu Yue, ranked 2nd in Feng Shuiza, is also a core member of the Order organization, one of the 9 founders. This was a chance to get close to both the Order and the top cultist, but the hidden dungeon resets its entries tomorrow. If he missed it, he'd forfeit the week's rewards, so it was best to grab the loot first and then approach Leng Yue. With that in mind, Lam Yuan accepted the friend request. The system confirmed Kunayan Tai Yang was added to his list. Lam Yuan hurriedly excused himself. "Let's run the dungeon together next time, I'm really busy now." Kunayan Tai Yang agreed cheerfully. "Okay, I'll wait for your invite anytime, comrade." After parting, Lam Yuan returned to the dungeon to search for clues. From his past life experience, snakes usually appear around the entrance to hidden dungeons. Sure enough, after following the trail for a while, he found a crack in the ground with a mottled layer of yellowish slime. On high alert, he saw small snakes begin to crawl out, the monsters of the serpent brood lair. Lam Yuan stayed cautious and summoned the stone-breaking dog-head undead overseer to assist. When he located the nest, he was elated. He'd finally found it. Inside the den, a wavering flame burned. A few dry skeletons lay about, and a message appeared. You have entered the hidden dungeon Serpent Brood Lair. Inside are normal serpent broodlings, level 10, HP 1000, Bloodflesh Seed plus 500, Attack 100, Defense 10, Skill, Bloodflesh Condensation. Serpent broodlings can condense bloodflesh seeds within their bodies to increase their HP. Without hesitation, Lam Yuan summoned the surveillance scorpion undead and charged into battle. He ordered decisively, wipe them all out. Seconds later, the system confirmed the Aqua Lightning Rampage skill activated. A torrent of lightning rain hammered down on the broodlings, cleansing them entirely. After the kill, the broodlings left behind many bloodflesh seeds, a special item that permanently increases player attributes. The system asked, use bloodflesh seed. Primary attribute increases randomly from +1 to +5. Humanoid professions gain endurance +100. Lam Yuan tried picking up one seed and swallowed it on the spot. A notification appeared. You used a bloodflesh seed, spirit +3, endurance 100. He quickly did the math. Wiping the dungeon once a week could net hundreds of seeds, each worth at least 4-5 gold on the market. That meant he wouldn't lack money even without joining a guild. Each time he used a bloodflesh seed, the system announced, you used a bloodflesh seed. Physique +5, endurance 100. Strength +3, endurance 100. Spirit +4, endurance 100. After a while, Lam Yuan paused and focused on fusing the seeds he had just eaten. Once the fusion completed, he continued to consume more. The system reported, you used a bloodflesh seed, spirit +3, endurance 100. Player Lam Yuan level 15, profession, Forbidden Death Spirit Hunter talent, Dark Summoning, Gate of the Underworld, 89-150, Strength, 77, Constitution, 101, Agility, 119, Spirit, 318, Experience, 2040-16739. Receiving this info, Lam Yuan inwardly rejoiced, thinking, that's enough for now. Stash the remaining 900 bloodflesh seeds and sell them gradually once I can rent a shop. From now on, just sweep the dungeon once a week. He then summoned 3 undead dog-headed lieutenants to guard the end. With those 3 death spirits on watch, no one would dare approach the cave. For a short while, this place would remain undiscovered. Looking closer, Lam Yuan realized the snakes here were unlike the ones he'd controlled before. Could they possess some mutation ability? A level 60 monster absolutely shouldn't appear at this stage. While he was thinking, his phone signaled a call from Lam Dan. The system displayed, incoming call from reality, your sister is calling. Lam Yuan was surprised, wondering, I letter 1EC3 you Dan calling me out of the blue, could something be wrong? He anxiously answered, I letter 1EC3 you Dan, what's up? She hesitated and replied, nothing, I just wanted to ask if you've eaten. Lam Yuan pretended, I've eaten. Suddenly, Nhu Yen's voice sprang up, startling them both. Class president's brother. Actually, the class president wanted to ask if you'd be available to help sweep a dungeon. Though unsure, Lam Yuan replied, maybe. He still wondered. I letter 1EC3 you Dan asked me to run a dungeon. Unexpectedly, Vuong Vim's voice rang out mockingly. See, I told you, Lam Dan's lying, her brothers all talk. Not even asking which dungeon, so confident. Are these siblings coordinating to lie? They sure are in sync. Du Hong chimed in. Right, Vim bro, how about we pick the hero-level Ashen Valley dungeon? No one has cleared it yet. Lam Dan, prideful, shouted, hero-level Ashen Valley, did you hear me? Vuong Vim sneered, Ashen Valley too, stop making stuff up. You two are liars and your parents are no better. Lam Dan snapped angrily, you. Lam Yuan said in a low voice, okay, I letter 1EC3 you Dan, don't argue with him. I'll head to Ashen Valley right away. True to his word, Lam Yuan opened the hero-level Ashen Valley dungeon. When joining the game, Lam Dan worried for a moment. Did I just cause extra trouble for him? Suddenly someone called, I letter 1EC3 you Dan. She turned and was surprised to see Thien had just joined the party. Thien said angrily, I heard this morning a classmate congratulated you on moving into a villa and Vuong Vim overheard. That guy's despicable. I'm here to back you up. Make him apologize to you in front of the class later. Lam Dan gratefully thanked her. Right after, Vuong Vim's group also joined the team. He muttered, we do need witnesses. Let's see who gets embarrassed later. As the dungeon opened, the system announced, Vim Thiu Vo Song and hired teams have joined the party. Vuong Vim loudly demanded, do you know who I am? How dare you touch my people? No sooner had he finished than Lam Yuan slapped him hard across the face, blood streaming from his nose and mouth. He barked coldly, no matter who you think you are, if you yap and bite people, you must suffer the consequences. Vuong Vim was slammed into the wall and lay unconscious. Du Hong shouted angrily, the dungeon requires at least 6 players. If you knock out 2 of my hires, how are we supposed to enter? Lam Yuan replied tersely, if we're short, I'll handle it. You just shut up and wait. Lam Yuan replied tersely, if we're short on people, I'll handle it myself. You just shut up and wait. Seeing that, Lam Yuan proactively threatened Du Hong and the hired crew, coldly declaring, "I'll take care of any missing members myself, no need to worry." Lam Yuan thought with satisfaction that the Hoi Tun Kai Kok dungeon would drop a combat skill, something he'd definitely need later. Incidentally, he could call Kunayan Taiyang to get closer to Leng Yue. The system reported it had sent a team invite to Kunayan Taiyang. Thin whispered to Lam Dan, "Zio Dan, your brother's awesome and so cool." She only replied, "Really, he's just okay." Vuong Vim sprang to his feet and roared, "Trash like you poor losers, who would take you seriously? You're probably too pathetic to even take down the little mobs in the dungeon." Du Hong added, "Vim, isn't that the great elder from the super god Iron Triangle?" Just then Kunayan Tai Yang appeared and spoke. "When the bell of fate rings, you and I are destined to drown in an ocean of ambition with no turning back." The system announced Kunayan Tai Yang had joined the team and teleportation was successful. Hearing this, everyone buzzed. "Damn, it's Elder Kunayan, the main priest of Jiang Hua Shu Yue, the guild ranked second in Zaimo." Du Hong acted adorably. "Elder Kunayan, would you lead us into the dungeon? Thank you so much." Thin tensed at the name. "Kunayan Tai Yang is here too. A great elder like that wouldn't join a random pickup group." Lam Dan only replied, "I'm not sure either." Kunayan Tai Yang's eyes glittered like stars as he rushed forward to embrace Lam Yuan, smiling broadly. "Comrade, you finally remembered me. I knew it. You definitely bring me into the dungeon." Lam Yuan feigned disdain and pushed him away. "The two of us forming a super squad would work too." Vuong Vim shouted in shock. "What? Elder Kunayan asked that guy to bring him into the dungeon. How can that be? Isn't her brother just an ordinary player?" Du Hong panicked. "Brother Vim, did the elder join the wrong team? Let me go remind." Kunayan Tai Yang loudly confirmed. "Ordinary player my ass, I'm here for the comrade. He's the great elder among great elders, basically a god-tier player. Haven't you heard?" Lam Yuan shook his head. "Go on, enter the dungeon." Vuong Vim misread the situation and pointed at Lam Dan. "I get it now. So her brother hired players, but a hero-level dungeon like Hoi Tun Kai Kok hasn't even been beaten by the Rage Guild. What can a rank 2 guild priest like him do?" Lam Yuan opened the dungeon gate and snapped, "Shut up, watch how I clear this run." The system announced the team was entering Hoi Tun Kai Kok, hero difficulty. Quickly, the whole group entered the dungeon. The system displayed information. Hoi Tun Tich Ditch, monster level 18, HP 4700, attack 580, defense 75, skill. Inferno Spray spits fire to burn targets, applying a burn effect lasting 10 seconds. Thin exclaimed in surprise. That monster's stats are really strong. Lam Dan worried. "Is he really going to be okay? I wish I were at a higher level." Vuong Vim hissed to Du Hong. "He hired a priest to kill monsters, didn't he? I won't let him succeed. Lure the monsters over here." Du Hong obeyed immediately. Hoi Tun Tich Ditch was provoked by Du Hong's fire and instantly roared in anger, drawing its kin to the spot. Thin panicked. "Why did so many monsters appear as soon as we entered?" Lam Dan grew uneasy too. "That didn't happen in the video." Vuong Vim gloated. "Your luck really sucks." Tai Yang was enthusiastic. "This situation is worth fighting for." Lam Yuan immediately summoned the Surveillance Scorpion Undead. It activated the Aqua Lightning Rampage skill. Lightning strikes pounded straight onto the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch mob, scattering the monster. Riding the momentum, he instructed the team, "Everyone, protect yourselves well." Before she could recover, he lunged in at incredible speed, taking each one down with a single strike on the spot. At the same time, a Hoi Tun Tich Ditch charged toward Lam Dan. She quickly said, Thin, hide behind my back." Thin nodded, "Be careful." Just then, Lam Yuan turned back in time and rescued his sister, shouting, "Don't move." Seeing her brother had felled so many monsters in the blink of an eye, Lam Dan thought in amazement. So he's actually this strong in the game. Lam Yuan gently ruffled his sister's hair to comfort. "Don't worry, with me here I absolutely won't let you get hurt." Lam Dan heard this and blushed, embarrassed. Lam Yuan gave a small smile. Standing beside them, Thin's eyes sparkled with admiration. "Having a brother like that is so nice." Vuong Vim, oblivious, sneered. "Finally I see it, Ashen Valley isn't as hard as they say. One person is enough to dominate. With his silver-grade gear, how could Lam Yuan be inferior to them?" Du Hong chimed in. "Right, Vim's gear. There's no way they could afford that even in their dream." Vuong Vim boasted loudly. "You idiots, look closely. This is the real power of my Vim." Saying that, he rushed in to attack the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch. But before he could show off, it slapped him and sent him sprawling face first. He howled in pain and was knocked over to where Lam Yuan stood. Gritting his teeth, he cursed. "Damn it, what a strong monster. It hurts like hell." Lam Yuan showed no mercy and taunted. "If you want to die, wait until I clear the door, then go ahead." Lam Yuan waved and summoned a weapon. He had planned to give a golden grade item to Zio Dan, but for now could only offer a silver grade. He called forth the Vo I battle armor and handed it to Lam Dan. This gear suits you, take it and use it. The armor set included vambraces and a breastplate. System info, VOI battle armor, silver grade, equipment type, effects, constitution plus 50, critical damage plus 15, grants skill soul of VOI. On a critical hit, 8% of defense converts into an equivalent shield. Du Hong's eyes lit up at the gear. Wow, so cool. You can buy a bunch of designer stuff even with a silver item. It's worth hundreds of thousands more. Yet he showed no hesitation. But Lam Dan still shook her head and refused. You keep it for your own protection. I'll figure something out myself. He could only sigh, still stubborn as always. Respecting his sister's decision, Lam Yuan let her fight on her own, without top-tier gear. Lam Dan still fought very well, and Thien was no exception. Only Vuong Vim hurriedly fled. After a while, Lam Dan had slain quite a few monsters, fighting and telling herself, I can do this. The Hoi Tun Tich Ditch was struck repeatedly and screamed violently. Lam Dan grew exhausted, gasping for breath. The system reported her HP at only 24,4700. At the critical moment, Lam Yuan dashed in to save her. She breathed a silent sigh of relief. He really was the one. Even so, she tried to get back into the fight. Inside, Lam Yuan felt helpless and protective of his sister. He wanted to give her some gear, but it was difficult. At that moment, the two siblings found themselves surrounded by a group of Hoi Tun Tich Ditch. Thien stood by watching, understanding the pair's dynamic, one silently helping, the other stubborn despite knowing better. The siblings' coordination was even more entertaining than fighting monsters. After wiping out the mobs, the group pressed on into the boss chamber. Taeyong breathed a sigh of relief. Finally here, the boss is just inside. He immediately changed his tune, wanting to back out. Tricor, let's leave. If we exit the dungeon now we won't be penalized, but if we die we'll lose levels and drop gear. It's too risky. Lam Yuan pretended to agree. You're right. Vuong Vim took him seriously and mocked at once. Brave against little mobs, but trembling at the boss. Thien gently comforted Lam Dan. Zio Dan, your brother getting the whole group this far is already impressive. Lam Dan blamed herself. If I were stronger, I wouldn't have caused him extra trouble. At this point Lam Yuan spoke sincerely. The death penalty is severe. You all don't need to intervene. Let me handle it alone. He immediately summoned his regiment of Jiangshi. Seeing the vast army of the undead, Vuong Vim was stunned. What is this? So many summoned beasts, who exactly is he? Taeyong explained, you've teamed with Tricor and still don't know his strength. He soloed world bosses, beat the Blood Dusk Guild. Of everyone I know, he's the strongest. The final boss is the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King, currently drunkenly asleep in its lair. At that moment, someone attacked it with a blaze of fire, causing the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King to jolt awake and charge out to face Lam Yuan. System notice, Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King, level 21, HP 10,000, attack 1200, defense 300, skills, Inferno Spray, Flame Aegis Bite. Thien exclaimed in shock, 1200 attack, one hit and you'd be dead instant. Lam Dan worried and feared for her brother, blaming herself. She loudly volunteered to join the fight, trying to draw aggro away from him. But Taeyong quickly cast a crowd control skill to restrain her. System notice, Taeyong activated Holy Light Restraint. Held back, she was told, watch calmly. If you rush in you'll only cause more trouble for him. Lam Dan sulked, what did you just say? Taeyong charged in to assist, not forgetting to add, let's enjoy Tricor's dazzling moves. The boss activated a counterattack skill, and the battle officially began. Lam Yuan deftly dodged the boss's Inferno Spray, while quickly commanding the Jiangshi regiment to perfectly control the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King's skill range. On his command, the Jiangshi immediately sprang into action, and two death direwolves were also summoned by him, continuously attacking the boss from above. The Lesser Serpent also joined the fray, its coordinated assaults growing increasingly fierce. Lam Yuan timed the boss's skill cooldowns and allocated forces wisely, causing the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King to be assaulted from multiple directions. Taeyong watched the whole fight in admiration at his battlefield deployment, feeling as if Lam Yuan knew every stat of the monster. Lam Dan stood beside him, unbelieving. Could this really be her brother's true power? Du Hong also marveled. Lam Dan's brother is incredible. Come on, finish off that giant termite snake. Vuong Vim, meanwhile, was furious. Fearing he'd lose face in front of the class, plotted to sneak attack Lam Yuan, hoping the boss would finish him off. But Lam Yuan remained calm and swung his weapon into the boss's maw, making it go berserk and trigger bite. Fortunately, he dodged in time, mentally nodding the cooldown was 8 seconds and recognizing it as a prime opportunity to counterattack. At the same moment, Vuong Vim suddenly struck from behind, but Lam Yuan easily evaded. He even shoved him toward the boss, then disappeared with it. A powerful kick sent Vuong Vim flying straight into the boss's mouth. The system immediately announced Lam Yuan activated the corpse rampage skill, causing the area around the boss to explode. Both the boss and Vuong Vim suffered heavy damage. Shortly after, the system broadcast server-wide. Congratulations to the anonymous player and team for clearing the heroic difficulty dungeon Hoi Tun Valley for the first time. Thien shouted joyfully, I can't believe we really cleared it. Turning to Lam Dan, she asked excitedly, your brother is amazing. Can he take us through dungeons next time? Lam Dan was still stunned and answered hesitantly, he's very busy, maybe another time. Taeyong both congratulated and playfully challenged. This time Tricor showed off first. Next time I'll show you the pastor's peak power. At that moment, Duhong timidly asked, Big bro, can I add you as a friend? But Taeyong snapped harshly, shut up, I know now. You and the one who backstabbed Tricor are the same gang. Go die. With that he killed Duhong. The system reported Tri Du Vim Thiu had been slain. Immediately after, the system asked Lam Yuan if he wanted to use the dark summon technique on the corpse of the Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King. He confirmed at once. As a result, he tamed the undead Hoi Tun Tich Ditch King. Looking at the group, he said calmly, if the pests are cleared, split the loot. Xin shook her head again. You did all the fighting along the way. We wouldn't dare demand gear. Clearing the dungeon is reward enough. Lam Yuan only wanted the skill book and the scroll. He let the rest of the team divide the loot. The system quickly displayed the dropped gear. Hoi Tun Shielding Odor, Silver, Constitution plus 30, Movement Speed plus 20, Spirit plus 10, Skill. Inferno Dash plus 10% resistance to fire damage. Riot Following Guard Bracelet Bronze, Constitution plus 10, Strength plus 15, Critical Damage plus 5. Rotfire Longsword Bronze, Attack plus 15, Strength plus 5, Constitution plus 5. Agile Bloom Spear Bronze, Movement Speed plus 10, Constitution plus 10, Spirit plus 5. Taeyong chose the Hoi Tun Shielding Odor because his guild leader needed it, and he suggested buying back the other items to split equally among everyone. Thien was excited. We're getting rich. Lam Yuan replied blandly, do as you like, I don't need. Saying that, he turned to leave. That way Vuong Vim won't bother you anymore. If you run into trouble next time, tell me directly. I'm off to do quests. After walking a bit, Lam Dan hurriedly called back, wait brother. Lam Yuan asked in surprise, what's up? Need gear. Lam Dan looked at him flustered. Since the dungeon started, your moves have been incredible. I've never seen anyone summon so many beasts. Are you secretly chosen and hiding your skills? She hesitated and continued, since you started playing this game, have you noticed any changes in your body? That question made Lam Yuan think for a long while before answering. Am I being noticed? But Zio Dan has had contact with people from the Order organization, so I can't reveal my identity as a Zuling hunter. It's all just to protect. Lam Yuan decided to keep everything hidden and replied, no, nothing. Why do you ask? Do you feel something different? Lam Dan coughed awkwardly a few times and quickly said, no, nothing. Oh, I have a quest to turn in, so I'll go first. Watching his sister's retreating figure, Lam Yuan silently understood. She's grown up but still clumsy at acting. Yet the fact she asked him this time meant she acknowledged him as her brother. Right then Taeyong approached, calling cheerfully, Tricor. Lam Yuan turned and saw him leading a group of people. Taeyong said happily, good thing you're still here. Zio Yue just decided to open Koi T-letter 1 EABN Valley on death difficulty. I insisted we had to invite Tricor to join to be safe. Lam Yuan couldn't help but be surprised. He hadn't expected to get in touch with Ling Yue so quickly. Just as he wanted to investigate whether the top disciple was connected to Jiang Hua Shui Yue, he agreed. Fine, I'm also looking to test myself on death difficulty. Taeyong excitedly slung an arm around Lam Yuan. Feels great, no wonder you're Tricor. Let me introduce everyone. These are the core members of our guild. First, he introduced Ling Yue, the guild master of Jiang Hua Shui Yue, the famed cool beauty. Ling Yue stepped forward to greet him. Hello, I've heard of you for a long time. Welcome to join our core squad. Next was Tin Gan, the team's rare long-range offensive mage. He cut in immediately. Taeyong, I haven't accepted him as a teammate yet. Bringing a stray into death difficulty is too risky. If coordination fails, everyone suffers. I don't want to gamble, you get me. Taeyong looked displeased. Tin Gan, Tricor led me through the dungeon. But Tin Gan persisted. I've met plenty of braggarts like this. Fine, I'll give you one chance. If you can bring the boss down to half HP, I'll gift you a golden item. But if you fail and ruin the run for the team, you must cover all losses. Understand, there's still time to back out now. Lam Yuan responded proudly. Free golden gear sounds good, but I want witnesses, don't stiff me later. Ling Yue spoke up to stop it. All right, Tin Gan, inviting Taeyong's friend was decided already. There's nothing more to discuss. If anyone had objections, they should have spoken up earlier. Now let's enter the dungeon and cooperate. Tin and Gan remained unconvinced. Ling Yue, you're defending an outsider. The death penalty is severe. But Ling Yue firmly stood by her decision. Once I've decided, I won't change it. Start the dungeon. This only deepened Tin and Gan's resentment. He thought to himself, she'll see that this stray mutt can't be trusted. Only I am the one she truly needs. The group quickly entered the dungeon and immediately encountered common Hoi Tun Tich Ditch mobs, level 18, HP 4700, attack 580, defense 75, skill, Inferno Spray. No sooner had they set foot inside than monsters surrounded them, and everyone instantly took up battle stance. Taeyong panicked. The mob density in death dungeons is insane. We're surrounded as soon as we enter. Ling Yue drew her sword and said resolutely, I'll draw aggro. Everyone look for an opening to break the encirclement. Everyone coordinated under her command. Although Tin and Gan was displeased with Lam Yuan, he still activated his support skills, secretly hopping for a chance to teach this clingy leech a lesson. But unexpectedly, another wave of monsters appeared from the rear. Taeyong cried out in alarm. Tin and Gan quickly realized his oversight. We're doomed, I missed the rear. Ling Yue immediately rushed to relieve them and admonished him. What are you thinking? Pull yourself together. Just then, with everyone tense from being squeezed from both sides, Ko Nuyen also shouted, it's too late. I even using my war pet won't be enough to stop. Seeing this, Lam Yuan calmly stepped forward. Let me handle this spot. He summoned his regiment of Jiangshi, led by the one-horned undead bear, and the death direwolves surged forward to block the mobs. Lam Yuan fought his way in and with swift swordwork, quickly dispatched one Hoi Tun Tich Ditch. Seeing that, Gu Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. They're blocked, great, my battle pet doesn't have to be sacrificed. Watching Lam Yuan fight bravely only made Tin and Gan angrier. He thought to himself, you embarrassed me in front of Ling Yue. Don't expect to leave this dungeon alive, you country bump. Distracted, he was attacked by a Hoi Tun Tich Ditch, but Ling Yue arrived in time to save him. Tin and Gan hurried to explain. Ling Yue, earlier I. Before he could finish, she cut him off. Everyone, focus, no more distractions. At the guild leader's command, the team answered in unison. Gu Yuan and Tran Hung coordinated smoothly, and Taeyong quickly unleashed his power as well. Lam Yuan fought while surveying the whole field, while Tin and Gan kept probing, tensely searching for any weakness in him. At the same time, Ling Yue privately assessed Lam Yuan. He could analyze and neutralize threats in an instant. His reaction speed and control were rare, truly an outstanding talent. Once this run is over, we should invite him to try joining the guild. As for Tin and Gan, instead of focusing on the fight, he only looked for opportunities to make Lam Yuan lose face. Seeing Lam Yuan facing a monster, he pretended to be helpful. Let me support you, be careful not to get a stray hit. But Lam Yuan saw through his intent immediately and sidestepped, so Tin and Gan's lightning orb merely grazed path. At that moment, two common Hoi Tun Tich Ditch charged in from the front. Suddenly, Ling Yue took Lam Yuan's hand proactively and nimbly proposed, I'll handle the right, you take the left, understood. He replied at once, got it. Ling Yue pushed him forward, and they charged into battle together. The two coordinated extremely well, and in moments swept away a bunch of common Hoi Tun Tich Ditch. Ling Yue used her skill book, gracefully swinging her sword to fell many monsters, prompting Taeyong to exclaim, that combo is so intense. Gu Yuan also praised. The guild leader and that handsome guy worked so well together, mesmerizing to watch. Even Lam Yuan was surprised at Ling Yue's moves. It's the first time I've seen techniques like that. Are those job transition skills? Ling Yue replied modestly, I was just lucky to learn them from a skill book, nothing special. He still complimented, second-ranked guild really hides a lot of masters. Could I exchange techniques with some of your members? Taking the chance, Ling Yue answered back, if you want to learn more, just join Jiang Hua Shu Yue. Lam Yuan quickly declined, no thanks, I'm used to fighting solo. Her remark briefly reminded Ling Yue of the familiar image of Lam Yuan from real life. She narrowed her eyes, thinking, that smile really resembles his everyday look. Or is it just my imagination? Seeing her friendly toward Lam Yuan made Tin and Gan even more jealous and suspicious. What did that guy say to the guild leader to make her change her attitude like that? A few minutes later, Taeyong reported, I picked up quite a bit of gear. We can split it later. Xiao Yue, do we still proceed to the boss as planned? Ling Yue nodded. Yeah. At this point, Tin and Gan feigned goodwill. Wait, I want to apologize to this player. His strength really exceeds expectations. I propose letting him draw aggro for the next boss. Lam Yuan, seeing his intent clearly, replied, if I tank, I won't get to attack the boss, and I certainly can't pull its HP down to half as agreed. Are you reluctant to give up the golden item? Tin and Gan put on a casual face. You're overthinking it. Just complete the task and I'll give you the gear. But Ling Yue immediately refused. I don't agree. Fighting the boss has too many variables. It's not worth taking the risk. Tin and Gan kept trying to cajole. Let him decide for himself. I've noticed you seem to value. Realizing their intent, Lam Yuan decided to temporarily accept the challenge to continue engaging with the guild and with Ling Yue. He said decisively, "Fine, I accept." The group quickly advanced to the Hoi Tun Vale, where the boss was still fast asleep. Taeyong excitedly, "Tricor, let me see the full extent of your power." Tin and Gan secretly grinned, thinking, this fool probably doesn't know the boss has a wide area attack that counters summons. This'll be entertaining. A few minutes later, Lam Yuan launched a blaze toward the Hoi Tun Infestation King, and the boss instantly awoke, roaring wildly. The system quickly displayed its info. Hoi Tun Infestation King, level 25, HP 15,000, attack 1,500, defense 500, skills. Inferno Spray, all things assimilation, tail barrage, flame war. Jan Hung couldn't hide his shock, level 25. We're only level 15, what a huge gap. Immediately Ling Yue ordered, don't just stand there, act fast and coordinate your attacks. Meanwhile, Tin and Gan smirked inwardly. That kid will regret this. After a moment, Lam Yuan moved quickly, while summoning his Jiangxi regiment and calling out, as before, start by striking the ground, keep the same move. Ling Yue and the others seized the moment and charged into battle under his command. The Hoi Tun Infestation King roared in fury, breathing fire in response to his and the Jiangxi regiment's assault. Seeing this, Tin and Gan felt even more pleased, thinking it was entertaining, like watching a scared rat run amok. Very quickly, the boss's massive tail swept across, striking straight at Ling Yue's group. She immediately ordered, Tin and Gan, use your crowd control now, but he deliberately replied, damn it, it's too late. As a result, everyone was knocked away by the boss's tail, screaming in panic. When they got up, Ling Yue immediately scolded Tin and Gan for not using True Lightning to paralyze the boss as planned. Do you realize how much of a good opportunity you wasted? Tin and Gan could only look up and admit his fault. Ling Yue, I'm sorry. Meanwhile, Taeyong worried. We're all wounded, healing takes time. How can Tricor alone handle the boss? This run's hopeless. Tran Hung had to admit it too. A death difficulty dungeon leaves heavy losses even if you bail. Now we're truly trapped. Ling Yue said angrily, given how things are, I just hope everyone learns a lesson. Team members mustn't make mistakes. Instead, we hampered him. I'll report the dungeon incident to the guild. Any losses will be covered by the guild. At that moment, Gu Yuan cried out, wait, guild leader, look, he's still fighting. He doesn't seem affected at all. Right then, as Lam Yuan commanded his elite undead scorpion, he realized teammates couldn't assist for now, so he'd have to handle the boss himself. He noticed a weakness on the boss's back. If he could paralyze the tail with lightning, he could safely attack. The Hoi Tun Infestation King bellowed as it was surrounded. Seeing the Jiangxi regiment's attack speed wasn't fast enough, Lam Yuan urged, too slow. Immediately after, the elite undead scorpion activated the arcane lightning thrust skill, causing a paralysis effect that the system confirmed. Receiving the notification, Lam Yuan happily ordered, good, the boss's rear is safe, charge. The next instant, 2 death direwolves and 2 undead thief rogues also joined the fight. The coordination surprised Ling Yue. He even has a lightning attribute summon and knows how to handle the boss. Tin and Gan muttered in shock. How does he know that? Am I really outmatched by a summoned creature? Taeyong cheered. Great, Tricor is truly confident against the boss. Everyone heal up quickly and support. However, Tran Hung still noticed the boss was attacking the Jiangxi regiment fiercely and smirked inwardly. In the end, those summons won't hold out long. One strike from the boss will crush them. Soon after, the undead miner with the dog head ran out of HP. But Lam Yuan immediately activated the Dark Curse skill, which restored and sustained his forces. Tin and Gan grew even more furious. Impossible, he can keep summoning like that. Won't he single-handedly kill the boss? Sensing the opportunity, Ling Yue immediately ordered, everyone get ready, the boss is near defeat charge. Tran Hung responded at once. At that moment, the boss triggered the All Things Assimilation Skilled system, quickly warned this is the boss's strongest area attack before death. Ling Yue shouted a reminder, careful, everyone stay clear of the skill's radius. At the same time, blood boiling, Tin and Gan decided to cause a distraction. Get out of the way, let me interrupt the boss. He activated the lightning resistance ring skill, a ring of electricity radiating out. Ling Yue turned back just as the lightning ring surged forward. She couldn't dodge in time and was knocked backward. Lam Yuan quickly anticipated the trick and smoothly evaded, then lunged toward Ling Yue when he saw no one could save her in time. He swiftly caught her midair, one arm around her shoulder, the other around her leg, completing the classic princess carry and landing safely. He reassured her, Don't be afraid, hold on tight to me. Then he leapt again to avoid the boss while activating the Celestial Fury skill, producing a thunderous explosion across the battlefield. The system immediately sent a server-wide announcement congratulating the hidden player Vodan and members Ju Nian Taeyong, Ling Yue, Tin and Gan, Dao Kie, Controller Man hung for their first time clear of Hoi Tun Vale at death difficulty. Ling Yue breathed a sigh of relief, her face flushed, and she put her arm around Lam Yuan's shoulder. I didn't expect you to be so young yet so experienced, not panicking at all. He only smiled, is that so? Maybe it was just luck. Ling Yue replied shyly, even if you don't join the guild, I still want to be friends with someone like you so we can tackle harder dungeons together later. Lam Yun didn't refuse, and the two immediately friended each other through the system. Ling Yue sent the friend request, and he accepted. Ju Nian Taeyong, holding the Sun Emperor gold that just dropped from the boss, teased Ling Yue. It's the first time I've seen Zio Yue so bashful. As everyone approached, Ling Yue cleared her throat shyly. Put me down. Tin and Gan turned pale with regret, gripping his staff and screaming inside. How did it end up like this? I haven't even touched a single hair on her. Lam Yuan gently set Ling Yue down. At the same time, the system posted a team summary. The hidden player Vodan achieved 87% contribution in Hoi Tun Vale at death difficulty. Receiving this, Lam Yuan turned to collect from Tin and Gan. My contribution was 87%. By our bet, the golden gear should belong to me, right? Tin and Gan, furious but powerless, stammered. The golden girth boss is dead, let's see what drops first, then we can split it later. But he wouldn't relent, insisting on collecting his due right away. No need, give me the golden gear first. Tin and Gan awkwardly pleaded, I'll give it to you, wait until I find a replacement piece. He snorted, clearly trying to shirk the debt. Seeing this, Ling Yue stepped in to mediate. Actually, this gear might not even suit you. Why don't you take priority on loot this time, and I'll pay out of pocket to buy you something that fits, how's that? Out of respect for her, Lam Yuan nodded in agreement. Fine, let's do it your way. But honestly, I'd rather trade techniques with masters who have special skills than fight over gear. Ling Yue smiled. A master, huh? Fine, this time we were lucky thanks to you. I'll bring it up with the guild. If everyone agrees, we'll arrange a session for you to spar with us next time. With the deal settled, he let Tin and Gan off and moved over to the boss's corpse. Almost forgot, there's one more thing. He began casting his dark summoning ritual on the Hoi Tun infestation king's body. Just then, the system announced. 3 minor Jiangshi with crane heads were slain in the sewer. The news made Lam Yuan start. What? He couldn't think of anyone besides the snake controller who could do this. There were no level-grinding players around the hidden dungeon, and 3 Tsuling Jiangshi were enough to scare people off. Inspecting the scene, he realized that Tsuling showed no signs of combat, more like it took a fatal blow. There were 2 black holes on its neck, snake bite marks, and they weren't from the small snakes found in the hidden dungeon. With the power of a Ming Wang serpent, the corpse certainly couldn't remain this intact. So it could only be the handiwork of the snake controller. At that moment, he sensed danger behind him and turned around. His stealth had just ended. The system notified that stealth was lifted. Behind Lam Yuan was a purple snake. The system confirmed it as a Thukgu Maza leader, level 15, HP 4500, attack 300, defense 130, skills, Thukgu insight, instant reconnaissance, flesh and bone fusion. It lunged with its jaws open. He managed to leap aside. With a thud, the snake struck the spot where he'd just stood. Luckily, he'd created distance and immediately summoned a fireball to attack from range. But these snakes weren't low-ranked, and their skill effects remained unclear, so he stayed cautious. The fireball drove the snake off. Yet unexpectedly, another Thukgu Maza appeared behind it. Its bloodshot eyes surprised Lam Yuan still more. The snake lunged again, aiming straight for his head. Fortunately, he twisted in time and met the bite with his sword, causing it to clamp down on the blade instead.